The woman before him was flushed, her mind hazy, drugged with an aphrodisiac. She felt her body burning, consumed from within. Only one thought filled her mind: I need a man. Just minutes ago, she was a curvaceous, fiery secret agent. Now, thanks to a mission gone wrong, she found herself transported into the body of this drugged woman. Seeing a man appear, she lunged at him. He pushed her away. You think someone like you is worthy of my body? Overwhelmed by the drug, she refused to give up, clinging to him. Please help me. I feel so terrible. He was initially repulsed by her sudden advance, but a flicker of desire ignited within him. Her touch sparked something primal. A wave of raw passion surged through him. He pinned her beneath him. Remember, you started this. She felt his weight pressing down, a sensation she found displeasing. So she wrapped her arms around him, flipping their positions, taking control. Waking up, she stared at her transformed self and burst into tears. Not only did I get transported, but now I'm a child. What am I supposed to do? Her master and senior sister arrived, searching for her. Qinghua looked at the child, bewildered. Who are you? The master, however, understood. She's Yaoer. Qinghua, seeing Yaoer's form, immediately thought of the marriage agreement with the crown prince. The master, sensing Qinghua's desire to take Yaoer's place, smoothed Yaoer's clothes and said coldly, "You may leave." Stroking Yaoer's head, she continued, "For 12 years, you've practiced the frost flower ice heart technique, striving for perfection. Now, your virginity is lost, your power is gone. You're cursed for 3 years. Every month on the 15th, you'll have a chance to regain your original form and abilities. Only by finding the fairy mist lotus and using the heart blood of the man who took your virginity can you break the curse." Having just arrived, she had been taken by that man, losing her virginity. Now a child, she needed the fairy mist lotus to return to her true form. To find it, she had to fulfill the marriage agreement and wed the crown prince. Finally accepting her predicament, Yaoer realized she had an advantage. She had been in seclusion since entering the sect. Aside from the elders, no disciples knew her. Using her newfound cuteness, she quickly charmed her fellow disciples. Flirtatious words flowed easily. "Senior sister, do you know what my weakness is? It's you. Junior sister, guess where my heart is? It's with you." Their laughter filled the air. Then, the elder approached. "Yaoer, you are to be married to the crown prince soon. The sect leader wishes to see you." Qinghua seethed with resentment. Despite her schemes, the elders and sect leader still favored Yaoer. Even a prince was hers. In a secluded forest, the man waited for Qinghua. He glared at her, striking her with a single blow. Qinghua knelt, begging for forgiveness. "Princess, I was wrong. Please forgive me. You plotted against me, drugging the holy maiden of Cloudwater Sword, concealing her identity, leading me to her, hoping to ruin her engagement with the prince." Qinghua, realizing he didn't know about Yaoer's transformation, lied. "That wasn't the holy maiden." The man's voice dripped with menace. "If you lie, I will tear you to shreds." Meanwhile, the elder brought Yaoer to the sect leader. "Yaoer, I know you were framed. No outsider could know about Cloudwater Sword's forbidden grounds. We will investigate the man involved. Now your powers are gone. Take these 3 pills for protection." Yaoer argued, "The fairy mist lotus may only be found in the palace, but marriage isn't the only way." The sect leader spoke gently. "Yaoer, you are the holy maiden. This is your duty." Yaoer tried to protest. "I am no longer a virgin. I cannot." The sect leader was firm. "I know you are intelligent. Yaoer, you know what you must do." Yaoer understood. She was expected to pretend to be a virgin before the prince. She had lost her virginity shortly after arriving, and now she was forced into this marriage with a stranger. To make matters worse, she had to participate in a humiliating ceremony, bowing to a dog. A masked man entered her room, uninvited. The secret agent within her resurfaced. She drew her hidden pistol. "Who's there?" "It's that perverted masked man who bullied me." Pretending not to recognize him, in a sweet childlike voice, "Are you a god who came down from heaven?" The arrogant masked man actually played along. "Yes, I am a god." "Who are you?" "The holy maiden of Cloudwater Sword." Yaoer flatters him. "Wow, gods really are amazing. You even know that." Seeing the holy maiden was truly a child, the man said preposterous, and was about to leave. Yaoer was unwilling to let go of this golden opportunity. She lunged forward. However, the man suddenly turned around, and her sneak attack failed. How can the holy maiden of Cloudwater Sword be a child? Yaoer tilted her head innocently. "I don't know. If you're the holy maiden, you have to marry the crown prince." "I don't even want to." The man looked at the little girl in front of him. Others are lining up to marry him, but you don't want to. Yawer blinked her innocent, wide eyes. Of course not. Who wants to marry that old man? And he's actually willing to marry a child. He's not a good person. Little did she know, the masked man in front of her was the old man she was talking about. He was the crown prince she was supposed to marry. The man replied weakly, "The crown prince may not know you're a child. Besides, this is the late emperor's decree. He can't defy it." Unable to get any information from Yawer, the man turned to leave. Having finally found the antidote to her predicament, Yawer was unwilling to let him go so easily. She dramatically faked a fall, whimpering, "Ouch." On her wedding day, the man, claiming to be busy, sent his guard to fetch the bride. Unaware of the truth, Yawer even stumbled into the guard. How embarrassing. Amidst the murmurs of the crowd, Yawer waited for the arrogant prince to arrive for the wedding ceremony. But what arrived was a dog. "This is outrageous." In the bridal chamber, the young guard announced, "His Highness the Crown Prince is unable to attend and has specially sent a Pomeranian, a tribute from the western regions, to greet you." Looking at the adorable Pomeranian, Yawer said, "Then please thank the prince for me. I really like this Pomeranian." Hearing the guard's description, the man thought, "She really answered like that. You have piqued my interest." Having just transmigrated, Yawer was drugged and lost her virginity the previous night, and the next day she was married to the crown prince. But the prince didn't even glance at her, only sending a dog to perform the wedding ceremony with her. Yawer looked at the beautiful young maid beside her. "Sister Xiangning, what kind of person is the prince?" Xiangning looked panicked. "Your Highness, this servant dare not speak ill of His Highness the Crown Prince." Yawer knew then that the prince must be terrifying. With sparkling eyes, she asked, "Then, Sister Xiangning, can you tell me the prince's name?" Overwhelmed by Yawer's cuteness, Xiangning couldn't help but tell her, "His Highness is named Bei Mingyuan." Yawer giggled and hugged the puppy. "You'll be called Bei Mingyuan from now on." Two handsome young men barged into the bridal chamber without warning. Yawer, holding the puppy, said, "Look, Bei Mingyuan, who's here? It's two big brothers." The unrestrained young man in white looked at the little crown princess with amusement. "Little girl, this dog is called Bei Mingyuan." Yawer covered her mouth, mimicking a child's shyness. "Master said I shouldn't talk to strangers after leaving the mountain." Seeing Yawer's adorable demeanor, the young man in white lowered his guard and crouched down. "I'm your husband's brother. From now on, we're sister-in-law and brother-in-law." Yawer pretended not to understand. "This puppy who performed the wedding ceremony with me today is my husband. Are you really his brother?" Thinking Yawer genuinely didn't understand, the young man in white wasn't angry. He pointed to the side. "Your husband isn't the puppy. It's him." Yawer looked at the prince in his wedding attire. Why do this person's eyes look so familiar? Yawer tried to recall if she had seen him before, unaware that the prince before her was the very man who had shared that passionate night with her, the one who caused her regression. Unable to figure it out, Yawer decided to drop it. Regardless, this disrespectful pervert, she blurted out, "You're old." The man couldn't help but recall the passionate night he spent with her. Her flushed expression and soft body ignited a fire within him, threatening to erupt like a volcano. Bei Mingyuan ranked first among the 10 most handsome men in the world. Hearing his bride call him old, his gaze involuntarily turned cold and intimidating. Yawer, having deliberately provoked him, pretended to be a frightened little flower. He's so scary. The man softened his tone again. Realizing the man wasn't reacting to her attempts to scare him, Yawer, desperate to avoid sharing a bed with him, resorted to her ultimate weapon, bursting into tears. He was truly frightening. The two men quickly left the bridal chamber. Bei Mingfeng perched on the prince's shoulder. "This little one is quite interesting," the prince remarked. He then addressed the dog. "Bei Mingyuan, aren't you leaving yet?" Bei Mingfeng glint. "It's such a joyous occasion, brother. I wanted to stay and enjoy it a bit longer." "Is that child really the holy maiden?" The prince pondered, his gaze lowered. "She is. I married her only to obey the late emperor's decree." Bei Mingfeng teased again. "Although she's just a child, I find her quite unique. After all, she's the first person who dares to scold even you." The prince, displeased at his brother's comments about his bride, retorted, "I'll discipline her myself." Bei Mingfeng, a frequent visitor to pleasure houses, observed that the prince wouldn't be consummating his marriage. "Brother, if you find yourself lonely, remember to seek me out. I'll ensure you experience true pleasure and leave you wanting more." The prince responded with a swift kick, sending Bei Mingfeng tumbling. He then tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. The words "leave you wanting more" echoed in his mind, along with the memory of that night filled with cicada song. He couldn't shake the memory of the woman's allure. Suddenly consumed by desire, he leaped towards the cold pool to quell the fire within. The icy water slowly cooled his burning body. The woman in red watched as the prince's affliction flared up prematurely. "Have you fallen for someone?" she asked, grinding her teeth. "Has Bei Mingyuan fallen for another woman?" The prince, both the crown prince and the elusive lord of the netherworld, had experienced the pleasures of intimacy during a chance encounter and fallen for the woman who had boldly pursued him. He was unaware that the woman he'd married using a dog as a proxy was the very woman who occupied his thoughts. Unable to find release, he could only immerse himself in the cold pool, slowly cooling his feverish body. Seeing his arousal, the woman in red assumed he was captivated by his new bride. "She must be very beautiful, the one who can stir your emotions," she said spitefully. "In that case, I must meet her." Without turning, the prince warned, "Yiling Luo, she's just a child. If you dare harm her, I will not spare you." Yiling Luo, who secretly loved him, seethed. "It's only the first day of your marriage, and you already protect her so fiercely." The prince remained calm. "She is my wife now, and I will protect her." Yiling Luo persisted. "Do you truly have no feelings for me?" She began to undress, revealing her bare skin. "You can use me to relieve your affliction." The prince sent her sprawling with a wave of his hand. Yiling Luo went to the prince's bedchamber. Looking at the sleeping Yaoer, she noted her childish appearance. What's so special about her? She wondered, scrutinizing her closely. Yiling Luo placed her hand on Yaoer's wrist. She detected 2 distinct pulses. Even with her exceptional medical skills, she couldn't unravel the mystery. Yaoer stirred in her sleep and forcefully flung Yiling Luo's hand away. Just as she was about to cry out for help, she fell unconscious again. The next morning, the prince handed a portrait to Yihan. "Find the woman in this painting. It's imperative." Yihan looked at the portrait. Our prince is finally interested in a woman, he thought, unaware that the woman in the painting was the prince's new bride. The prince, afflicted by the poison, had countless women offering to help, but he refused them all. He preferred to endure the icy water, all because he had fallen for the woman he'd spent one passionate night with. The prince inquired about Yaoer. Xiangning finally managed to rouse her. Yaoer tried to recall the previous night's events. "Who drugged me?" she wondered. Xiangning, seeing her dazed state, urgently reminded her, "You must pay your respects to the Empress Dowager and the Empress this morning. If you're late." Yaoer bolted like a rabbit. "Let's hurry." Noticing her beloved puppy was missing, she shyly asked, "Where did Bei Mingyuan go?" Xiaoning's loud cries. The crown princess giving the dog such a name. It's a crime punishable by death. Yaoer slowly rented here. The prince using that dog as a stand-in for the wedding ceremony. Doesn't that confirm the dog's status? "Yesterday, I called it that to his face and nothing happened," she said, about to take the puppy into the palace. Xiangning whispered a reminder. "You must first dine with the prince, and then enter the palace together." Having no choice, Yaoer took the puppy to the dining hall to eat with Bei Mingyuan. Bei Mingyuan looked at the tiny Yaoer, a small dog perched on her shoulder, finding her quite adorable. His tone softened unconsciously. "Come and eat." Yaoer struggled to climb onto the dining chair. Even with all her might, she could only just peek her head over the table. She reached for a large drumstick on the table. Slap! Bei Mingyuan wrapped her small hand with his chopsticks. Yaoer whimpered, rubbing her little paw, quietly listening to Bei Mingyuan's scolding. Who doesn't know? It's just easier to hand-feed the dog. A new idea popped into Yaoer's little head. Time to tease him. "Pretty husband, will you get me some more food?" Bei Mingyuan's Eis Wiegend. "What did you call me?" Yaoer, seeing his disgusted expression, smirked slightly. "Pretty husband." Bei Mingyuan's demeanor suddenly turned cold. "Who told you to say that?" "Yaoer reminded defiant. We've already established not to call you husband. What about my lord, official, darling, sweetheart? Or how about just calling you Bei Mingyuan?" The newlyweds, having already experienced intimacy before their marriage, now couldn't recognize each other. Yaoer, having been transformed into a child due to her cultivation technique, had a reason for not recognizing him. But Bei Mingyuan simply removed his mask. "You don't recognize me now. That's a bit much, isn't it?" Hearing Yaoer continuously call his name directly, Bei Mingyuan flew into a rage. "Insolent! Remember this. If you dare call me by my name again, you will be punished according to the law." Seeing his anger, Yaoer immediately apologized and started crying. Bei Mingyuan slammed his hand on the table. Stop crying. Tears are nothing but a useless ploy for sympathy. You best drop that act with me. Yaoer's crying abruptly stopped, lecturing a child on life philosophies. Does he think he's seen through me? Or is there something wrong with his head? Offering a carrot after the stick, Bei Mingyuan added a large drumstick to her plate, his tone softening. All you need to do now is obey. Everyone in this world likes obedient children. They arrived at the palace. Bei Mingyuan had to attend court, so they had to part ways. Yaoer, holding up her skirt, politely curtsied. The Empress Dowager, delighted by her appearance, praised her. Good. Proper etiquette. The Empress inquired about what she was holding in her arms. Consort Chun, seeing the puppy that she had repeatedly requested from the prince, now casually given to Yaoer, decided to assert her authority. How dare you? You bring a beast into the palace for greetings. This is a grave offense. Turning to the Empress, she continued her provocation. Sister, that's a vicious dog she's holding. I've seen it injure someone with my own eyes. Yaoer looked at Consort Chun, puzzled by her fabricated lies. Did she have a grudge against the puppy? Not daring to speak up, Yaoer only muttered, nonsense. The Empress asked about the dog's origins. Yaoer quickly invoked the prince's name. Your Majesty, this dog is not vicious. It was a gift from the prince. The prince had to attend court early and couldn't accompany me, so he let me bring the puppy for company. Yaoer put on her best innocent act, her large eyes sparkling. Her sweet voice made it hard to scold her. Your Majesty, what does grave offense mean? Why am I committing a grave offense? Consort Chun, seeing Yaoer's eloquence, ground her teeth in frustration. Yaoer had effectively shifted the blame to the prince. The Empress couldn't say anything more. Very well. In the future, the prince will send someone to summon you to the palace. The Empress's gaze towards Consort Chun turned a few degrees colder. Sister, this little puppy looks quite docile. It doesn't seem like the vicious dog you described. Yaoer, originally a secret agent, had transmigrated into the body of a woman suffering from love poison after a failed mission. To cure the poison, she had to take the initiative and win over the man before her. However, as the love poison dissipated, she transformed into a child. Facing Consort Chin's provocations, Yaoer wasn't afraid in the slightest. Her boisterous laughter further enraged the consort. Insolent. What are you laughing at? Yaoer's eyes flashed with defiance. Even facing the highly favored consort, she didn't back down. Laughing at you. The other consorts watched Yaoer, gossiping amongst themselves. She was truly tired of living, they whispered. Consort Chun had plenty of ways to deal with her. Consort Chun, suppressing her rage, said, Tell me, what is there about me that you find so amusing? Yaoer countered with a question, Your Highness, do you think a pig can ride a horse? Consort Chin's fury, fueled by Yaoer's feigned ignorance, finally erupted. Someone, Caesar. The Empress watched Yaoer with a hint of disappointment. The Crown Prince's power base is not yet secure. Discretion is paramount, yet she acts as if she can do as she pleases. Seeing Consort Chin's outburst, Yaoer finally began to explain. This afternoon, I observed that the puppy wouldn't bite. Consort Chun retorted, This must be the vicious beast you speak of. Yaoer continued, As you can see, he's small and quite petite. His teeth are not only tiny, but they're all baby teeth. Even if I put my hand in his mouth and let him bite, it would only tickle. It's hardly the skin and flesh torn apart scenario that Your Highness described. Yaoer knew Consort Chun was trying to assert dominance. She responded with a smile, If you want to punish my dog, find a legitimate reason. Accusations without proof won't do. Seeing Yaoer's clear logic, Consort Chun could only temporarily retreat. It seems I misjudged you, Crown Princess. I'm sure you won't hold this against me. Yaoer replied with a sweet smile, her words carefully chosen. My master taught me to be magnanimous. I will forgive Your Highness. The Empress Dowager grew fonder of her granddaughter-in-law with each passing moment, praising her repeatedly. Yaoer had managed to navigate this hurdle safely. The prince possessed a breathtakingly handsome face and was the crown prince. Countless women lined up, hoping to marry him. Yet his heart was captivated by a woman he had only met once. Having just escaped a throng of women, Yaoer encountered the prince's flirtatious brother, Bei Mingfeng. He crouched in front of her. Are you waiting for my brother? Wary of Bei Mingfeng's intentions, Yaoer put on a cheerful facade. Do you know where my pretty husband is? She asked. Bei Mingfeng, charmed by her adorable appearance, chuckled. My brother is truly fortunate to have such a cute little wife. He reached out to pinch her cheek. Alarmed by his forwardness, Yaoer recoiled, using the puppy as a shield. What are you doing? Improper conduct between men and women is forbidden. Seeing her about to leave, Bei Mingfeng tempted her with the beauty of the Imperial Garden. The mention of the Imperial Garden immediately caught Yaoer's attention. It sounds like the perfect place to walk a dog, she thought. Yaoer happily made her way to the Imperial Garden. Hearing a group of women chattering, Yaoer paused to listen. Drawn by the mention of the most beautiful woman in the land, she drew closer. It turned out that Chu Yi, the renowned beauty, wanted to marry the prince. She even mocked Yaoer for her wedding ceremony with the dog. Yaoer's fists clenched as she listened. This humiliation had spread throughout Kanglan. Using her father's influence, Chu Yi petitioned the emperor to arrange a marriage with the prince. Bei Mingyuan, witnessing this, stepped forward with barely contained anger. Father, my marriage has already been decided by the late emperor. The emperor, seeing the prince's resolve, argued that Yaoer was still a child and couldn't bear children, attempting to force him to marry Chu Yi. Bei Mingyuan simply replied, then we shall wait until she is older. Seeing the prince's unwavering stance, Chu Yi's father dropped the matter. The prince, who also held the identity of a martial arts sect leader, could only grit his teeth as he watched his brother flirt with his bride. All because his bride was a 6-year-old child. Yaoer, still holding the puppy, continued to make veiled criticisms, unaware that the prince was watching her from behind. Before the prince could speak, Bei Mingfeng appeared before Yaoer. He deliberately flirted with Yaoer in front of Bei Mingyuan, sweeping her into his arms. What a little cutie, he said lewdly. Yaoer, realizing she was in Bei Mingfeng's embrace, struggled to free herself. Put me down. Bei Mingfeng whispered, look behind you. Cooperate if you want to live. Caught red-handed, Yaoer had no choice but to comply. She hadn't expected cooperating to mean being molested. Bei Mingfeng dared to kiss her right in front of the prince. Humiliated and furious, Yaoer slept by Mingfeng. She burst into tears and ran to Bei Mingyuan for protection. Bei Mingyuan grabbed Yaoer by the collar, pulling her from Bei Mingfeng's arms. You're courting death, Bei Mingfeng. Yaoer clung to the prince, trying to appease his fury. Bei Mingfeng watched his brother, angry over a woman. Truly a rare sight. Chu Yi, having failed to entice the prince, now turned her attention to Bei Mingfeng. Gently stroking his reddened cheek, she asked with feigned concern, does it hurt? This crown princess is rather rash, isn't she? Bei Mingfeng said, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. His expression clearly conveyed, do I know you? Chu Yi recalled the heroic rescue 10 days prior. That day, I almost fell into the dining hall. It was the third prince who saved me. Bei Mingfeng clearly remembered nothing, but being the flirtatious charmer he was, he played along. He clasped Chu Yi's hand tightly. You are truly beautiful, unforgettable. Chu Yi blushed, playfully pushing against him. Let go. People are watching. Bei Mingfeng's grip tightened. Do you care that much about what others think? Chu Yi stared intently into Bei Mingfeng's eyes. I wouldn't care if you were to marry me. After a night of passion, the man was consumed by thoughts of her, offering a hefty reward to find her. He was unaware that the little girl whose bottom he'd spanked was the very person he sought. Inhaling the man's scent, the woman drifted off to sleep in his arms. A flicker of familiarity jolted her awake. She realized the man who had taken her innocence was Bei Mingyuan. Startled, she was suddenly pulled up by Bei Mingyuan. She looked at him, mortified. How are you here? Bei Mingyuan glanced at her. Perhaps you should open your eyes and see whose bed this is. Sleeping with drool all over your face, have you no shame? Knowing she was in the wrong, she made a dash for the door. Quick as lightning, he grabbed her head. Where do you think you're going? You haven't been punished yet. She thought to herself, the punishment can't be that bad. I'm still young. To her surprise, Bei Mingyuan spanked her several times. Do you know your crime? You assaulted a prince in public today. Realizing the beating was because of Bei Mingfeng, she calmed down. Looking at Bei Mingyuan seductively, she said, my handsome husband, I know I was wrong, but it was the third prince who was harassing me. I acted out of anger. He stared at the 5 or 6-year-old girl. Where did you learn the word harassing? Sensing she was about to be exposed, she quickly stammered, it's in the books. He didn't press the matter further. I'll teach you a lesson today. His grip tightened slightly. He would discipline his wife when necessary, but he would also care for her tenderly. Shielding her from the view of the guards who brought medicine, he personally applied it to her bottom. Blushing, she quickly changed the subject. Have you found him? Find him quickly. Having experienced that, he can't stop thinking about you. His urges force him to stay in the cold pool. Waking up to find Bei Mingyuan gone, she endured the pain in her bottom and searched for the Xianwu lotus. Exhausted and empty-handed, she leaned against the wall, accidentally triggering a hidden mechanism. A secret door slowly opened. Trapped in a child's body, the former secret agent, now the crown princess, could only rely on her wit to find the Xianwu lotus, the antidote to her predicament. There's a secret room in his chambers. She peeked inside. Maybe the Xianwu lotus is in here. The frigid air made her shiver. This is like a natural freezer. The mist must be hiding something precious. The Xianwu lotus is probably here. Bei Mingyuan, healing in the cold pool, heard her muttering. So, the Xianwu lotus was her goal. As she approached the pool, trying to see what lay beneath the surface, he pulled her in. She screamed as she plunged into the icy water. I can't swim. What do I do? I haven't found the person who harmed the real her. I have to live. His hair brushed against her face. What is this? As Bei Mingyuan tried to save her, she kicked him in the face. Weakly, she looked up at the man holding her in the water. It was Bei Mingyuan. The icy chill of the pool was unbearable. He used his internal energy to try and warm her, but it was ineffective. He looked at her with concern. How could such a small child endure this icy coldness? He could only undo his clothes and hold Yaoer in his arms, using his body heat to slowly warm her. Feeling the warmth, she nestled closer. Bei Mingyuan was captief outet bei Yaoer es sleeping foam. What was this sense of familiarity he felt with her? The next morning, in bed, Yaoer's small hand groped around. This felt pretty good. Remembering everything that happened yesterday, Yaoer suddenly woke up with a start. Looking at the naked man in front of her, Yaoer's face flushed crimson and she screamed. Early in the morning, the energetic Bei Mingyuan was about to do something to Yaoer when an oblivious guard, following the sound, pushed the door open. Bei Mingyuan glared at the guard with a gaze as sharp as a knife. Without any moves, the guard was knocked to the ground. Yaoer looked at the icy Bei Mingyuan with fear. It seemed she had to do something to ensure secrecy. She put on an act, trying to appease him with coquettishness and charm. Handsome husband, she began. My bottom hurts so much. Hellinga a soft voice, by Mingyuan's anga dissipated konzida uppli. This is the consequence of her disobedience. As he spoke, Yaoer's swollen, red bottom was exposed before him. Although Yaoer was exposed again, she had to sacrifice her modesty to appease him quickly. Her bottom was bandaged by Bei Mingyuan like a dumpling. He also gave a frightening order. For a month, Yaoer could only eat vegetables. Deprived of meat, she couldn't endure it even for a day. Under the cover of darkness, she snuck into the kitchen. A roasted chicken seemed to beckon her. Come eat me. Drooling, Yaoer lunged at the roasted chicken with a flying chopstick. Her technique, as sharp as ever, hit the chicken's backside directly. Unfortunately, her arms were too short, and she was still a bit away. After much effort, Yaoer finally got her hands on the roasted chicken and started devouring it in the corner. With a full belly, she rubbed her round tummy, utterly content. The scattered chicken bones were the trophies of her victory. After eating her fill, it was time to get down to business. This was a good opportunity to scout around. Just as she climbed onto a tree branch, she saw Bei Mingyuan plotting something with a guard. Being out here at night, instead of sleeping, couldn't mean anything good. Yihan, have you still not found that woman? Bei Mingyuan scolded. How are you handling things? Yihan quickly explained his plan. I've ordered men to guard all the city gates. As soon as she passes through, we'll find her. After hearing Yihan's plan, Bei Mingyuan became even angrier. You idiot. Issue a reward in the black market. Increase it to 500,000 taels of silver. 1,000,000 taels of gold. Yihan was stunned by the astronomical figure. Good heavens. Is it too late to get a face change now? Yaoer, perched in the tree, heard their entire conversation clearly. Who is that old man looking for with such a hefty reward? If the black market is so powerful, could I also issue a reward to find the mysterious person? Watching Bei Mingyuan leave, Yaoer jumped down from the tree. Thud, face first. The pain made her dizzy. She felt a dark figure standing before her. Sweat dripped down Yaoer's pretty face. Heavens, someone save me. Bei Mingyuan's voice questioned, why are you here? Panicked, Yaoer stammered, trying to find an excuse. Bei Mingyuan stared intently at her. Seeing her like this, I'm not even angry. I find it rather endearing. How absurd. Yaoer stood up shakily, her mind racing. Her wide eyes conveyed confusion. How did I get here? Bei Mingyuan didn't say much. This prince doesn't like lies, child. Yaoer clung to his leg and started crying. Handsome husband, I'm not lying. I've had an illness since I was little. I've suffered from sleepwalking ever since I can remember. Sometimes I wander around. I don't know what I say or do. Her innocent, wide eyes would soften anyone's heart. Seeing Bei Mingyuan's attitude soften, Yaoer attributed her sneaking into the secret chamber that day to her sleepwalking. Captivated by Yaoer, Bei Mingyuan began to rationalize. If it truly is sleepwalking, then her words weren't from her heart. In that case, her connection to the Xianwu lotus needs to be reconsidered. He used the sleepwalking as an excuse to keep her close. To prevent your sleepwalking, you'll sleep with this prince from now on. Even though Yaoer was 100 times unwilling, she had no reason to refuse. Now, the two, bound by the name of husband and wife, finally began their journey of sharing a bed. One second Yaoer was guarding against Bei Mingyuan, that old lecher. The next she was asleep, drooling everywhere. Early in the morning, the man called out to her for a good while, even picking her up. On their way to breakfast, a young servant blocked their path. Your Highness, you've been wronged. Please save my younger brother. Bei Mingyuan, having seen this many times, remained indifferent, silently watching as the young servant was about to be taken away. Yaoer couldn't stand it and spoke up to stop them. Bei Mingyuan looked at her. Just that fleeting glance was enough to make Yaoer tremble with fear. She resorted to her best tactic, blinking her large eyes pitifully. Handsome husband, he looks so pitiful. Can you help him, please? Bei Mingyuan, looking at her, couldn't bring himself to scold her. How do you want me to help him? Yaoer, seeing this, gave him an even sweeter smile. Since he claims to have been wronged, let's hear him out. Bei Mingyuan, not wanting to upset Yaoer, agreed. The young servant quickly reported, Your Highness, a roast chicken was stolen from the kitchen last night. Hearing the words roast chicken, Yaoer felt a sense of foreboding. As it happened, the servant's brother was the last to leave the kitchen last night. The head chef claimed he stole the chicken and wanted to chop off one of his hands. Yaoer looked at her own small hands in a panic. What do I do? It seems like I'm the one who should have her hand chopped off. She quickly asked the young servant, Where is your brother? Hearing that his brother was in the kitchen, about to be punished, Yaoer didn't care about anything else and ran towards the imperial kitchen. Seeing Yaoer's urgency, Bei Mingyuan suspected the matter was related to her. He wondered how much truth there was to her claims of sleepwalking last night. He grabbed the running woman and pulled her into his arms. Yaoer, anxious to save the young servant's brother, struggled to break free. Seeing her impatience, Bei Mingyuan soothed her. I'll take you there. A gleaming knife was held in front of the young servant's brother. Yaoer tilted her head and looked at Bei Mingyuan. Can we? Before she could finish, Bei Mingyuan released his hold, and she fell to the ground. He spoke coldly. To catch a thief, you need evidence. Do you have any? The head chef presented a jade pendant. Your Highness, I found this where the chicken was stolen. The young servant looked at his lost jade pendant, now evidence of his supposed theft. He defended himself. Even if my jade pendant was there, it doesn't prove I stole the roast chicken. I must have dropped it yesterday while preparing the dishes. The head chef argued. How convenient. Your jade pendant just happened to be under the table where the chicken was. Do you take us for fools? Yaoer, listening to the chef's absurd reasoning, thought he's the one taking people for fools. Listening to the head chef's ridiculous claims, Yaoer couldn't help but want to teach them a lesson. Have you ever heard the story of protesting too much? Bei Mingyuan, watching the young woman argue, wondered what she was up to. Hearing the head chef say he hadn't, Yaoer became even more enthusiastic. She excitedly explained the well-known saying. Bei Mingyuan, seeing her unusual eloquence, became even more intrigued. Looking at the silent head chef, Yaoer teased, only a fool would leave evidence after committing a crime. She then stared coldly into the head chef's eyes. I don't think this young man is a fool. Wouldn't you agree? The head chef didn't believe the newly instated crown princess was favored, so he treated her with some disdain. If the crown princess has evidence to prove his innocence, I will release him immediately. Seeing the head chef's stubbornness, Yaoer had no choice but to confess to eating the roast chicken herself. The servants below, hearing her confession, were incredulous. Bei Mingyuan, already aware that it was Yaoer who ate the chicken, quickly intervened. Enough. This matter ends here. There's no need to argue further. Seeing his little wife trying to slip away, Bei Mingyuan grabbed the back of her neck. Like a claw machine grabbing a prize, he held Yaoer dangling. She thought he was going to punish her publicly. However, the protective husband emerged. Did you just see the crown princess's status? Did you not show her the proper respect? Yaoer, still uncomfortable with the formality, quickly waved her hands for everyone to rise. Bei Mingyuan, however, was displeased. His tone became harsher. Stay kneeling. Kneel for a full hour, then receive 10 lashes each. He then turned to the head chef who had argued with Yaoer. And you, as head chef, you knowingly broke the rules. Your punishment is doubled. After asserting the crown princess's authority, Bei Mingyuan carried Yaoer away. Away from the gazes of the others, Bei Mingyuan stared at Yaoer. His words seemed to have gone in one ear and out the other. Faced with his questioning, Yaoer's expertly crafted innocent expression appeared on cue. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me just this once, handsome husband. Hearing her plea, Bei Mingyuan felt a surge of satisfaction, but maintained a composed facade. Consider this a debt you owe me. The crown prince and the leftover woman from the pugilistic world. After a passionate night masked in secrecy, they entered a marriage of convenience, each searching for the other, unaware that the person before them was their partner from that fateful night. The crown prince had a young guard bring Yaoer's maid to him. He instructed the maid to monitor Yaoer's every move. Seeing the maid return after a long time, Yaoer asked sweetly, Xiang Ning, why did you take so long? Xiang Ning, preoccupied with her thoughts, stammered, I just had a bit of stomach ache. Yaoer had only asked casually, but Xiang Ning's strange demeanor caught her attention, raising a flicker of suspicion. That night, Bei Mingyuan insisted on sharing a bed with her. Knowing she was outmatched, Yaoer simply flopped onto the bed. Fine, come on up. Taking advantage of her childish persona, she kicked her little feet onto his face without a care in the world. Seeing Bei Mingyuan's exasperated yet annoyed expression, Yaoer couldn't help but feel a surge of triumph, a smirk playing on her lips. Did you think this little firecracker was so easy to sleep with? The next morning, before dawn even broke, Bei Mingyuan roused Yaoer from her sleep under the pretense of breakfast. Although she knew it was a blatant power play, due to her position, she had no choice but to get up and indulge in the feast. Watching her unrestrained eating habits, Bei Mingyuan found himself strangely charmed. He was startled by his own thoughts. How could this be? I must be bewitched. Looking at Bei Mingyuan's sullen face, another mischievous idea popped into Yaoer's head. Picking up a gnawed chicken leg, she offered it to him. Handsome husband, would you like some? Looking at the half-eaten chicken leg, he replied, that won't be necessary. Yaoer, channeling her inner drama queen, exclaimed, handsome husband, are you disgusted by me? Unable to bear the sight of her feigning disappointment, he reluctantly took the chicken leg. You have no manners at all. It seems I must find a governess to teach you properly. While Bei Mingyuan was attending court, Yaoer planned to sneak out of the palace to search for the man who had slept with her and then disappeared. However, escaping the palace presented a challenge. Xiang Ning, hearing Yaoer's suggestion, felt a sense of foreboding. You want to leave the palace? Sneaking out like this? How will we explain it to the crown prince? Xiang Ning explained the palace rules to Yaoer. Leaving the palace without permission was a serious offense. Seeing Xiang Ning's troubled expression, Yaoer turned on the waterworks. With a pitiful expression, she said, Xiang Ning, I have my reasons for wanting to leave. From birth, I was burdened with the responsibilities of a holy maiden. After I was weaned, I was sent to the Water Cloud Sword sect and haven't seen my mother since. Although Xiang Ning was moved to tears by Yaoer's performance, as a mere maid, she felt powerless to help. Yaoer sweetly suggested, Xiang Ning, I have an idea. Xiang Ning pushed a large chest with Yaoer hidden inside. Of course, a gold ingot was crucial to the plan's success. Having successfully escaped, Yaoer couldn't help but feel a sense of triumph. But she didn't forget to instruct Xiang Ning to keep the matter a secret. Exasperated by the pair, Xiang Ning could only weakly reply, all right. They arrived at the bustling black market, a place where enough money could buy anything. Just as they arrived at the entrance, a bald man leered at them. Such a delicate young girl. You're quite a prize in the black market. Aren't you afraid of being kidnapped and sold? Yaoer, no longer a naive child, was unfazed. Let's see if anyone dares to buy me. Upon entering the main hall, Yaoer was immediately captivated by the beast fighting. Xiang Ning, though intimidated by the unfamiliar surroundings, still shielded Yaoer's eyes. This place is terrifying. Let's leave as soon as we've met the person we came to see. Yawer glanced back at the people who had been following them. What are they up to? Oh well, since we're here, might as well stay. I don't believe they won't reveal their intentions eventually. The Intelligence Bureau's bounties are among the highest in the world. Whether it's rare treasures, beautiful women, or monstrous beasts, everything is available. At this moment, a familiar figure appears before Yawer. Yawer, having snuck out of the palace to the black market, intends to inquire about the masked man's whereabouts. Unexpectedly, she is caught red-handed by her brother-in-law, Bei Mingfeng. He takes her to a room for a private conversation. Seeing a table full of bounty notices, Yawer realizes Bei Mingfeng has something he wants to ask. It's time to cut to the chase. Bei Mingfeng is taken aback by Yawer's change in demeanor. He can't help but pat her head. Sealed by a magical force, Yawer can only endure silently, waiting for the day her powers return. Bei Mingfeng doesn't waste time. Picking up a bounty notice, he asks Yawer, "Do you know who this bounty is for?" Yawer replies with disdain, "Are you trying to tell me that your imperial brother is offering 5 million gold pieces just to find a woman?" Bei Mingfeng is truly surprised that this little girl knows even this. He drops the notice in his fluster. Yawer picks it up to examine it, only to discover that the person in the drawing is herself before her transformation. Yawer frantically recalls everything that happened before. I've clearly never met him. How could it be me? Could my previous self have been the crown prince's sweetheart? Observing Yawer's reaction, Bei Mingfeng asks, "Who is this woman?" Having no choice, Yawer improvises, "This woman is my mother." Bei Mingfeng is stunned by her answer. "How could that be your mother? Then is your father the crown prince? I hear he's been doting on you lately. Could it be?" Yawer quickly interjects, stopping Bei Mingfeng's wild speculations. Hearing her denial, Bei Mingfeng finally calms down. "That's right. He married you because of your holy maiden status." He inwardly schemes, but the decree didn't say who is the emperor. Doesn't that mean whoever marries this woman will gain the entire kingdom? Yawer watches Bei Mingfeng's calculating expression. He looks like someone at the market eyeing a choice cut of pork. Hearing that Bei Mingfeng is about to marry Chu Yi, the most beautiful woman in the world, Yawer congratulates him, but still reminds him in a low voice, "Don't forget to help me find my father." Bei Mingfeng natur eli agres readily. After all, this little girl's mother is a walking 5 million gold pieces. The empress also learns of Bei Mingfeng's impending marriage and summons Bei Mingyuan to discuss it. "My son, I hear you refused the marriage proposal for Miss Chu." Bei Mingyuan frowns slightly. This subject dislikes such force matters. The empress assumes Bei Mingyuan is annoyed that the late emperor only bequeathed one child to him, hence his slight resentment towards Chu Yi. "Do you know that Miss Chu is about to marry Bei Mingfeng?" Bei Mingyuan naturally understands that his mother is worried about the Chu family's overwhelming power in the court. If they ally with Bei Mingfeng, it could threaten his position as crown prince. He consoles her gently. "It's all right. The tides of the court are ever-changing. Who can say what the future holds?" Hearing this, the empress is reassured. She then inquires about his relationship with Yawer. How shall I put it? In the East Palace, Yawer, dressed in pink and orange, looks even more delicate and lovely. Although she's in the palace, she's still thinking about Bei Mingfeng's words in the black market. "As long as you appear on the night of the 15th full moon, you can receive 5 million gold pieces. Then it will be easier to find the celestial herb." Xiang Ning watches Yawer from behind a screen, her guilt and self-reproach growing heavier. Faced with Bei Mingyuan's questioning, Xiang Ning collapses to the floor, trembling, and confesses what happened today. At night, Yawer lies obediently in bed, waiting for Bei Mingyuan. Bei Mingyuan, dressed in white, reveals his well-defined physique. Lying in bed together, Yawer can't help but feel shy. Feigning sleepwalking, her hand moves uncontrollably towards his abs. Yawer wants to quickly find the man who took her virginity, so she can resolve her love poison and return to her charming, true self. But she didn't expect to be discovered by her brother-in-law so soon. Bei Mingfeng knocks on Yawer's head. "What are you doing in this dangerous place?" Yawer, grasping at straws, tells him she's here looking for something. someone. After all, he's a prince. His presence in the black market suggests he knows something about the affairs of the martial world. Bei Mingfeng appears happy to help her. Although it's not easy to find someone based solely on the mass characteristic you mentioned, I happen to know two. I don't know if either of them is the one you're thinking of. Recalling that night, the woman said, he's about 8 feet tall and wears a very exquisite golden mask. Bei Mingfeng understood. Seeing the woman's anxious look, he held back from revealing the information he knew. Cunningly, he questioned the woman about her reason for seeing this man. Having just lied about it being her mother, she had no choice but to fabricate another flimsy excuse. Facing the youthful-looking Shui Yunyao, Bei Mingfeng felt no arousal, only shock, stuttering, "Wait, I must confirm first. We're talking about the same person." Shui Yunyao quickly sketched the man's portrait. Bei Mingfeng studied it carefully, thinking, the princess of a nether palace, the most evil sect in the martial world, actually has a daughter. Shui Yunyao gritted her teeth in hatred for the man, but had to temporarily acknowledge him as her father. "Is my father the person you know?" Receiving Bei Mingfeng's affirmative answer, Shui Yunyao wanted to leave immediately, but due to Bei Mingfeng's impending wedding, she had to postpone it. Bei Mingfeng calculated, wouldn't sending her there earn me a favor from the Nether Palace, the most powerful force in the martial world? Shui Yunyao, on the other hand, expressed great shock at the news of Bei Mingfeng's upcoming wedding, having heard nothing about it. The ambiguous atmosphere made her uncertain. Does he believe these lies? She wondered, looking at him. Hearing Bei Mingyuan say he would help find her mother, Shui Yunyao breathed a sigh of relief. If she couldn't gain his trust, finding the celestial herb and curing the love poison and returning to her true form would be even more difficult. Feeling lighter, Shui Yunyao began to act again. "My beautiful husband, will you really help me find my mother?" Bei Mingyuan lowered his head, moving closer to her small face. "Naturally, but you must learn the palace rules." Shui Yunyao agreed verbally but thought, "Of course, you'll help. Where are you going to find her?" Bei Mingyuan pulled out the rope hidden under her pillow. "To learn the rules, let's start with your sleeping posture." What kind of strange marital fun is this? Fast forward through this embarrassing scene. Early the next morning, Shui Yunyao, tormented by the man all night, yawned repeatedly. Still drowsy, she suddenly woke up upon seeing an old book bowing to the crown prince. "Isn't this the nanny Rong who's here to discipline me?" Listening to the man's assessment of her as unruly, ignorant, and uncultured, Shui Yunyao puffed up her cheeks in anger. A wave of pressure washed over her. "Greetings, Crown Princess. I am here to teach you palace etiquette." She turned to look at Bei Mingyuan, who left without a word. "Fine, we'll see about that. Extra service tonight." Turning back, she could only be respectful to the both. The room was full of candidate concubines practicing their posture. Today, Shui Yunyao's first lesson officially began. This modern-day agent was asked to balance a bowl of water on her head. This is nothing. She moved swiftly and walked steadily. This made Shui Yunyao quite proud. Although she looked like a child, her spirit was still that of a 21st century agent. Faced with the temptation of Bei Mingyuan's abs, she drooled involuntarily. Bei Mingyuan, enduring Shui Yunyao's harassment, pushed her away. How could she tolerate this? She clenched her fists and swung at him. Bei Mingyuan quickly caught her wrists. Acting up again. Time for a spanking. Shui Yunyao's mind raced. She pretended to be dreaming of her mother, muttering in her sleep. Her small hands instinctively clung to Bei Mingyuan. "Don't go, don't leave." I thought she was up to something again, but seeing the tears slowly sliding down her cheeks, Bei Mingyuan froze, his heart aching. He gently wiped away the glistening teardrops with utmost tenderness. Shui Yunyao was still unaccustomed to Bei Mingyuan's sudden tenderness. Unable to swallow her discomfort, she resorted to acting coquettish. Bei Mingyuan stared at her, asking, "Who is your mother?" Shui Yunyao tried to evade the question. Bei Mingyuan dropped the pretense, his tone becoming colder. "Who is the mother you were suspiciously searching for in the black market?" Though Shui Yunyao was annoyed at being followed, faced with Bei Mingyuan's aggressive questioning, she obediently answered, "Her name is Shui Xian." Bei Mingyuan looked slightly shocked at her reply. Songlong Kingdom doesn't allow children to take their mother's surname. Under the pressure of his powerful aura, Shui Yunyao could only embellish her lie. "My mother isn't from Songlong Kingdom." She spoke while planning to rush out, preemptively shouting, I know you want to ask who my father is. My mother said that heartless man is already dead. Having said that, she quickly scrambled off the bed, wanting to escape the tense bedroom. In her panic, Shui Yun Yao tripped and fell into the arms of Bei Ming Yuan, who had rushed over. Suddenly, the atmosphere between the two, now very close, became somewhat sweet. Shui Yun Yao stood at attention, in perfect military posture. Nanny Rong couldn't find any fault. Among the other swaying candidate concubines, Shui Yun Yao moved gracefully and steadily, not spilling a drop of water. Watching her elegant and composed demeanor, Nanny Rong couldn't help but admire her. The lessons that were supposed to take 3 days, the little crown princess had mastered in half a day. She showed no signs of being unruly. With her lessons finished, Shui Yun Yao wandered around, familiarizing herself with the palace layout. A dilapidated courtyard caught her attention. Occasionally, the sound of light coughing drifted out. Shui Yun Yao couldn't help but wonder, could this be the legendary Cold Palace? She slowly approached and saw a young boy holding a bowl of clear water for a frail woman lying in bed. Shui Yun Yao immediately intervened. Your mother is sick. Why are you giving her cold water? The boy, only a few years old, naturally hadn't considered this. Shui Yun Yao quickly explained the situation. The weak consort Ro, seeing that Shui Yun Yao was about the same age as her son, inquired about her identity with concern. The young boy took out his imperial token. Can you help me get some hot water? We can't go out. Shui Yun Yao looked at the large Mo character in the center of the token. So you're the 7th prince, Bei Mingma. Is your mother Consort Ro? Consort Ro was shocked that this little girl knew her. Because she had offended the arrogant and domineering noble consort Shun, she had been banished to the Cold Palace, and even the 7th prince couldn't leave. Shui Yun Yao told the little prince to keep his token safe, assuring him she would arrange for water and medicine to be sent. The lonely little prince was reluctant to see her go. He hoped Shui Yun Yao would visit him again. Shui Yun Yao returned to the East Palace. Xiang Ning rushed up to her. Crown Princess, you're finally back. The Crown Prince has been waiting for you in the dining hall for an hour. Shui Yun Yao felt a sense of foreboding. She had been so engrossed in conversation that she had lost track of time. Hesitantly, she lingered at the doorway, softly calling out, My beautiful husband, what did you need me for? Bei Ming Yuan stared at her coldly. Where did you go after your lessons today? Shui Yun Yao scratched her head sheepishly. I was just wandering around the palace. Who knew the scenery was so beautiful? Bei Ming Yuan's impassive, cold face made her feel apprehensive. Is he going to spank me again? She thought. Increasingly exasperated with her, Bei Ming Yuan sighed softly. His tone softened slightly. You need permission to wander around in the future. He turned to leave, then abruptly stopped, speaking in a commanding tone. The 3rd prince's wedding is on the 14th. You will accompany me. Shui Yun Yao blurted out why. Her mind, however, was preoccupied with her transformation on the 15th and the 5 million gold pieces. It was too late to take it back. Bei Ming Yuan frowned slightly at her reaction. Because you're my crown princess. Shui Yun Yao tried to resist, whining and rolling around, saying she didn't want to go. Bei Ming Yuan simply stated, you must go, and left. Xiang Ning quickly comforted Shui Yun Yao. The crown prince is taking you to a wedding. This is a sign of his favor. Shui Yun Yao's mind was filled with thoughts of the 5 million gold pieces. She couldn't think of anything else. Thinking of the gleaming gold, she spoke without thinking, pouting, who cares about his favor? Xiang Ning frantically gestured for her to be quiet. If you anger his highness, you'll be sent to the Cold Palace. Recalling the dilapidated Cold Palace and the 7th prince, Bei Mingma, waiting for her help, Shui Yun Yao asked Xiang Ning for medicine to treat his cough. By the small medicine stove, surrounded by medicinal ingredients, Shui Yun Yao patiently tended to Bei Mingma and Consort Ro, hoping to improve their lives, even just a little. Back at the East Palace, Shui Yun Yao strapped on sandbags made by Xiang Ning, intending to do some weight training. Xiang Ning, unfamiliar with such exercises, worried that Shui Yun Yao might injure herself. Seeing Xiang Ning's concern, Shui Yun Yao invited her to join the workout. Xiang Ning, as a servant, could only reluctantly agree. As Shui Yun Yao and Xiang Ning exercised together, the other maids gossiped, assuming they were being punished by the crown prince. Might as well share the joy then. Let's all run. Looking at the exhausted group, Shui Yun Yao gloated. This little firecracker isn't so easy to gossip about, is she? Although a trained agent, her current body was still that of a young child. Exhausted after a day's activities, she quickly fell asleep. Drifting into a sweet dream, Shui Yun Yao returned to her original world, a soft bed, toys scattered on the floor, and her teddy bear to cuddle. She nuzzled against it, relieved to be back. But as she continued nuzzling, something fell off. Why is it so stiff? Opening her eyes, Shui Yun Yao realized she was in a man's arms, her hand touching his bare skin. Mortified, she quickly hid under the covers. Bei Mingyuan watched her with amusement. Is the little one shy? Shui Yun Yao was so embarrassed she couldn't sleep the rest of the night and had no appetite for breakfast. Looking at the elaborate clothes sent by the crown prince, she felt a flicker of annoyance. Nevertheless, she obediently dressed for the wedding banquet the next morning. Shui Yun Yao thought the third prince and his bride, a playboy and a schemer, were a perfect match. But I still need to find a chance to arrange a meeting with Bei Mingfeng and that mysterious man. As she was thinking, Bei Mingyuan, dressed in matching attire, approached. Shui Yun Yao stared at their matching outfits. What is this? Matching outfits. This is more like parent-child attire than couple's attire. She turned to Bei Mingyuan with a sweet smile. My beautiful husband, I think I shouldn't call you husband anymore. The third prince's wedding was a lively affair. Shui Yun Yao grumbled internally. How am I supposed to find a chance to speak with Bei Mingfeng privately with all this commotion? Fearing Shui Yun Yao might cause trouble, Bei Mingyuan held her hand tightly as they walked. Just as Bei Mingfeng was about to begin the wedding ceremony, a scantily clad woman suddenly appeared, interrupting the proceedings. Chu Yi, glaring at the alluring Yuling, demanded to know who she was. Shui Yun Yao watched the drama unfold. Could this be the third prince's lover? This is getting interesting. But then, Bei Mingfeng pointed at Bei Mingyuan. He's the one you're looking for. Stop making a scene here. The crowd murmured. Could this woman be involved with the crown prince? Shui Yun Yao had a bad feeling. This isn't going to backfire on me, is it? Yuling, hearing Bei Mingfeng's explanation that only the crown prince knew what she sought, made her way towards Bei Mingyuan. Bei Mingfeng could only... Yuling asked Bei Mingyuan if he remembered her. He simply replied, no, and offered no further explanation. Yuling addressed Bei Mingyuan by his given name, shocking even the usually boisterous Shui Yun Yao. How dare she address the crown prince so informally? Who is this woman? Shui Yun Yao tried to smooth things over. Pretty sister, don't make him angry, or he'll spank you. Her words caught Yuling's attention. Little sister, you seem to know him well. Are you his sister? Shui Yun Yao shook her head. Guess again. Yuling's voice hardened. I knew you were his daughter. Shui Yun Yao burst out laughing. My beautiful husband, I told you we were wearing matching outfits today. Watching the third prince's wedding ceremony conclude perfectly, Shui Yun Yao knew her chance had come. Motioning for Yuling to sit in her place, she tried to sneak away. Bei Mingyuan, quick as a flash, grabbed the escaping woman. Where are you going? The woman employed a combination of acting cute and playing coy to try and slip away. Shui Yun Yao went up to the third prince and offered a long string of blessings. May you quickly have a bouncing baby boy to keep me company. Bei Mingfeng returned the sentiment. Little sister-in-law, so free today. It seems imperial brother truly dotes on you. Shui Yun Yao didn't waste any more time. She stated her purpose directly. Since you're married now, when will you take me to see him? The frivolous Bei Mingfeng continued to tease. Little sister-in-law, what's the rush? Don't you know the wedding night is worth 1,000 gold pieces? Shui Yun Yao frowned. This little one doesn't understand any of that. I just want to see my dad quickly. With the matter half settled, Shui Yun Yao was no longer anxious. About that woman Yuling today, what exactly is your relationship with her? Bei Mingfeng smiled faintly. Does it matter what my relationship with her is? Didn't you see how familiar she seemed with Imperial Brother? If you don't go, they might just become a passionate inferno, leaving no room for a little sprout like you. By the time Shui Yun Yao returned to the table, Yuling had already left. I wanted to have a good chat with her. Honestly, why didn't she say goodbye? Seeing that she had taken so long to return, Bei Mingyuan was a little displeased. What, is the third prince's residence even bigger than the crown prince's estate? Shui Yun Yao could only feign weakness to gain his trust. This man just happened to fall for this trick. She acted coquettishly, asking Bei Mingyuan to pick up food for her. The onlookers started gossiping again. Minister Liu spoke up directly, silencing them. If the crown princess wishes to eat something, perhaps a servant can attend to her. It's hardly necessary to trouble the crown prince. Shui Yunyao retorted, when we used to dine, he would always pick up food for me. One should take care of one's own wife. She's so adorable. How could I not spoil her? Shui Yunyao ate contentedly, not even willing to let the last shrimp go. Oh, she touched his finger. How embarrassing. Shui Yunyao accidentally licked Bei Mingyuan's finger and blushed crimson. She couldn't help but steal glances at his handsome face. He really wasn't bad looking. Bei Mingfeng watched their intimate behavior from the shadows. He hadn't expected his imperial brother to be so attentive to this little girl. He slowly walked towards them. Imperial brother, I'll toast you and little sister-in-law. May you have a long and happy life together. Bei Mingyuan, pleased with the toast, drank it down in one gulp. However, my beloved consort is still young. I alone am enough for her. The two men competed subtly. As the cups of wine emptied, the night deepened. Both of them became quite drunk without realizing it. Shui Yunyao seized the opportunity to slip away. A sudden scream pierced the night. Shui Yunyao finally returned to her true form under the full moon. She had been so preoccupied watching the two men compete in drinking that she almost forgot the time. But why were her clothes ripped and she was completely naked? She quickly found some clothes to put on. She couldn't delay important matters. The 5 million taels of silver were more important. The next morning, chaos erupted in the third prince's residence. The crown princess had vanished into thin air from within the heavily guarded mansion. Bei Mingyuan, I decree that if the crown princess is not found within a day, the third prince will be held accountable. A young guard whispered a report. Your Highness, there is news about the woman you are searching for. Bei Mingyuan was surprised, then calmly asked where. The young guard presented a slip of paper. Your Highness, it appears to be from a skilled individual. Someone threw this paper into my quarters. I immediately gave chase, but I couldn't find anyone. Bei Mingyuan scoffed. Skilled, you say? Yin Han, go prepare the silver. This time, I will not let her escape. Bei Mingfeng returned to his room after a night of heavy drinking, still preoccupied with the search for the crown princess. Chu Yi listened to the new information. First Shui Yunyao, now Yuling. You have truly disappointed me. This statement gave Bei Mingfeng a clue. This Yuling was very suspicious. Shui Yunyao, focused solely on the 5 million tael reward, had rushed out without a single copper. Faced with steaming hot buns, she could only stare with a rumbling stomach. A man in purple suddenly appeared. Please accept this. Mississippi Shui Yunyao coldly refused, muttering to herself, he's offering this for no reason. Something's fishy. Seeing the woman's refusal, the man in purple explained, I just saw you left without any money. It's just a small gesture. Saying this, he stuffed a large bun into her hand. Starving, Shui Yunyao, tempted by the large bun, couldn't help but accept it. She asked for the man's address so she could repay him later. After the woman left, a guard standing nearby couldn't understand. Master, why did you help an unrelated woman? Emoli gazed at the disappearing figure, lost in thought. Look at her clothes. That's the palace work uniform for avoiding you. Xiao Luo had a look of understanding. You recognized her identity, so you helped her. Emoli replied indifferently, no. Shui Yunyao listened to all of this from a hidden spot. It's a good thing I didn't wear that outfit. Otherwise, I would have been exposed. But where am I going to get the money to buy new clothes? At the third prince's residence, Bei Mingfeng, sporting dark circles under his eyes, said, Imperial brother, I've captured Yuling. Bei Mingyuan probed. Where is she? Yuling had a sudden idea. Wanting to use this opportunity to extract information about the Xianwu order, she said, if you want to know her whereabouts, trade me the Xianwu order. However, Bei Mingyuan immediately saw through her ruse. Who are you? Yuling stammered, unable to speak. The man kicked Bei Mingfeng. Go find her now. Shui Yunyao finally managed to earn some money. After buying some clothes, she arrived at the Hong Kong restaurant. The two were finally about to meet. Bei Mingyuan finally saw the woman he had been longing for day and night. The moment he drew his sword, his body became uncontrollably hot, and his heart beat faster and faster. The woman felt a little panicked. She saw him every day, so why was she suddenly nervous now? The first thing Shui Yunyao said upon seeing him was the silver. Bei Mingyuan asked the woman to remove her veil to confirm her identity. The woman slowly removed her veil. He finally saw that haunting face again. Looking closely at the woman he had been with once before, Bei Mingyuan blushed and stammered, not satisfied. Hearing the man's outrageous words, the woman felt a little angry. In that case, I won't bother you any longer. Seeing the woman about to leave, the man waved his hand and slammed a large silver note on the table. Before I give you the silver, I need to confirm your identity. The woman tugged at her cheeks. Look, the real deal, no substitutes. Bei Mingyuan slowly approached the woman, using the excuse of needing to inspect her personally. He caressed the woman's cheeks inch by inch with his hand. The texture seems quite nice. Shui Yunyao touched her reddened face. May I ask why your highness offered such a large reward? Bei Mingyuan stated frankly, because I want you to be my woman. Shui Yunyao remembered her identity as the crown princess. Your highness, if you recall, you already have a wife. You want me to be your woman. Then what will my status be? Bei Mingyuan became increasingly unable to control himself as the woman pressed him step by step. He used his inner strength to slightly suppress Shui Yunyao. Seeing the man not responding, she pressed further. Are you willing to bear the sin of divorce for me? She reached for the silver note. Bei Mingyuan grabbed the woman's arm, slightly surprised. You came for the silver. I'm not interested. Shui Yunyao was infuriated by the man's words. You issued a reward. The silver is my rightful compensation. Seeing that the woman didn't care about him at all, Bei Mingyuan became anxious. He couldn't help but pin the woman beneath him, his voice laced with a hint of pleading. Be my woman. Shui Yunyao hadn't expected this seemingly respectable man to act like a rogue. Unable to dodge in time, their lips crashed together in a kiss. Shui Yunyao was conquered by the man's skilled kiss and couldn't help but respond passionately. In a moment of respite, she suddenly came to her senses. Struggling forcefully, she said, You can't do this to me. Bei Mingyuan held the panting woman in his arms. Do you think you have a way out? Shui Yunyao lowered her head in thought. She had to find a way to divert his attention. Faced with the man's advances, she pretended to be shy and embarrassed in the crowded place, asking to change locations. However, Bei Mingyuan, eager to have his way with her, coldly refused. Having no other choice, Shui Yunyao resorted to using her charms. She looked at the man with a coquettish expression. Your Highness, do you really like me? Without waiting for his response, Shui Yunyao took the initiative to kiss him. While his attention was focused on her lips, Shui Yunyao kicked him in the groin. Taking advantage of Bei Mingyuan's wincing pain, she tried to run away. Unexpectedly, the little rabbit still couldn't escape the big bad wolf's clutches. Captured, Shui Yunyao could only submit to the man. From toiling morning till night, until the man, exhausted and unguarded, fell into a deep sleep, she finally found a chance to escape. Looking at her only set of clothes, shredded by Bei Mingyuan's beastly actions, Shui Yunyao was filled with a thirst for revenge. The next morning, Bei Mingyuan, looking at his empty bed, was furious. Where had that woman gone? Hearing the commotion, the young guard hurriedly replied, Your Highness, I was on guard at the door all night. I didn't see anyone enter or leave. Seeing the crown prince's rage, the young guard quickly led a search. However, they unexpectedly found the crown princess first, her clothes disheveled. Back in the palace, Shui Yunyao kept silent about the previous night's events. She was utterly impatient with his concerned inquiries, hiding under the covers, wanting only to be far away from Bei Mingyuan. He leaned closer, wanting to check if she was injured, but unexpectedly discovered a cluster of love bites on the young woman's neck. Bei Mingyuan roared, demanding to know who had done this. It was clearly the cur in front of her, but she couldn't say. She could only insist she didn't know, hoping to gloss over it. Bei Mingyuan summoned Yu Ling to examine the marks. Looking at these intimate traces, Yu Ling suspected they were related to Shui Yunyao's dual cultivation physique, but outwardly claimed they were caused by abuse. Later that night, Yu Ling came to Shui Yunyao's room under the cover of darkness. Staring blankly at the woman who suddenly appeared, Shui Yunyao asked, What are you doing here? Yu Ling stated directly that she knew the reason for Shui Yunyao's dual cultivation physique. It was because she had broken a taboo of some cultivation method. Listening to Yu Ling's description, Shui Yunyao couldn't help but be surprised. You figured it all out. Then, she looked directly at the woman, regaining her composure. Since you didn't expose me in front of the crown prince, what's your purpose? Yu Ling, deeply infatuated with the crown prince, told Shui Yunyao that as long as she was willing to leave him, she would tell her the solution. After leaving a signal flare, she left gracefully. The next morning, Shui Yunyao was pacing back and forth, thinking about the annoying Bei Mingyuan. She wanted to vent to Xiang Ning, but found that Xiang Ning had disappeared again. She went out to look for her, but accidentally fell to the ground. Yishur, a guard by the crown prince's side, happened to pass by, learning that she had injured her back and couldn't walk. The guard had no choice but to carry Shui Yunyao to the crown prince's palace. Unexpectedly, they ran into Xiang Ning, who was privately reporting to Bei Mingyuan. Shui Yunyao was a little displeased. "Why are you here? I've been looking for you everywhere." Xiang Ning, whose only wish was for the two of them to be harmonious, felt even more guilty. Bei Mingyuan, seeing Shui Yunyao in the guard's arms, asked what happened. Before the guard could answer, Shui Yunyao spoke first. "I accidentally hurt my back just now. Guard, you was just taking me to see the imperial physician." Hearing that she was injured, Bei Mingyuan frowned. "Let me see." Shui Yunyao tried to struggle, but he pulled her into his arms. After dismissing everyone, only the two of them remained in the large bedchamber, gazing at each other. Recalling the man's insatiable desire, Shui Yunyao blushed and hid her face in her shoulder. Bei Mingyuan softly asked where she was hurt. Still angry, Shui Yunyao's tone was sharp. "You're not the imperial physician." Looking at her petulant expression, Bei Mingyuan simply offered warm comfort. "I've been leading troops for many years. This is much faster than waiting for the imperial physician." Seeing his good attitude, Shui Yunyao stopped resisting. She lifted her injured right side for him to see. "It's right here. It hurts." Bei Mingyuan carefully applied medicine, while advising her to walk slower and be less reckless in the future. Dizzy with his gentle actions, Shui Yunyao obediently replied, "I understand." After applying the medicine, he left, saying he was very busy lately and didn't have time to accompany her. Hearing this, she became quite excited. "I can do whatever I want again." Shui Yunyao, disguised, went to Xiang Zhuyuan to repay the kindness of the two siblings. Seeing her shabby clothes, the waiter impatiently shooed her away. Shui Yunyao boasted, "My brother is Mo Li, the number one in Zhutianci." As she was speaking, the two siblings returned and caught her in the act. "Master, when did you get younger sister?" Xiao Luo immediately accused her. "Where did this wild child come from? How dare she impersonate our master's sister?" Emoli stepped in to stop Xiao Luo, reassuring Shui Yunyao not to be afraid. The woman gave a sweet smile that charmed everyone. "My brother's woman is really something. To thank you, I'll treat you to a meal." After a satisfying meal, Shui Yunyao, feeling content, pulled 4 coins from her pocket, explaining her purpose. "Actually, I'm returning money on behalf of a young lady. She said she borrowed 2 copper coins and is returning 4. The other 2 are for the interest." A hint of melancholy flickered in Mo Li's eyes. He couldn't help but worry about the woman he'd only met once. "So you were sent by her. Is she doing well now?" "She's fine," Shui Yunyao replied, slapping down a large silver note for the owner to settle the bill. Noticing the Songlang Kingdom's official seal on the silver note, Mo Li exchanged it for gold, claiming it was for easier carrying. Xiao Luo was puzzled. "Master, we don't lack silver. Why exchange it?" Mo Li carefully examined the silver note. If she stole this official note, exchanging it for gold might save her from punishment. Meanwhile, in the East Palace, Bei Mingyuan was still anxiously searching for news of the woman. A perceptive guard reminded him, "Your Highness, don't you think that woman resembles a grown-up version of the crown princess? I suspect there's some blood relation between them. The young crown princess's previous disappearance might also be related to this matter." Bei Mingyuan pondered for a moment. "If anyone has used those silver notes, apprehend them immediately." Shui Yunyao returned late at night after finishing her errand. Cries echoed through the quiet night. Following the sound, she discovered it was Yu Ling, who had disrupted the wedding, crying for help. Seeing Shui Yunyao, Yu Ling clung to her as if she were a lifeline. "You must be here to save me." Shui Yunyao looked at the open door. "Couldn't you just escape?" Yu Ling glanced out the window. "This crown prince's residence is too big. I can't find a way out." Shui Yunyao got straight to the point. "So why are you locked up here?" Hearing Yu Ling's answer, Shui Yunyao's jaw dropped in shock. "You actually want Bei Mingyuan too?" Looking at Yu Ling, who shared her desire, Shui Yunyao declared haughtily, "If I were the crown prince, I wouldn't just lock you up, I'd lock you up for life." Finally, after Yu Ling repeatedly promised not to pursue Bei Mingyuan any further, Shui Yunyao pointed out an escape route. thought. Returning to her chambers and still not seeing Bei Mingyuan, she grumbled, "He called me here and then isn't even here himself. I don't know what he's so busy with." Xiang Ning, seeing Shui Yun Yao finally showing concern for the crown prince, smiled happily. "I heard the crown prince is preparing for the hunting competition, so he's very busy." Hearing about something new, Shui Yun Yao couldn't contain her excitement. "Can I go too?" Before she could finish, Bei Mingyuan arrived, his questioning tone preceding him. "Where do you think you're going?" Trying to run off again. The more he looked at Shui Yun Yao, the more she resembled that woman. He took out the portrait and demanded, "Who is this woman in the painting?" Shui Yun Yao stuck to her usual story. "The woman in the painting is my mother." Bei Mingyuan pressed her, hoping to extract more information. However, Shui Yun Yao's ability to weave tales was even more proficient. Bei Mingyuan pressed fortier. "You said your father was a heartless man before, but now you praise him. You've never even met them. How do you know they reconciled?" Seeing that her lies were failing, Shui Yun Yao pretended to have a mental breakdown over not being able to find her mother, bursting into loud sobs. Seeing her heartbroken appearance, Bei Mingyuan was once again deceived. "Be good. I've been very busy lately, but if you're obedient, I'll take you to find her." Shui Yun Yao put on a brave face, but thought to herself, "Like you'll actually be able to find her with me." What a joke. Bei Mingyuan summoned Qing Yu, the one who had caused him to lose control that night. He wanted to know the whereabouts of that woman. Qing Yu blamed everything on the woman, portraying her as a promiscuous woman who had even bought abortion pills. Bei Mingyuan was an adatsa. Could Shui Yun Yao really be his child? Then, with a flick of his finger, he sent Qing Yu crashing to the ground, his voice filled with the fury of being tricked. "You said she was the most wonderful woman in the world, and now you tell me she even has a child." Seeing Bei Mingyuan's uncontrollable rage, Qing Yu blurted out in panic, "It's Shui Yun Yao. She begged me to lie to you." Hearing Shui Yun Yao's name, Bei Mingyuan became even more agitated. "What did you say?" "Shui Yun Yao." Qing Yu quickly corrected himself, "Not Shui Yun Yao. It's my junior sister's child. I misspoke just now." Ignoring Qing Yu's rambling, Bei Mingyuan summoned his demonic beast, Jiao Long, and looked at Qing Yu. "He's yours now." After a series of screams, Qing Yu lay bloodied, writhing in agony, with only one thought echoing in his mind. "Someone save me. I don't want to die." A mysterious person appeared before the woman. "Do you want to live?" Bei Mingyuan arrived at Shui Yun Jian and found the sect leader. He questioned who the person in the painting was. The sect leader learned that the person who had defiled Shui Yun Yao was the princess of Yuming Palace. To protect Shui Yun Yao and the crown prince's relationship, he could only deny knowing the person in the painting. Bei Mingyuan angrily retorted, "If she's not your disciple, how could she appear on your sect's grounds?" Having no other choice, the sect leader admitted, "She was indeed once my disciple, but I already expelled her. You must know the reason." Bei Mingyuan explained for the woman, "She and I were both schemed against by your disciple. You shouldn't have expelled her." The sect leader still wanted to ask who the person was. Bei Mingyuan only spoke in an unquestionable tone, "I've already cleaned up for you." Seeing the man still relentlessly pursuing the woman's whereabouts, the sect leader couldn't help but ask why the crown prince was so persistent. Bei Mingyuan recalled that night, "Because she is already mine." Seeing the man's determined look, the sect leader proposed a duel. If the man lost, he could no longer search for her and must offer a drop of heart blood as payment. Unexpectedly, the woman was knocked to the ground in a single move. The sect leader would rather die than reveal her location. Bei Mingyuan saw through the sect leader's bluff. If she were truly expelled, he wouldn't risk his life. He left a message, "If you want my heart blood, come to Yuming Palace yourself and take it from me," then departed. Shui Yun Yao was still worried about the lack of news regarding the Xianwu Lotus. What if I suddenly transform in front of Bei Mingyuan? She worried. Just then, the third prince, Bei Mingfeng, arrived. With the crown prince absent, it's most appropriate for this little crown princess to receive the guest, she thought. Shui Yun Yao's mind raced. It's the end of the month. Is he taking me to see my father? She happily went out to meet him. However, Bei Mingfeng didn't mention the matter at all, which displeased her. "The crown prince isn't here. Go back where you came from." Bei Mingfeng had a good temper. He wasn't annoyed by Shui Yun Yao's cold demeanor. He whispered in her ear, "There's so many people here. How can I take you out if you don't cooperate?" Shui Yun Yao quickly caught on. "What? Third prince, you want McDonald's and Pizza Hut? We don't have those here. We have to go outside." Bei Mingfeng was completely baffled by her nonsense. "I'm talking about Xiangman Lu. It's the best restaurant in Songlang Kingdom." Xiang Ning tried to stop them, but was left stammering and confused by the third prince's smooth talking. While Xiang Ning was disoriented, Bei Mingfeng scooped Shui Yunyao up and quickly left the crown prince's residence. Looking at the Xiangman Lu signboard, Shui Yunyao was displeased. Didn't you say you'd take me to see my father? Why are we at Xiangman Lu again? The third prince is so sly. He had an excuse prepared, bringing you to Yu Ming Palace in broad daylight. Aren't you afraid of being discovered? I'm afraid. Shui Yunyao grumbled. So we're going at night. Why did you have to bring me to Xiangman Lu now? Bai Mingfeng smirked. Of course, I brought you here to watch a good show. Shui Yunyao was enjoying her drinks with Bei Mingfeng when the bustling noise downstairs caught her attention. She leaned over to look outside. An exotic beauty was on the street, attracting a large crowd. People surrounded her, making it impossible for her to move. Shui Yunyao turned to tease Bei Mingfeng. Don't you love beauties? Why aren't you playing the hero today? Bei Mingfeng spread his hands. As the best man in Songlang Kingdom, I've already clarified my stance. Besides, this beauty is special. She's already taken. Shui Yunyao wanted to hear more gossip, but Bei Mingfeng deliberately kept her in suspense, refusing to say more. She could only stretch further to see more of the commotion. However, this scene was witnessed by Bei Mingyuan. Seeing the woman, who should have been in the palace, at Xiangman Lu, Bei Mingyuan's fury surged. After ordering Yi Shi to continue escorting the princess safely, he stormed into Xiangman Lu with a murderous look. Seeing Bei Mingyuan's furious entrance, Bei Mingfeng felt a smug sense of accomplishment. Imperial brother, why are you here? Shui Yunyao, still engrossed in her large chicken leg, was completely unaware of the impending storm. Bei Mingyuan glared at Bei Mingfeng, gritting his teeth. Why did you bring her out of the palace? Hearing his voice, Shui Yunyao dropped her chicken leg in fright. Before she could react, she was lifted up like a pendant by Bei Mingyuan. Noticing the smell of alcohol on her, he glared at Bei Mingfeng, wanting to execute him on the spot. Following the others, Princess Xueji of Xue, Yu Kingdom arrived at the inn. Her voice was gentle, yet tinged with coldness. May I ask which of you is His Highness, the Crown Prince? Bei Mingyuan, shielding the dizzy Shui Yunyao in his arms, turned towards the princess. I am Xueji. Looking at the handsome face and tall figure of her betrothed, chosen by her imperial brother, she felt quite satisfied. But who is this child in your arms? Is this your child? Shui Yunyao felt trapped between two icebergs, struggling to survive. Bei Mingfeng broke the silence first, showering the princess with flattery. Xueji frowned slightly. And who are you? Bei Mingfeng flashed his signature, sunny smile. I am Bei Mingfeng, the third prince of Songlan Kingdom. Knowing full well that Xueji was here for the crown prince, he deliberately asked Shui Yunyao, I heard Princess Xueji came here on behalf of Shui Yu Kingdom for a marriage alliance. I wonder who the fortunate man is. Xueji, unmoved by Bei Mingfeng's familiarity, replied coldly, that is none of your concern, third prince. Bei Mingyuan, after entrusting Yi Shi with escorting the princess, left for the palace with the inebriated Shui Yunyao. Watching the man's retreating figure, Xueji voiced her inner doubts. I've never heard that His Highness the Crown Prince has a daughter. Bei Mingfeng enthusiastically explained, Your Highness is mistaken. This is the little crown princess. He then added, not forgetting to stir up trouble for Shui Yunyao, my imperial brother treats her even better than he treats me. Seeing that Shui Yunyao was just a child, Xueji relaxed her vigilance. As long as she doesn't interfere with my main plan, it's fine. After nightfall, Shui Yunyao took advantage of the darkness to climb over the wall. With a perfect 720-degree spin in the air, she landed steadily. Bei Mingfeng, watching the woman who insisted on climbing the wall instead of using the gate, remarked, Little sister-in-law, are you trying to be a thief? Shui Yunyao, still upset about being tricked earlier, retorted, What's it to you? Bei Mingfeng grinned. Little sister-in-law, I just wanted you to meet this princess, Xueji. Aren't you curious about her target? Shui Yunyao didn't even glance at Bei Mingfeng. Who else could it be? It must be your imperial brother. Bei Mingfeng continued to provoke her. Aren't you worried that Princess Xueji will threaten your position in the future? Shui Yunyao didn't care in the slightest. They soon arrived at Yuming Palace. Bei Mingfeng took out a jade pendant. After handing it to the guard, a black-clad attendant came to lead them. Please follow me. The princess awaits. Bei Mingyuan, disguised as the princess of Yuming Palace, sat formally on the throne. To what do I owe the pleasure of the third prince's late-night visit? Bei Mingfeng, smiling, lifted Shui Yun Yao like a puppy. Princess, I have come with good news. Do you recognize who this is? Bei Mingyuan watched their performance with amusement. They looked somewhat familiar. Bei Mingfeng put his face next to Shui Yun Yao's. Familiar is right. Doesn't she look like your long-lost daughter? Bei Mingyuan knew better than anyone. He had only been with that woman twice. How could he have a daughter? His voice was laced with surprise. I wasn't aware I had a daughter. Bei Mingfeng assumed the man simply couldn't remember due to his many encounters with women. Bei Mingyuan retorted, when it comes to womanizing, I am no match for the third prince's reputation. While the two bickered, Shui Yun Yao walked up to Bei Mingyuan. Are you my father? Bei Mingyuan deliberately spoke vaguely. Shouldn't you know better than I? Shui Yun Yao's heart pounded, but she maintained a calm facade. My mother said my father was a masked immortal. It must be you. Bei Mingyuan immediately understood. She had come for that woman. He turned to Bei Mingfeng. What is your purpose in going to such lengths? Bei Mingfeng didn't bother hiding it. I need the silver immortal grass from Yuming Palace. It can cure any poison. Would the princess be willing to part with some? Bei Mingyuan ordered someone to take Bei Mingfeng to retrieve the herb, using the opportunity to question the woman alone. Tell me your true purpose in coming here today. Shui Yun Yao, assuming this was the man's first time seeing her, tried to deceive him with her childlike appearance. I came to see you because I miss you, of course. Facing the cunning Shui Yun Yao, Bei Mingyuan instinctively said what he often said to women. I don't like children who lie. Hearing this familiar reprimand, Shui Yun Yao thought, this sounds just like Bei Mingyuan. No. If it were him, he would have exposed me already. Bei Mingyuan's thoughts were preoccupied with the woman. His questions revolved around her. Did your mother send you? Why didn't she come herself? Shui Yun Yao seized the opportunity to play the victim. My mother is dying. That's why she sent me. Please save her. Hearing that the woman was injured, Bei Mingyuan anxiously shook Shui Yun Yao. Take me to her. Under Bei Mingyuan's persistent questioning, Shui Yun Yao had no choice but to explain, it's all your fault for taking my mother's body. That's why you need to give your heart blood to save her. The sect leader told me that a cultivation technique my mother practiced before was broken by you deflowering her. He needs your heart's blood as medicine, or he won't live past 3 months. Bei Mingyuan felt a little dizzy and embarrassed. He even told you about this kind of thing concerning your mother. He then posed a pointed question. Since I only deflowered her recently, where did you come from? Bei Mingyuan stared at the woman, waiting to see what excuse she could come up with. The woman's mind raced as she was stared down. Blushing, she forced out a sentence. My mother cultivated after she gave birth to me. She hoped this would be enough to fool him. Looking at Shui Yun Yao's face, so similar to his own, the man mused, if I had a daughter with her, she would probably be this cute. Bei Mingyuan stated his condition. A life-saving favor should be repaid by pledging oneself to the savior. A mischievous idea popped into Shui Yun Yao's head. I can just give him a ginseng root later. That wouldn't be breaking my promise. Besides, as long as I stay hidden in the Crown Prince's residence, he can't do anything to me. Turning, she blinked her large eyes at the man. No problem. We'll do as you say. Bei Mingyuan questioned, can you make this decision for your mother? Shui Yun Yao assured him, don't worry. You can come find me at the Crown Prince's residence if you don't believe me. Bei Mingyuan saw right through her scheme. You're deliberately luring me to the Crown Prince's residence so you can watch me get arrested. Caught out, Shui Yun Yao could only feign innocence. How could you say that? Even if you don't trust me, you should trust my mother, right? Bei Mingyuan recalled the girl's mother, who had always managed to escape him easily. He said irritably, your mother is even less trustworthy. However, just thinking about the woman being injured, Bei Mingyuan felt a pang of heartache. Come back in 3 days to retrieve the medicine made from my heart's blood. The sect leader of Yin Shui Jian heard from Bei Mingyuan that the internal traitor had been dealt with. He then instructed the Great Elder to investigate who had gone missing recently. Unexpectedly, after the Great Elder made inquiries, it turned out that not a single disciple was missing. The Great Elder had some doubts. Could the Nether Princess have deceived us? The sect leader still trusted the man. He is the dignified Nether Princess. Why would he need to deceive us? There must be something we don't know. The Great Elder voiced his suspicion about Xing Yue. Recently, trouble has followed him wherever he goes. All of this conversation was overheard by Qin Yue, who was hidden in the shadows. Inside the Crown Prince's palace, Shui Yun Yao was still sleeping soundly even though the sun was high in the sky. Xiangning rushed in, pushing the door open. Young Crown Princess, have you forgotten that you have etiquette lessons today? Shui Yunyao whined. I don't want to go. I've already learned all of this before. As she spoke, the Vogue appeared behind her, radiating a powerful, oppressive aura. The Crown Prince has ordered that if you do not obey, I am to punish you. Shui Yunyao quickly shut her mouth, frightened. Inwardly, she cursed Biming Yuan from head to toe. Shui Yunyao was once again dragged off to learn proper conduct. Because the Mo wasn't teaching her directly, the woman simply fell asleep during the lesson. The teacher tapped Shui Yunyao's desk with her ring, waking her from her slumber. Shui Yunyao, grumpy for being woken up, snapped. Why did you scare me like that? Looking at the painting instructor's red and green outfit, Shui Yunyao thought of the saying red and green should only be seen on a dog's behind and burst out laughing. The painting instructor introduced himself. I am Zhang Yang, the painting instructor invited by the Empress to teach the palace maids. Young Crown Princess, if you do not study diligently, I will have a difficult time explaining myself to the Crown Prince. Shui Yunyao was quite confident in her own painting skills. Painting is my forte. If you want to teach me, you'll have to prove you're qualified first. The two made a bet on a painting competition. If Shui Yunyao lost, she would obediently listen to instructions. If the instructor lost, he would wear a palace maid's outfit and run a lap around the imperial palace. The instructor was a little embarrassed at the thought of wearing women's clothing. But then he thought, I'm a dignified painting instructor. If I'm afraid of a painting competition, how can I teach? Biming Yuan was confronting Biming Feng, who had taken the woman out of the palace to drink, demanding an explanation. Biming Feng argued she wanted to drink the wine herself. Brother, you can't wrongly accuse me. A passing man in yellow caught Biming Yuan's attention. My lord, the man in yellow trembled under Biming Yuan's imposing presence. Your Highness, Crown Prince, third imperial brother. Then he dropped to his knees with a thud. Biming Yuan demanded, what do you need so much charcoal for? It turned out that the young Crown Princess wanted to have a painting competition with instructor Zhang and had requested long, thin pieces of charcoal. Upon hearing this, Biming Feng realized there was a good show to be seen. He turned to Biming Yuan. Brother, don't you want to go and see? His cheeks flushed slightly. Let's go have a look then. Shui Yunyao took the charcoal sticks she had requested, feeling pleased with herself. Instructor Zhang asked, how do you want to compete? Shui Yunyao, full of confidence, suggested, how about a speed painting competition? The tension between the two grew. Neither believed they would be the one to lose. The two faced the palace maids and began to paint. Shui Yunyao hummed a cheerful tune, a victorious look on her face. Biming Yuan, worried, rushed over. Painter Zhang, looking at his almost finished painting, turned to Shui Yunyao provocatively. Young Crown Princess, I'm about to finish. If you withdraw from the competition now, there's still time. Shui Yunyao laughed. I'm finished. Painter Zhang picked up her painting. This. Looking at the lifelike portrait, he coughed up blood. I've lost. The palace maids watching the spectacle murmured amongst themselves. Could the young Crown Princess have cheated? Painter Zhang must have lost on purpose. One palace maid picked up Shui Yunyao's painting of herself. She couldn't believe how the person in the painting looked exactly like her, as if carved from the same mold. The startled palace maid cried out, ghost, and fainted. Painter Zhang quickly explained, don't panic, everyone. It's just that the young Crown Princess's painting is too realistic. Shui Yunyao looked at the painter, who was explaining on her behalf. Why are you helping me? The painter, with a cool tone, spoke with a hint of pleading, because I want to become your student. Meanwhile, news of the young Crown Princess's ghostly act quickly reached the Empress's palace. To prevent the matter from escalating, the Empress sent someone to summon Shui Yunyao. Despite Voke's attempts to comfort her, the Empress frowned. In this palace, matters involving ghosts and spirits are serious offenses. I'm afraid the noble consort will use this opportunity to make a big fuss and implicate the Crown Prince. The Emperor happened to be discussing matters with Biming Yuan at that time. After entrusting Shui Yunyao to Biming Feng, the man entered the palace. Painter Zhang emerged after changing into women's clothing, looking quite different. Painter Zhang, now in women's attire, looked at Shui Yunyao's enthusiastic expression and said sweetly, so, Master, will you teach me how to sketch? Shui Yunyao flatly refused. The people sent by the Empress to find Shui Yunyao arrived at the Crown Prince's palace. Young crown princess, everyone is talking about the ghost incident with the painter. The empress wants to see you to understand the situation. The clever Shui Yunyao thought she needed two people, and it just so happened that Painter Zhang and the fainted palace maid would do. Painter Zhang wanted to refuse. Shui Yunyao threatened with a slight pinch. Since you want me to be your master, you know what to say later, right? Noble consort Chun, having heard the rumors, arrived at the empress's palace before Shui Yunyao. Sister, I heard there's a ghost in the palace, and it involves the young crown princess. Shui Yunyao, dressed in pink, looked particularly delicate. Her tone, anticipating a smooth conversation, became sweet. Greetings, Mother Empress. Painter Zhang also quickly knelt on the ground, giving a timid greeting. Noble consort Chun, seeing the man dressed as a woman, scolded loudly. Painter Zhang quickly crawled forward 2 steps and explained, Noble consort, you misunderstand. I am Zhang Yang, the painting instructor responsible for teaching the palace maid's painting skills. Noble consort Chen just wanted to get rid of Shui Yunyao quickly, so she ignored Painter Zhang's explanation. Sister, I see this person has wicked intentions. He should be immediately imprisoned in the Zhongrenfu for a thorough investigation. Seeing the situation take a turn for the worse, Shui Yunyao quickly put on a weak act and cried, pleading, Mother Empress, I'm sorry. It was just a prank I started with him. Please don't blame him. Seeing Shui Yunyao's tearful face gave the Empress an opportunity to intervene. Sister, Yaoer is still young. It's normal for her to play a prank with Painter Zhang. As an elder, you should be more tolerant. Why be so harsh? The noble consort argued, but this matter of ghosts and spirits is a serious issue. If it's not clarified, it will cause panic in the palace. The cunning. Shui Yunyao's mind raced, and she shouted, Where's the ghost? Why haven't I seen it? Could it be that the noble consort released the ghost? Why is she the only one who can see it? Hearing Shui Yunyao's accusation, noble consort Chun, enraged, blurted out, Nonsense. Is this the good upbringing your sister has taught you? The Empress soothed her, Sister, be careful not to anger yourself. Yaoer is just speaking innocently. Let's wake up the fainted palace maid and ask her what happened before making any judgments. The palace maid slowly opened her eyes. Before she could speak, she fainted again, overwhelmed by the scene before her. Seeing this, noble consort Chun remained relentless, wanting to punish the young crown princess. The Empress was displeased. Such blatant targeting of her daughter-in-law showed no regard for her position as Empress. As the tense atmosphere intensified, Bai Mingfeng presented Shui Yunyao's painting to the Empress. Your Majesty, it's truly because the young crown princess's painting skill is too realistic that it frightened the palace maid. It's definitely not a ghost. Noble consort Chun impatiently snatched the painting and looked at the lifelike portrait. Impossible. There must be something unclean possessing the crown princess. Shui Yunyao, indignant, was about to retort angrily. Bai Mingfeng arrived just in time. Your Majesty, I have something to say about this matter. Bai Mingfeng had someone brought forward. The young palace maid answered tremblingly, reporting to your Majesty. The charcoal used by the young crown princess was indeed delivered by me, but I absolutely did not tamper with it. Noble consort Chun, believing she had the upper hand, spoke arrogantly. Since there's nothing wrong with the charcoal, how can you prove the young crown princess's innocence? Noble consort Chin's words played right into Bai Mingfeng's hands. This young palace maid hadn't done anything, but that didn't mean someone else hadn't. He turned to a nearby palace maid and asked, where did this charcoal come from? The palace maid quickly explained, the weather has recently turned cold, and charcoal is in short supply. I heard noble consort Chun had some extra, so I bought a little from Mei Xiang, the consort's maid. Noble consort Chun flew into a rage upon hearing this. She slapped Mei Xiang across the face. You useless fool. Mei Xiang stammered, terrified by the enraged noble consort. I only sold her some charcoal. I didn't tamper with it. The Empress seized on the key point. Sister, why do you have so much charcoal in the palace? Before noble consort Chun could explain, Shui Yunyao spoke, her eyes shimmering with innocence. Mother Empress, I've heard that there's a type of witchcraft in southern Jiang. If you burn something belonging to someone you hate, you can curse them. Could it be that noble consort Chun wanted to use it for a curse? Noble consort Chun cried out, I've been wrong. The Empress questioned her with imperial authority. Sister, are you still unwilling to tell the truth? Seeing the situation, Mei Xiang had no choice but to confess. It was I who secretly withheld consort Rose charcoal. I wanted to exchange it for some money. Noble consort Chen knew nothing about it. In the end, Mei Xiang was imprisoned, and noble consort Chen was punished with 3 months confinement for negligent supervision. Through the charcoal ghost incident, Shui Yunyao had inadvertently helped consort Ro and Bai Ming Yuan, making their days in the cold palace a little easier. Bai Ming Yuan was overjoyed to see Shui Yunyao after such a long time. Consort Ro's health gradually improved, and she no longer needed to be bedridden. Looking at Consort Ro's rosy complexion, Shui Yunyao finally felt some relief. I'm so relieved to see you safe and sound. But Consort Ro, even if you don't consider yourself, shouldn't you consider Yuan her? Consort Ro then revealed how Bai Ming Yuan had been framed. He framed me for causing his miscarriage. The emperor, in his fury, banished me to the cold palace. I haven't dared to resist because of his influence. Shui Yunyao urged Consort Ro to fight back. Consort Ro was a little bashful. I only know how to sing operas and little tunes. Even if I shouted, the emperor wouldn't hear me. Shui Yunyao promised to help Consort Ro. Consort Ro recalled how noble Consort Chun had made similar promises. I know you're a good child, but why are you going through so much trouble to help me? Bai Ming Yuan was angered by his mother's suspicion. Mother, how can you doubt her? Shui Yunyao, however, was rather pleased by Consort Ro's wariness. In the deep palace, the worst thing was to trust others easily. Actually, I'm also doing this for myself. I offended her not long ago. Bringing her down would be good for me too. Consort Ro looked at Shui Yunyao, so young yet so clever, and couldn't help but feel sorry for her. Yao, you understand so much at such a young age. You must have suffered a lot. Shui Yunyao thought back on her countless transmigrations. Watching a bit of empresses in the palace taught me all this. Looking at the frail Bai Ming Yuan, she thought, he needs to learn some self-defense techniques. A few simple tricks from her time as a special agent would be enough. The two went to the imperial garden and happened to overhear Xueji, a princess from a neighboring country, whispering with her maid. They caught snippets like, "What about young Masterly?" Shui Yunyao wanted to eavesdrop further, but they were discovered. She put on a warm greeting. "Oh, aren't you the beautiful sister I met the other day?" Xueji seemed inexplicably hostile towards Shui Yunyao. "Young crown princess, we meet again." Xueji didn't want to engage further with Shui Yunyao and intended to leave. Shui Yunyao couldn't help but voice her question. "Beautiful sister, are you going to marry the crown prince?" Xueji turned to Shui Yunyao. "Are you afraid of me marrying him?" Shui Yunyao blushed, caught off guard. "Well, I just think he's old and bad-tempered." She was startled by her own words. "I'm not trying to make Xueji fall in love with him and marry him, am I? Why would I say something like that?" Xueji also noticed Shui Yunyao's unusual feelings towards the crown prince. "It seems you care a great deal for him, but I am determined to marry the crown prince." Hearing Xueji's words, Shui Yunyao seemed to finally understand her own feelings, a strange sadness welling up in her heart. Bai Ming Yuan nudged the dazed Shui Yunyao. "They're gone. Why are you still spacing out? Hey, are you really the young crown princess?" Just as Shui Yunyao was about to explain, a commotion came from the distance. 2 guards were dragging a woman towards the prison without any explanation. Shui Yunyao was thrown into the Zhongren Mansion prison. Zhang, the painter who was already inside, feigned a fall, startling her. "What happened to you?" Observing Shui Yunyao's reaction, the painter expressed satisfaction with his newly mixed red ink. It's realistic enough to be mistaken for the real thing. He learned from the coroner that the palace maid who had fainted was now dead. Mei Xiang and Xi Nin, who had been dragged out, gloated from the side. "Didn't think you'd end up like this." The two looked towards the sound. Mei Xiang was covered in wounds from being tortured and seemed delirious, believing noble consort Chun was avenging her. Shui Yunyao, seeing her confused state, said, "Think about it. Noble consort Chun is high-ranking. Even if she couldn't get you out, why would she let you suffer so much physical pain? You're in a terrible state." Mei Xiang was momentarily moved, but still made excuses. "Her ladyship wouldn't abandon me." Shui Yunyao turned to the handsome painter. "To make Mei Xiang switch sides, we need you." Her to the honey trap. Shui Yunyao, the crown princess, had only 3 steam buns in front of her, while Mei Xiang had a table full of food. It seemed like her last meal. In despair, Mei Xiang couldn't stop crying. Zhang the painter seized the opportunity and tossed her one of his buns. "Don't worry, I tried it. It's not poisoned. He then gently comforted her. With me and Master here, you'll be absolutely fine. Mei Xiang picked up the bun and was about to devour it when the prison guard yanked her up. You think you can avoid your fate by not eating your last meal. Meanwhile, the other two took advantage of the commotion. They began to act. Young Crown Princess, what's wrong? Someone help. The young Crown Princess has fainted. The guard came over to check on Shui Yunyao. Zhang the painter lunged at him in an attempt to attack, but the guard easily dodged. With your small frame, you dare sneak attack me. You're looking for death. Zhang the painter froze, startled by the guard's sudden turn. Shui Yunyao knocked him out with a brick. It was too dangerous for Mei Xiang to stay in prison any longer. Shui Yunyao instructed Zhang the painter to take Mei Xiang to the cold palace to find Consort Row and hide. She then pretended to be injured and unconscious. The next morning, she heard someone shouting Her Highness outside and woke up. She thought it was Bai Ming Yuan, but it turned out to be the playboy, Bai Ming Feng. Seeing Shui Yunyao lying on the ground, he questioned the guard. What happened here? The foolish guard blurted out, I was just knocked unconscious by the young crown princess. I don't know anything. Bai Ming Feng's expression turned icy. You say you were knocked unconscious by the crown princess. Then why is she lying down and not you? Think before you speak. The guard quickly made an excuse and fled. Now alone in the cell, Bai Ming Feng took out a roasted chicken to tempt Shui Yunyao. She immediately took the bait and sat up, her mouth watering adorably. Bai Ming Feng brought news from outside. Noble Consort Chen had blamed the palace maid's death on Shui Yunyao. An exorcism ritual would be held for her in 3 days. Seeing her frown, Bai Ming Feng comforted her. Don't worry, sister-in-law. I've sent someone to Baiyun City to inform brother. It turned out Bai Ming Yuan had been sent by the emperor to suppress bandits. This was why Noble Consort Chen was acting so hastily. To protect herself, Shui Yunyao asked Bai Ming Feng to send a message to Xiangning and bring her a few things. Meanwhile, Bai Ming Yuan sensed something was amiss. He hadn't received a single letter in days. Worried about Shui Yunyao, he decided to secretly return to the palace. Xiangning was gathering the items Shui Yunyao requested. When Bai Ming Yuan arrived back at the palace on horseback, Xiangning quickly recounted the recent events. Hearing that Shui Yunyao had been imprisoned in the Zhongren mansion, he was heartbroken and couldn't sit still. After instructing Xiangning to pretend she hadn't seen him, he immediately went to the Zhongren mansion. Shui Yunyao saw Bai Ming Yuan dressed as the princess of Yuming and wondered why he was there. She hesitated at his concern. Bai Ming Yuan allayed her doubts by claiming he would later avenge her mother. Even in prison, Shui Yunyao hadn't forgotten her mission. Since you're here, can you give me some of your heart blood? Seeing her still plotting in this situation, Bai Ming Yuan was puzzled. What's your plan? Shui Yunyao naturally wouldn't tell him and tried to evade the question with a silly smile, leaving Bai Ming Yuan blushing. Coincidentally, Xiangning arrived and resolved the woman's predicament. She left the man and ran off quickly. With the restorative elixir, she finally felt a bit more confident, no longer feeling completely helpless. The Empress, unable to receive any news from Bai Ming Yuan, paced anxiously. She never expected the news she received would be that the young crown princess was to be brought to the sacrificial altar ahead of schedule. A Taoist priest in yellow robes arrived at the plaza, putting on a mystical act, just as Shui Yunyao was about to be forced to drink the drug potion. Bai Ming Yuan hid nearby, ready to intervene. Shui Yunyao was not easily controlled. She spat the potion onto the Taoist priest. Prepared for this, the Taoist priest took out another potion, intending to force-feed it to Shui Yunyao. Seeing this, Bai Ming Yuan secretly used a hidden weapon to help her. The Empress arrived just in time and pleaded with the Emperor to rescind his order. Noble Consort Chen claimed the ritual was to clear the young crown princess's name and exorcise evil. The Empress could only invoke Bai Ming Yuan's name, buying Shui Yunyao some time. All matters would be decided upon his return. Shui Yunyao looked at the empty plaza. There was clearly nothing there. Who just helped me? The sun had already set when Zhang the painter finally arrived. Seeing the empty altar, he burst into tears. A young guard, seeing them wailing, assumed they were slacking off. Only after their explanation did he realize the young crown princess was still safely locked up in the Zhongren mansion. And so, the two sat there like meditating monks. Meanwhile, back in the Zhongren mansion, Shui Yunyao asked Xiangning to bring her some clothes. Everything was ready. Finally, she could transform. In Yuming Palace, Bai Ming Yuan was still investigating the carrier pigeon incident. All signs pointed to General Chun. What was that Chen up to? Transformed, Shui Yunyao wanted to check the morgue where Mei Xiang's body was kept, but unfamiliar with the palace layout, she kept going in circles. Suddenly, someone entered the hall. Caught off guard, Shui Yunyao was rescued by Bai Ming Yuan and hidden behind a screen. Noble consort Chun and the Taoist priest, their ritual failed, devised a new plan. This deadly poison could cause hallucinations. Just a little bit in the emperor's food, and they guaranteed he would order the execution of a young crown princess tomorrow. After they left, Shui Yunyao remained. Bai Ming Yuan's sudden approach startled her. What are you doing here? Seeing her, Bai Ming Yuan couldn't contain his passion and kissed her deeply. I won't let you escape this time. Shui Yunyao broke free, blushing, and warned him, don't push it or I won't be polite. Remembering Shui Yunyao's mother's precarious situation, Bai Ming Yuan retorted, looking at you so full of energy, you hardly seem like someone about to die. Fearing she might reveal too much, Shui Yunyao tried to leave. With her daughter still imprisoned, she had no time for this. Bai Ming Yuan refused to let her go, wanted to join her in rescuing her daughter. Exasperated by his persistence, Shui Yunyao asked, do you even know where I'm going? And you just want to follow me? Bai Ming Yuan certainly knew. You're planning to stop noble consort Chun from poisoning the emperor and then investigate the morgue, right? Shui Yunyao, surprised he knew everything, resigned herself to letting him follow. Watching him navigate the palace with ease, she couldn't help but wonder about his connection to Bai Ming Yuan. Their voices and identities were completely different, yet she felt a strange similarity. Lost in thought, she bumped straight into him when he stopped abruptly. Not far away was noble consort Chun. She added the poison to the emperor's late-night meal. Shui Yunyao seized the opportunity and approached her from behind. Lowering her voice to a sinister tone, she said, you've made me suffer so much. Why don't you come and keep me company? Noble consort Chun, though inwardly terrified, maintained a fearless facade. Taking advantage of her distraction, Shui Yunyao immobilized her with a pressure point strike. She then turned and forced the poisoned tea down noble consort Chen's throat. They went to the morgue to investigate. Bai Ming Yuan, worried about corpse poison harming her, tried to stop her. Shui Yunyao felt a flutter of affection at his unexpected concern. A little devil appeared in her mind. This Yuming princess is much more reliable than Bai Ming Yuan. Forget Bai Ming Yuan. Shui Yunyao blushed crimson at her wicked thoughts, closing her eyes and telling herself to forget them. Bai Ming Yuan quickly found Mei Xiang's body. The cause of death was indeed strange. It looked like both poisoning and strangulation. He stepped forward to examine it. The strangulation marks on her neck were fabricated after death. Such obvious forgery meant the coroner must have been bribed by noble consort Chun. Suddenly, footsteps came from outside the door. Shui Yunyao's agent instincts were still sharp. The sneaky Taoist priest was actually trying to destroy the body. With lightning speed, Bai Ming Yuan knocked him unconscious with a single palm strike. Shui Yunyao hurriedly stopped him. Her small hands fumbled around his waist. Bai Ming Yuan's face flushed red to the tips of his ears. Are you throwing yourself into my arms? Hearing his words, Shui Yunyao blushed and retorted, you, the esteemed Yu Ming palace master, don't even carry a single vial of poison. Bai Ming Yuan was bewildered. What do you need poison for? Do you think I'm the kind of person who carries poison around? Shui Yunyao, blushing, explained her thoughts. I just wanted to use it to make the Taoist priest testify against noble consort Chun. It's not that I don't trust you. Bai Ming Yuan found her naive idea somewhat endearing. Just a few small fries won't bring her down. Her father is the general who controls the military. As long as the Qin family isn't uprooted, she will eventually make a comeback and regain favor. Instead of making the Taoist priest testify against noble consort Chun, it's better to use him for our own purposes. Shui Yunyao gave him a thumbs up. Brilliant. The Taoist priest trembled under their intense gazes. Shui Yunyao seized the opportunity to intimidate him. Do you know who he is? He's the ruthless Yu Ming palace master. What you just took was his unique 49-day cultivated poison. If you don't want to die a painful death, obey us. Bai Ming Yuan snapped his fingers. The Taoist priest felt a jolt of electricity surge through him, his psychological defenses completely shattered. He was ready to kneel and beg for mercy. The two seemed to be growing more and more in sync. After arranging the plan, Bai Ming Yuan told the Taoist priest to leave. The priest hesitantly asked about the antidote. After receiving Bai Ming Yuan's confirmation, he quickly scurried away. Now, only the stammering Shui Yunyao and the approaching Bai Ming Yuan remained in the room. Only after resolving the other issues did Shui Yunyao realize that the man before her was the biggest problem of the night. Feeling cornered and breathless, she could only stammer, "Don't do anything reckless." Bai Ming Yuan looked at her flustered state, a playful smirk lifting the corner of his lips. "Didn't your daughter tell you? To save you, she already agreed to my terms." Shui Yunyao was backed against the wall, unable to move. Bai Ming Yuan slowly lifted her chin, his voice low and seductive. "Don't tell me you're going back on your word." Infuriated, Shui Yunyao bit his hand. Bai Ming Yuan thought, "Are both mother and daughter dogs? Why do they both like to bite?" Shui Yunyao, regaining her composure, questioned him. "If I remember correctly, you haven't given my daughter the antidote yet. Why are you touching me? And why are you so familiar with the palace layout? Why could you find that palace made without ever having met her? Who are you?" Facing her aggressive questioning, Bai Ming Yuan's tone was gentle and sincere. "I am actually the crown princess." He deliberately paused, drawing out the suspense. Shui Yunyao was speechless with shock. Seeing her astonishment, he finally finished, "Ally." Shui Yunyao looked at the man entangled with her. "Why would you ally with the crown prince?" Bai Ming Yuan explained, "The crown prince's identity is special. It's inconvenient for him to do certain things, so naturally, he needs someone to act on his behalf." Shui Yunyao felt something was amiss, but his explanation seemed to make sense. Bai Ming Yuan deliberately moved closer, encircling her in his arms, his voice laced with intimacy. "I know everything about you and the crown prince." Shui Yunyao pushed him away forcefully. "Since you know about us, aren't you afraid he'll turn against you for treating me like this?" A smile played at the corners of Bai Ming Yuan's eyes. "So what?" he added, with a touch of provocation. "If you're willing to return to Yuming Palace with me, I guarantee he won't bother you again." Faced with two persistent men, Shui Yunyao didn't want to choose. After all, in the adult world, you could have both. The time for the medicine's effects to wear off was approaching. A sharp pain stabbed Shui Yunyao's chest. Bai Ming Yuan looked at her with concern. "Why has your complexion suddenly become so pale?" Shui Yunyao gritted her teeth and insisted, "I'm fine, but before I return to Yuming Palace with you, I want to see my daughter." Bai Ming Yuan looked at the woman's pained expression. At this point, Shui Yunyao would likely agree to anything. "All right, I'll go with you." Naturally, Shui Yunyao was reluctant and quickly refused, but she couldn't withstand Bai Ming Yuan's persuasive eloquence. They arrived at Zhongren Mansion. Shui Yunyao was prepared for her identity to be discovered. Unexpectedly, Bai Ming Yuan, seeing how obedient she'd been along the way, allowed her to visit her daughter alone. As soon as he finished speaking, Bai Ming Yuan pulled her in his arms, his lips firmly pressing against hers. After the kiss, he carefully instructed her, "Don't let down so many lives." Shui Yunyao was warmed by his thoughtful concern and couldn't help but hug him back. Bai Ming Yuan also felt a pang of guilt. After the woman left, Bai Ming Yuan noticed someone hidden in the shadows guarding Baiyan City. There was an exchange of words. Bai Ming Yuan ordered the guard to take the woman back to Yuming Palace and not to harm her. Then he returned to Baiyan City. The guard was left alone, waiting for his benefactor, who never returned. Bai Ming Feng arrived at the prison with good news for Shui Yunyao. Noble Consort Chen has gone mad. Early this morning, Noble Consort Chen was acting insane, and the Emperor saw her and slapped her. Now, even if she tries to cause trouble, the Emperor probably won't believe her. Shui Yunyao grasped the key point. Now that Noble Consort Chen has fallen out of favor, isn't this Consort Ro's chance? She then went to Bai Ming Feng and told him her plan to help Consort Ro. Faced with Shui Yunyao's resourcefulness, Bai Ming Feng looked at her childlike appearance suspiciously. This mature demeanor didn't resemble a child at all. Bai Ming Feng used the excuse of talking with the Emperor to lead him near Consort Ro's courtyard. Hearing the melodious singing, Bai Ming Feng was pleased. The pain of losing his mother would finally be avenged soon. Following the sound of singing, the Emperor arrived at Ziyuan Palace. A child caught his attention. After some questioning, he learned that this was his youngest son. Noble Consort Chen had told him years ago that the child had died. He hadn't expected him to suffer alone for so many years. Seeing the Emperor's closeness with her son, Consort Ro secretly vowed that this time she wouldn't back down. She had to expose Noble Consort Chen's crimes. Consort Ro looked at the emperor with watery eyes, her gentle demeanor captivating. "Your Majesty, why don't you come in and sit for a while and have some tea?" The emperor looked at her, finding her even more graceful and charming than before, making him want to cherish her even more. Within Baiyun City, Bai Ming Yuan finally caught the thief. He used his trick again, placing a pill in the thief's mouth. With a snap of his fingers, the thief was in excruciating pain and begged for mercy. He revealed Chun Da's plan to usurp the throne. Due to insufficient evidence, Bai Ming Yuan decided to meet the leader of the thieves himself to increase his chances of success. Back at Ziyuan Palace, under Consort Ro's guidance, noble Consort Chen's servants also confessed to her crimes. Witnessing noble Consort Chen's disgusting acts one by one, the emperor gritted his teeth in anger. However, due to the Chen family's power, he had to consider carefully how to handle the situation. In noble Consort Chen's palace, Shui Yunyao arrived smugly to visit the disgraced noble consort. She informed her of Consort Ro regaining the emperor's favor. This psychologically damaging tactic completely broke noble Consort Chen's will, leaving her slumped on the floor like a deflated balloon. As noble Consort Chun was wallowing in her misery, a sharp reprimand startled her. Chunda looked at his pathetic daughter, crying over such a small matter. "You're truly useless. My grand plan is almost complete, and you're messing things up at this critical juncture. You even lost the emperor's favor." Noble Consort Chun wanted to complain about Shui Yunyao's interference, but before she could finish, Chunda slapped her across the face. Chunda berated her for her useless womb. "If you had given birth to a prince, we wouldn't have to go through all this trouble." He threw her a bottle of medicine, ordering her to find a chance to slip it into the emperor's food. The Taoist priest, hiding nearby, heard their entire conversation. However, in his shock, he stepped on a branch, making a noise. Before the priest could even cry out for help, Chunda swiftly dealt with him. Without a second glance, he left the body for noble Consort Chun to dispose of and quickly left. Noble Consort Chun struggled to drag the Taoist priest's body into the lake. Bai Ming Feng witnessed everything. He sighed, seemingly to himself, "Noble consort, you seem quite skilled at destroying evidence." Noble Consort Chen stared at the suddenly appearing Bai Ming Feng, her voice filled with terror. "How could you be here?" Bai Ming Feng's face held the satisfaction of long-awaited revenge. "Your Highness, do you remember how my mother died? You personally pushed her into the pond. You didn't really think no one knew, did you?" Bai Ming Feng quietly watched the ripples on the lake's surface gradually calm. His eyes held only longing for his mother. "Mother, rest in peace. Your son has finally avenged you." The next morning, the news of the Taoist priest and the palace made committing suicide together by jumping into the lake spread like wildfire throughout the palace. Shui Yunyao was completely bewildered by this news. Just who could have done this? As she pondered, Xiang Ning's voice interrupted her thoughts. Why would Bai Ming Yuan do such a thing? Xiang Ning was confused by Shui Yunyao's question. This servant doesn't know why His Highness would arrange such a thing. Xiang Ning presented a letter from Bai Ming Yuan. The letter said that it might be dangerous outside recently and instructed them not to go out and to stay safe in the residence. Shui Yunyao, though slight in frame, was determined. This threshold, I, Shui Yunyao, am destined to cross. Shui Yunyao, carrying a sack of ginseng, went to find Bai Ming Yuan to exchange for his heart blood. However, she was met with disappointment. The princess of Yuming Palace was not in. Shui Yunyao went to the bustling market. Only delicious food could soothe her wounded heart. She happened to run into Princess Shueji. Seeing M.O. Li's residence, Xiangju Yuan, she wondered could the master Li that he and the maid spoke of last time be M.O. Li. Sensing a juicy piece of gossip, Shui Yunyao followed Princess Shueji to M.O. Li's residence. She heard M.O. Li's gentle voice. "How have you been lately?" Princess Shueji frowned at M.O. Li, her concern mixed with a hint of reproach. "I'm fine, but you? Why did you come to the Songlang Kingdom?" M.O. Li recalled the events of a few months prior. Master dealt with a few traitors, but when it came time for burial, the bodies vanished. Later, someone discovered their traces in the Songlang Kingdom, so Master sent me to investigate. Hearing this strange tale, Princess Shueji became agitated. The same thing happened in the Shui Yu Imperial Palace. My brother, and I believe it's Shui." Before she could finish, Qing air burst in frantically. "Princess, something terrible has happened. A large group of soldiers are gathering near the palace gates. It seems like a rebellion." Princess Shueji, unwilling to have the marriage alliance plans disrupted, wanted to stop it immediately. Emoli couldn't bear to let her face danger alone and knocked her unconscious with a single blow. "King what's your I'll go gather information." Hearing about the rebellion, Shui Yunyao thought that if she saved the emperor, perhaps she could bypass Baiming Yuan and obtain the immortal artifact. She took out the transformation pill and returned to her original form. Shui Yunyao managed to distract Qi Er and changed into Princess Shueji's clothes. Impersonating Princess Shueji, she headed towards the palace. Chunda led his troops and stormed the palace. Faced with the emperor's questioning, he brought up his tragically deceased daughter, noble consort Chun, claiming to be a grieving old man seeking justice. Bai Mingfeng stood before the emperor, blocking the attack. Shui Yunyao also hurried, and finally arrived just before the coup, a sharp sword flying straight towards the emperor. In that instant, a small, chubby hand firmly grasped the sword in front of the emperor. Turning to look at the rebellious Chunda, she declared, "Did you get my permission to kill the emperor?" The emperor and Bai Mingfeng stared at the woman who had suddenly appeared, both asking in unison, "Who are you?" Bai Mingfeng was the first to recognize the woman's clothing. "You're Princess Shueji, aren't you?" Shui Yunyao rolled her eyes inwardly. "Do you all recognize people only by their clothes?" Chunda seized the opportunity and launched another attack. Shui Yunyao looked over and saw Chunda's raised arm pierced by a sharp sword. Bai Ming Yuan, quiver on his back, bow in hand, arrived like the moon descending from the sky. "Your son has arrived late to rescue you, father. Please forgive me." Chunda stared at the arriving Bai Ming Yuan. "Impossible. How could you?" Bai Ming Yuan's face held the smugness of someone in complete control. "Your bandits have already switched sides. Surrender now, and I will grant you a whole corpse." Chunda, holding military power, was not about to give up. His tone remained arrogant. "Those are my words to you." The three onlookers cheered Bai Ming Yuan on. Distracted by the onlookers, Bai Ming Yuan was caught off guard by Chunda. Unable to bear seeing Bai Ming Yuan injured, Shui Yunyao quickly pushed him out of the way. They tumbled to the ground together. This close contact made Bai Ming Yuan realize that the woman before him was not Princess Shueji, but the one he longed for day and night. Unable to restrain himself, Bai Ming Yuan pulled her into his arms and held her tightly. Seeing Chanda actually harming his woman, Bai Ming Yuan no longer suppressed his power. With a single move, he knocked the man to the ground. Chunda was shocked by Bai Ming Yuan's power. "It's not." Before Chunda could finish, with a single look, Bai Ming Yuan extinguished his last breath. Even so, Bai Ming Yuan didn't forget for a moment to hold the woman in his arms tightly. Held so closely by the crown prince, Shui Yunyao stammered slightly, "Well, I am a princess of a nation. Your Highness, isn't it inappropriate to hold me like this?" Unconcealed love radiated from Bai Ming Yuan's eyes. "Did you think I wouldn't recognize you just because you change your clothes? No matter what you become, I will always recognize you." Shui Yunyao grumbled inwardly. "Then why didn't you recognize me when I was small?" Bai Ming Yuan held her, unwilling to let go, his hands constantly moving. Shui Yunyao's blush reached her ears. "Stop touching there." The emperor, watching his son finally understand matters of the heart, expressed his satisfaction. "Since the crown prince and Princess Shueji are so in love, I will issue a decree to choose an auspicious day for your marriage." He added, not forgetting to remind Bai Ming Yuan, "There's no rush for intimacy, is there?" Bai Ming Yuan, seeing the emperor mistake the woman's identity, wanted to tell the truth, but Shui Yunyao quickly stopped him. Bai Ming Yuan didn't understand why she lied. Seeing her about to leave, he quickly followed. Bai Mingfeng, who had hoped to reap the benefits of the situation, watched his elder brother's sudden arrival, thinking that his plan had once again failed. Then he had another thought. His brother cared so much for this woman. Perhaps this was also an opportunity. Back at the crown prince's residence, news of Shui Yunyao's disappearance spread again. At this time, the effects of Shui Yunyao's transformation pill were wearing off. In a daze, she found herself at the cold pool. Just as she was about to fall in, Bai Ming Yuan saw her. Quick as lightning, he grabbed her wrist. He watched as the woman, pulled from the water, transformed back into Shui Yunyao, unclothed. Bai Ming Yuan was filled with confusion. The woman who fell in was clearly that other woman. What was going on? He questioned Shui Yunyao's personal maid, Xiang Ning. You've served the crown princess for so long. Has she been acting strangely lately? Xiang Ning brought out several items, all things Shui Yunyao had asked her to take to the prison. Bai Ming Yuan picked up a signal flare. This seems to be Yuling Luo's. Bai Ming Yuan summoned Yuling Luo to get to the bottom of things. Faced with Bai Ming Yuan's fury, Yuling Luo knew that the man's heart was completely occupied by that woman. He roared angrily, "What is it about him that's better than me?" Shui Yunyao. Bai Ming Yuan didn't want to waste any more words with Yuling Luo. "If you don't tell me the truth, then don't stay by my side any longer." Deeply in love, Yuling Luo could only confess everything he knew. Shui Yunyao cultivated the accelerated frost technique. Once her virginity was lost, it would backfire, leaving her with only 3 years to live. Unless the person who took her virginity uses their heart blood and the Xianwu lotus, she can be saved. Bai Ming Yuan, thinking of the suffering Shui Yunyao endured because of him, felt a pang of heartache. "Shui Yunyao, don't be afraid. I will definitely get the Xianwu lotus for you. She is already my woman." Bai Ming Yuan emphasized Shui Yunyao's status. Hearing this, Yuling Luo couldn't accept it. "What? You've already?" Seeing Yuling Luo's distress, Bai Ming Yuan's tone became colder. "If you can't accept it, you can choose to leave." Unwilling to leave Bai Ming Yuan, Yuling Luo could only tearfully help him draw out his heart blood to save Shui Yunyao. Seeing Bai Ming Yuan finally return, Shui Yunyao gave an awkward smile. She hadn't yet figured out an excuse for her sudden disappearance, so she could only offer Bai Ming Yuan a forced smile, hoping he would let her off the hook. Shui Yunyao presented a bowl of blue food. Bai Ming Yuan, having never seen anything so intriguing, asked, "What is this?" Shui Yunyao replied sweetly, "This is my special fruit yogurt." Bai Ming Yuan decided to tease his wife, simply saying, "Feed me." Shui Yunyao rolled her eyes inwardly. "Don't you have hands?" Outwardly, she maintained a respectful demeanor. "I can't reach? My handsome husband. Please eat it yourself." Bai Ming Yuan pulled her into his arms. "Or, I'll feed you." Thinking of what she had added to the yogurt, Shui Yunyao blushed. "I don't want you to feed me." Struggling, her hand pressed against his chest. Bai Ming Yuan, startled by the sudden pressure, let out a groan. Shui Yunyao looked at the man, who seemed to be in discomfort. "My beautiful husband, what's wrong?" She couldn't help but wonder. He hadn't been injured fighting Chunda last night. Could be internal injuries. Bai Ming Yuan endured the pain, comforting her. He simply didn't want Shui Yunyao to worry. A young guard came to urge them. "Your Highness, the Emperor summons you to the celebratory banquet." Bai Ming Yuan held onto Shui Yunyao's hand, reluctant to let go. "Let's go together." Shui Yunyao sensed something different about Bai Ming Yuan. She grabbed his face and tugged, wanting to see who was pretending beneath the mask. His face flushed red. Bai Ming Yuan was quite displeased. "It seems my discipline hasn't been enough." Shui Yunyao yelled, "Don't come near me." Her pitiful howls echoed throughout the palace. Bai Ming Yuan held Shui Yunyao. "Come to the palace for the celebratory banquet." She sensed something different about him. Could it be that he had discovered her identity? Shui Yunyao recalled Xiang Ning's words. She had walked back last night. She decided to test Bai Ming Yuan. "My beautiful husband, I miss my mother so much. Have you found her?" Bai Ming Yuan deliberately paused dramatically. "I found." Shui Yunyao was completely shocked. He continued gently. "Although he escaped again last night, I will definitely find her for you." The young guard watched the increasingly tender Bai Ming Yuan. Is this love? After His Highness learned the young crown princess's identity, he's become so much gentler. A young eunuch came to deliver a message. "The Emperor wishes to see His Highness the Crown Prince alone." Bai Ming Yuan had no choice but to temporarily part with Shui Yunyao. The Emperor was going to decree their marriage, ordering Bai Ming Yuan to marry Princess Xueji. Bai Ming Yuan was unwilling and stated that the person last night was not Xueji. The Emperor was furious upon hearing his refusal. Who that person was is not important. What's important is that you must marry Princess Xueji. Seeing the Emperor's insistence, Bai Ming Yuan could only temporarily agree and requested the Xianwu lotus as a condition. The Emperor frowned slightly. The Xianwu lotus is the only one of its kind. The prophecy says it is also related to the fate of our Songlang kingdom. Bai Ming Yuan continued to plead. The fate of Songlang kingdom will not decline because of a single flower. Faced with the crown prince's earnest plea, the emperor could only agree and said he would find a suitable reason to bestow it upon him. Bai Mingfeng was struggling with whether or not to confess to Shui Yunyao. She suddenly appeared behind M.O. Li. Seeing M.O. Li's dazed and distracted look, Shui Yunyao asked with concern, "What are you thinking about all alone here?" Bai Mingfeng looked at Shui Yunyao shyly. Yao Yao, if the person you liked was already taken, what would you do? Shui Yunyao smirked mischievously after hearing this. I didn't expect you, at such a young age, to start liking a married woman. Tell me quickly, who is it? Bai Mingfeng mustered his courage, closed his eyes tightly, and shouted at her, I like you. Shui Yunyao was so startled by the child in front of her that she didn't know what to do. What the heck? The married woman is me. Both of them suddenly felt a chill behind them. They quickly closed their mouths and slowly turned around. My beautiful husband, elder brother crown prince. Bai Mingyuan pulled Shui Yunyao into his arms, holding her like a treasure for fear of someone stealing her away. He declared his ownership to Bai Mingfeng. She's mine. Bai Mingfeng was frightened by his fierce older brother and burst into tears. Seeing this, Shui Yunyao punched Bai Mingyuan's chest lightly. A nearby guard looked worriedly at the crown prince's chest. How long will it take for that to heal? At the celebratory banquet, the emperor announced two joyous occasions. The first was the establishment of a hunting competition to obtain the Xianwu lotus for the crown prince. The competition was set for 3 days later, which coincided with the day Shui Yunyao's transformation would wear off. The prize was the Xianwu lotus. Bai Mingyuan seemed to have read his wife's thoughts and comforted her considerately. Don't worry. First place will definitely be mine. Shui Yunyao also strategically flattered him to make him happy, while inwardly cheering. The Xianwu lotus was finally within reach. Bai Mingyuan was completely smitten by his wife's cuteness. The emperor announced the second matter. Princess Xueji will marry the crown prince in a few days. Bai Mingyuan, in order to obtain the Xianwu lotus and save Shui Yunyao, could only temporarily agree. Shui Yunyao originally thought she didn't care about him, but she felt a tightness in her chest, an inexplicable discomfort. Bai Mingyuan, seeing her listless appearance, felt his heart ache. He stroked her head and comforted her softly. This is just a temporary measure. I won't marry her. His face grew redder as he spoke. You're the only one in my heart. Shui Yunyao was still a little angry and turned her head away, ignoring him. Bai Mingfeng, upon hearing the news, could only drown his sorrows in alcohol. Xueji is his. Even the throne is his. Bai Mingfeng's eyes were filled with unconcealed resentment. The third prince's consort also noticed her husband's displeasure. Bai Mingyuan carried Shui Yunyao back to the residence on his back. A figure in black stood watching them from above. This is your fate, Bai Mingyuan. You cannot escape. When Bai Mingyuan felt a presence and turned around, there was no one there. Shui Yunyao woke up in Bai Mingyuan's arms early in the morning. Startled, she scrambled back. What are you doing? Why are you here? Bai Mingyuan was already beside her pillow, his loose sleepwear slightly open, revealing the skin of his chest. You should ask yourself that. Shui Yunyao's face flushed crimson. Recalling last night's events, she thought, could it be that Bai Mingyuan was taken advantage of by me last night? No, that's not right. In this body, even if I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to. Bai Mingyuan, seeing her expression, knew what was going through her mind. He flicked her forehead sharply. Are you thinking about indecent things again? Shui Yunyao refused to admit it. Her face burning red, she insisted on arguing. A young guard arrived to report someone at the border. Bai Mingyuan instructed the guard to take Shui Yunyao for breakfast first, then left. Shui Yunyao watched his secretive departure, feeling a little unhappy, her lips pouting. It turned out that Princess Xueji had come to discuss how they would work together against the demon clan after their marriage. Bai Mingyuan took this opportunity to clarify things. I'm only doing this as a temporary measure. Xueji was puzzled. You want to defy the imperial decree and cancel the wedding. Bai Mingyuan dared to do this because he had received intelligence, so he was very confident. Princess, before you came to Songlang Kingdom, you attempted to run away from the marriage. So, you don't actually want to marry me either, right? Seeing that Bai Mingyuan knew everything, Xueji no longer hid it. As long as I can secure the position of Empress, and our two kingdoms form an alliance to eliminate the demon clan, I don't care who you love or who you want to marry. But I do care. Bai Mingyuan said these words almost without thinking. But I do care. He didn't want Shui Yunyao to feel even a little bit sad or hurt. He was willing to clear all obstacles for her. as long as she could be happy. Seeing him about to leave, Shueji quickly grabbed the corner of Bai Mingyuan's robe, her voice pleading. But without the marriage alliance, how can we convince the people? Bai Mingyuan didn't want to be entangled with her and quickly pulled away. I have my own arrangements. Princess, please return. Shui Yunyao had quietly come to eavesdrop on their conversation, but she was too far away and couldn't hear anything. She didn't know how deep Bai Mingyuan's love for her was. Late at night, Shui Yunyao paced back and forth in her room. Jerk, liar, scumbag. Yesterday, he said he only had me in his heart, and today he's all tangled up with Princess Shueji. Suddenly, the door opened. Shui Yunyao followed the sound. Yulin Luo shouted angrily, he's done so much for you, and you're cursing him behind his back. Shui Yunyao was confused. What has he done for me? Frantically plant a whole field of grass on my head. Yulin Luo stepped forward, grabbed Shui Yunyao, and shook her neck forcefully. Today is your death day. Shui Yunyao used her last bit of strength to cry for help. Bai Mingyuan, save me. Yulin Luo added insult to injury. Don't bother yelling. He's the one who sent me to kill you. Just then, Xiang Ning, who had come to deliver medicine, saw Shui Yunyao being attacked and immediately called for help. Seeing that he had been exposed, Yulin Luo quickly fled. Bai Mingyuan looked at Shui Yunyao with concern. Quickly, get the imperial physician. Shui Yunyao fainted from the shock. Bai Mingyuan held her in his arms, his heart filled with worry and fear for her safety. The next day, Shui Yunyao finally woke up slowly. Still disoriented, she thought she had gone to heaven. Bai Mingyuan was charmed by her dazed appearance and comforted her warmly. This is the Crown Prince's residence. You're all right now. Hearing his voice, Shui Yunyao pretended to be frightened and recoiled. Bai Mingyuan, why did you want to kill me? Bai Mingyuan was completely bewildered by her words. What? Shui Yunyao, feigning fear, rattled off a list of accusations. If you find me a hindrance to your marriage with Princess Shueji, I'll just give up being the crown princess. After her rambling tirade, Bai Mingyuan didn't know how to explain things to her. He could only ask tentatively, so what will it take for you to believe me? Unless you give me the Xianwu lotus. All right, Bai Mingyuan agreed readily, leaving Shui Yunyao momentarily unsure. He agreed so easily. Just as she was thinking this, Bai Mingyuan added a condition. Shui Yunyao looked at him with a suggestive glint in her eyes. What condition? Don't tell me you want me to offer myself to you. Bai Mingyuan looked at her petite frame. I'm not interested in your bean sprout body. I'll tell you later. A young guard brought the assassin before Shui Yunyao. Shui Yunyao looked at the unfamiliar man with some annoyance. The person who wanted to kill me was Yulin Luo. Who is this? The young guard, seeing him acting suspiciously, had brought him in as the assassin. After the man's interrogation, nothing came to light. They only knew someone had paid a large sum to target the crown princess, Shui Yunyao. Feeling slightly apprehensive about the dangers of her high-profile position, Shui Yunyao tugged at the man's sleeve. My beautiful husband, being your crown princess is dangerous. Can I divorce you? Bai Mingyuan scowled and pressed down on her head. Say that again and see what happens. From today onwards, you're not to step outside the crown prince's residence. Shui Yunyao argued her case. Despite the crown prince's residence's supposedly tight security, Yulin Luo still found a weakness. I must move to an outside so that others can't find me. Bai Mingyuan, seeing some logic in her words, softened his tone. Shui Yunyao's plan to run away with the Xianwu lotus gained momentum. She deployed her cute tactics, putting on a pitiful expression. My beautiful husband, please agree. Bai Mingyuan's face suddenly flushed crimson. Kiss me and I'll agree. Shui Yunyao blushed at his teasing. Bai Mingyuan couldn't suppress his flirtatious nature. Seeing that Shui Yunyao had no intention of kissing him, he said, if you're not willing, then stay put in the residence. Hearing his ultimatum, Shui Yunyao quickly pecked him on the cheek. Both of their faces flushed from the light kiss. Shui Yunyao strutted through the bustling marketplace. Xiang Ning reminded her with some concern, it's still best to be careful. Knowing that there were guards secretly protecting her, Shui Yunyao told Xiang Ning not to worry. After all, when you find one cockroach in your house, there are at least 1,000 more hiding in the dark, having a party. So by the same logic, there are countless guards hidden nearby right now. Bai Mingfeng, clapping his hands, appeared behind her. That's an interesting theory. I wonder what kind of party sister-in-law is talking about. Startled by Bai Mingfeng's sudden appearance, Shui Yunyao was full of questions. How did you know? Bai Mingfeng chuckled, looking at Shui Yunyao's annoyed expression. He quickly tried to ingratiate himself. Sister-in-law is here for the black market auction too, right? Tell me what you want, and I'll buy it for you. But if you're willing, perhaps you could do me a small favor. Shui Yunyao waved her hand grandly. Tell me about it. I want to marry Princess Shueji. Shui Yunyao was stunned by this already married man's answer. Don't you already have a wife? Bai Mingfeng sighed dramatically. My marriage was just to gain her father's support for my military expansion. But after seeing Princess Shueji's valiant figure that night, I couldn't help but fall in love with her. Shui Yunyao thought back to that night, and Princess Shueji wasn't that herself. To avoid trouble for herself, Shui Yunyao could only endure it. On stage, a beautiful woman was showcasing strength pills from the western regions. Thinking that with the strength pills, she could easily snatch the Xianwu lotus from Bai Mingyuan, Shui Yunyao immediately shouted, 1,000 Jin. She easily won the strength pills. Next up is the highlight of tonight, the Lan Ming Li Hua. Starting bid, 5,000 Jin. As soon as the beautiful woman finished speaking, Princess Shui Ji suddenly arrived at the auction. I bid 10,000 Jin. Shui Yunyao grinned mischievously at Bai Mingfeng. Your chance. Bai Mingfeng looked back at the seemingly innocent Shui Yunyao with a sly smile. Sister-in-law, what do you mean by my chance? Shui Yunyao put on an exasperated look. Do I need to teach you how to win a girl's heart? Why don't you buy the Lan Ming Li Hua and give it to Princess Shueji? Bai Mingfeng, the notorious playboy of Songlang Kingdom, blushed at being lectured by this young woman. Mo Li suddenly appeared beside Princess Shueji, his voice filled with resolute determination. I bid 1,000,000 Jin. Shueji turned to look at the man who had suddenly appeared, her face full of confusion. Mo Li, unable to meet her gaze, lowered his head and said sadly, just consider this my last gift to you. Shueji looked at him with heartache and couldn't help but ask, why didn't you come that day? I waited for you in the snow all night. Hearing her words, Mo Li's heart shattered. I'm sorry. That day, my master sent me away, and I didn't see your letter. By the time I returned, you had already left for Songlang Kingdom. His voice suddenly softened. If you're willing, we can still run away now. Before he could finish, Shueji interrupted him. Don't say any more. As the princess of Shueyu, it is my duty to marry for the sake of my kingdom. Emoli, there's no turning back for us. Shui Yunyao, deeply moved by their love story, immediately jumped up. Third prince, I can't help you anymore. My OTP can't be broken. Bai Mingfeng watched Shui Yunyao's retreating figure. Another path blocked. The Shueji route was a dead end. But my goal is just to threaten Bai Mingyuan. So wouldn't this? Before Bai Mingfeng could succeed, a strong hand gripped his arm. Third prince, what do you think you're doing to him? Seeing that the Yuming Palace princess wasn't someone to be trifled with, Bai Mingfeng hurriedly made an excuse and fled. Shui Yunyao's first words upon seeing the man were a question. My heart's blood. Although somewhat displeased, Bai Mingyuan endured the pain and pulled a white porcelain bottle from his robes, handing it over. Take it. If you lose it, I won't give you another. Shui Yunyao was taken aback by the man's sudden generosity. She stared blankly, holding the bottle reverently in both hands, as if it were a precious treasure. Thinking of the man's injury, Shui Yunyao blushed and asked with concern, are you all right? Bai Mingyuan teased, are you concerned about me? Shui Yunyao quickly explained, flustered. Bai Mingyuan ignored her and took out a precious Tiantan's silk garment and handed it to her. Wear this. It can protect you from swords and knives. If I can't be by your side in the future, you must protect yourself, understand? Faced with the man's genuine concern, Shui Yunyao's heart beat faster and faster. Wonderful. Bai Mingyuan easily swept her into his arms. Let's go. Shui Yunyao looked up at him blankly. Go where? Beneath the mask, Bai Mingyuan's lips curved into a smile. To get my reward from your mother. Faced with the man's bluntness, Shui Yunyao felt her face flush. What was he thinking about? She had actually felt a flutter of affection for him just now. Needing his help, Shui Yunyao could only put on her cutest face and look obediently at Bai Mingyuan. My mother is still in seclusion. Can we go in a few days? The man's expression was one of knowing amusement. A smirk played on his lips. What a little liar. Before Shui Yunyao could react, Bai Ming Yuan soared into the air, carrying her. In an instant, they were above the city. Countless sky lanterns illuminated Shui Yunyao's delicate and lovely face, making her appear especially radiant. Rows of river lanterns in the distance created a beautiful scene. A breeze blew, causing Shui Yunyao's clothes to flutter. Bai Ming Yuan watched her quietly from behind. His gaze was gentle as water. Do you like it? Shui Yunyao turned around, looking innocently at the warm Yuming palace princess. I do like it, but why does this person seem just like Bai Ming Yuan? Something doesn't feel right. Shui Yunyao noticed the corner of a book peeking out from the man's robes. Quick as a flash, she snatched it. Bai Ming Yuan reached for the fallen book, but Shui Yunyao's height advantage prevailed. Seeing the words love guide on the book, she burst out laughing. So the princess is a love-struck young man. Bai Ming Yuan turned his face away shyly, stammering an explanation. My subordinate insisted on giving it to me. Shui Yunyao looked sweetly at the innocent young man before her. He seemed much more adorable than Bai Ming Yuan. The two little figures in Shui Yunyao's mind began to argue again. Who should I like? Can I be a little more ambitious and have them both? Bai Ming Yuan patted her head. What are you thinking about? Shui Yunyao was too embarrassed to admit she was thinking about how to win him over. She could only change the subject. It's getting late, let's go back. Yulin Luo stood pressed against the wall with his eyes closed, his body emanating demonic energy. Bai Ming Yuan sensed something was amiss, but couldn't quite place it. Suddenly, Yulin Luo opened his eyes, his gaze cold as he looked at Bai Ming Yuan. With all his might, he lunged forward, thrusting a dagger towards him. Caught off guard, Bai Ming Yuan quickly dodged. Seeing Yulin Luo's actions, the nearby guard shouted, Your Highness, be careful. Bai Ming Yuan swiftly used his internal energy to knock Shui Yunyao to the ground. However, the demonic energy within Shui Yunyao quietly seeped into Bai Ming Yuan through his wound. Meanwhile, Shui Yunyao, dressed in turquoise pajamas, was about to fall asleep, but she was awakened by her senior sister, who had rushed in. Qin Yu grabbed Shui Yunyao's wrist and prepared to leave hurriedly. Her urgency puzzled Shui Yunyao. Why would the sect leader want to see me? Could it be that he wants to harm me? Thinking this, Shui Yunyao quickly pulled her hand away. Senior sister, you go back first. I have something to do. I'll go find the sect leader myself later. Seeing Shui Yunyao alone and vulnerable, Qin Yu revealed her foxtail. You're coming with me, whether you like it or not. Facing the suddenly aggressive Qin Yu, Shui Yunyao narrowed her eyes. I advise you to let me go. The woman pointed her little finger behind Qin Yu. Otherwise, he'll beat you up. Look, Qin Yu, seeing Bai Ming Yuan, was visibly taken aback. He actually escaped being devoured by the demonic energy. Yulin Luo, he's actually still alive. Well, today you'll get a taste of my power. The fiercer the boast, the quicker the defeat. In short, if you can't win, retreat. Qin Yu scrambled to her feet and fled the scene. Shui Yunyao looked at the bloodstains seeping from the man's sleeve, her voice laced with worry. Are you all right? Are you hurt? Bai Ming Yuan, pale but stubborn, insisted I'm fine. Don't worry. He then tried to quickly leave Shui Yunyao's presence, not wanting her to fret. The next second, however, he collapsed in front of her. Shui Yunyao's heart ached as she looked at the man who had been injured protecting her. She reached out a small hand and touched his mask. I just wanted to lift your mask and wipe your sweat. Don't worry. Even if your face is ugly, I won't dislike you. Shui Yunyao, your husband is about to be stolen away, and you're still playing matchmaker. Have you forgotten the passionate entanglement of that night? Just as the mask was about to be pulled off, Yihan, the young guard, arrived just in time, stopping Shui Yunyao's hand. Shui Yunyao looked at Bai Ming Yuan's guard, puzzled by his sudden appearance. Before Shui Yunyao could voice her question, Princess Xueji arrived close behind. I'm looking for His Highness the Crown Prince. Why did you bring me here? Yihan felt a wave of cold sweat. Thank goodness I arrived in time. Otherwise, His Highness's identity would have been exposed. Xueji looked at the young crown princess beside her. Shui Yunyao, it seems more appropriate to talk to you about this. Young crown princess, can I have a word with you? The opportunity to get Shui Yunyao away was precisely what Yihan wanted, and he eagerly agreed. Young crown princess, please go ahead. I'll take good care of him. Shui Yunyao, left behind, could only offer an awkward smile. What can a child like me do to help you? Xueji spoke frankly. I can see that you hold a special place in the crown prince's heart. However, I apologize, but I must marry the crown prince. Can you help me? Shui Yunyao was at a loss for words, caught in the midst of these adults' tangled love affairs. Everyone wants me to play matchmaker. Is it really that easy? It turned out that Shui Ji wanted to marry the crown prince to save the people of the Shui Yu kingdom. 1,000 years ago, the demonic race wreaked havoc. Fortunately, immortals intervened and sealed them within the Shui Yu kingdom's borders, allowing the people to live peaceful lives. But those days ended 10 years ago. The sealing formation seems to have been broken. The demonic race has reappeared, and the people of Shui Yu are suffering greatly. Shui Ji's voice grew increasingly agitated, tinged with pleading. Our land is vast but sparsely populated. We simply can't fight the demonic race on our own. I can only have a chance if I marry the crown prince and form an alliance. Shui Yunyao, looking at the princess's anxious expression, felt sympathy but was puzzled. Even without marriage, you could form an alliance. Why must you sacrifice your own happiness? Shui Ji nervously wrung her hands, speaking frankly. Only by marrying him can I justifiably monitor everything in the Songlang kingdom to maintain balance. Shui Yunyao was stunned by Shui Ji's sincerity. So, you're here to be a spy. The thought of giving up her husband made Shui Yunyao very uncomfortable. What if I say no? Seeing Shui Yunyao's hesitation, Shui Ji didn't hesitate to kneel and plead. Shui Yunyao was moved by Shui Ji's selflessness. But what about Mo Li? Are you just abandoning him? Shui Ji's expression darkened. He and I are simply fated to be apart. Shui Yunyao wondered how resolute Bai Ming Yuan's feelings for her truly were. She thought he might give her up for the sake of the Songlang kingdom. So she was considering choosing Princess Yuming. At this moment, Bai Ming Yuan had just awakened from the injury caused by the demonic energy's intrusion. He was still unaware that his wife was already planning to give him away. The demonic race's attack this time was fierce. It's highly likely they were targeting Bai Ming Yuan. Quickly, have Yihan go to the Shui Yun clan and investigate a woman named Qing Yu. The young guard was startled to hear the man wanted to investigate a woman. Your Highness, have you fallen for someone else? After bidding farewell to Shui Ji, Shui Yunyao hurried back to check on Bai Ming Yuan, only to find Yihan alone in the room. Calming down, Shui Yunyao felt something was amiss. Are you very familiar with him? Why aren't you surprised he's here? I've only met him a few times. We're not very familiar. Shui Yunyao seemed to have grasped the key point. Met him a few times. Then you must have seen his true face. Shui Yunyao blinked her large, innocent eyes. Is he really that ugly? Yihan was rendered speechless by her question. Is he ugly? In the end, Yihan couldn't help but burst into laughter. If he were ugly, then there would be no handsome men in the world. Shui Yunyao, hearing this, couldn't help but feel overjoyed. So, he's a peerless beauty after all. The little imp who had decided to abandon the crown prince and throw herself into Princess Yoming's arms couldn't help but chuckle mischievously. Hee, then I'm relieved. Soon, the day of the hunt arrived. Shui Yunyao finally got the chance to return to her original form for a day. The woman, intent on finding the magical lotus, was attracted by a scream nearby. Bai Ming Feng was being eyed by a giant rabbit. The giant rabbit approached Bai Ming Feng with a love-struck expression, frantically licking the boy's small face with its saliva. Actually, the little boy was scared, but he still looked at the giant rabbit unflinchingly. I'm sorry, you're too ugly. I can't take you back with me. Shui Yunyao, watching the little boy from behind a tree, couldn't help but comment, so young and already so focused on looks. What will he be like when he grows up? Bai Ming Feng looked at Shui Yunyao, who had rescued him, and his good friend. The crown princess looks a lot like my older sister. Do you know Yao Yao? Shui Yunyao could only say that she was his mother, which was why they looked so alike. Bai Ming Feng couldn't quite believe it. He looked incredulously at the young woman in front of him. She was actually Yao Yao's mother. Hearing the little boy's sweet words, Shui Yunyao couldn't help but nuzzle his face. As if encouraged by his mother-in-law, Bai Ming Feng mustered up his courage and looked at the woman, his little hands rubbing together nervously. Actually, there's something I don't know if I should say. Shui Yunyao immediately became shy. Don't tell me you're going to confess to me again. Bai Ming Feng's face flushed crimson. He shouted, please have another daughter as cute as Yao Yao. Yao Yao already belongs to my older brother. No, I wouldn't dare compete with him. Bai Mingfeng's adorable and naive appearance melted Shui Yunyao's heart. She suddenly thought that having such a son-in-law wouldn't be bad. Then she could have a cute daughter with Princess Yuming. Since you're so cute, I promise you, if I have a daughter in the future, I'll consider arranging a marriage between you two. Bai Mingyuan stood coldly behind Shui Yunyao. The child she bears should call you imperial uncle. Both of them were stunned by these words. Shui Yunyao was the first to speak. Why are you everywhere I go? Bai Mingyuan glared at the fat rabbit and then at Bai Mingfeng. Get out of here with your rabbit. Seeing the man's fierce appearance, Shui Yunyao was very dissatisfied. He's still a child. Why are you so mean? Bai Mingyuan instantly pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. You just said you wanted to have children. The man's lips curved into a mischievous smile. I can satisfy you. Shui Yunyao blushed crimson at his sudden, suggestive words. Her voice rose several octaves. I didn't say I wanted to have children, and I have someone I like. If I were to have children, it would be with him. Hearing Shui Yunyao say she had someone she liked, the man's heart felt as if it had been stabbed by a knife. Who? Shui Yunyao didn't hide it at all. She said loudly to the man, your ally, Princess Yuming. Hearing Princess Yuming's name, Bai Mingyuan's eyes instantly crinkled into crescents. What do you like about her? Shui Yunyao proudly praised. He's more handsome than you. The man couldn't help but interrupt. Have you seen his true face? Shui Yunyao stammered after being hit by his words. Oh, of course I have. And he has a better figure than you. Hearing such praise, Bai Mingyuan couldn't help but hold Shui Yunyao in his arms, his breath warm against her face. Is that so? Why don't I let you see who is better, me or him? Shui Yunyao struggled to break free, her tone becoming serious. The most important thing is, you are the crown prince. Many times, you're not free to choose. But he is. Bai Mingyuan's heart ached, faced with Shui Yunyao's pointed questions. Even if you don't marry Princess Shueji today, what about the future? Can you refuse all of them? The man didn't hesitate. He answered resolutely, I can. Shui Yunyao didn't believe him. She pushed him away. Go find your princess. Let's part ways here. The man reached out his hand, wanting to explain. Actually, I am. Before he could finish his sentence, there was a sudden rumble. They both looked towards the distance. Bai Mingyuan tightly embraced Shui Yunyao, his lips busy kissing hers. Shui Yunyao was a little startled by the sudden kiss. At a time like this, you're still thinking about that kind of thing. After the loud rumble, a fire phoenix circled in the sky. Shui Yunyao was startled by the giant Rakshasa bird. How'd this thing get out? Bai Mingyuan calmly summoned his flood dragon. The pearly white flood dragon charged towards the Rakshasa bird. The man, thinking that the bird hated lovers most of all, glanced to the side. If there were a couple present, its resentment would intensify. Saying this, he grabbed the little demoness beside him and kissed her forcefully. The little demoness bristled all over like a startled cat. Bai Mingyuan made a provocative gesture towards the Rakshasa bird. As if receiving the man's challenge, the bird flapped its wings and charged towards them. Bai Mingyuan seized the opportunity and shouted, Flood Dragon. The Flood Dragon immediately targeted and struck the Rakshasa bird, but was severely injured in the process and crashed to the ground. After tending to the Flood Dragon, Bai Mingyuan took the woman towards the depths of the forest, towards another restricted area of the royal family. Bai Mingfeng tried to enter, but was stopped. The man smiled and pretended to be passing by innocently, while the demon hidden behind him completely disregarded the guards and started fighting. The two entered the restricted area. A completely ice-blue lotus stood prominently in the center of a pool. Bai Mingfeng, watching the person in black about to obtain the immortal treasure, said, Don't forget our agreement. The person in black replied in a cold voice with a hint of impatience, Rest assured, Your Highness, the throne will be yours. As for the crown prince and the crown princess, does their life or death even matter? Hearing the threat to their safety, a flash of killing intent crossed Bai Mingfeng's eyes. You promised me you wouldn't harm them. Bai Mingfeng pulled off the person in black's hood, revealing a familiar face. The woman looked piously into the distance. My Lord Demon King, the plan is proceeding. You will soon be resurrected. The little demoness, due to Bai Mingyuan's actions, had lost her saintly powers. She needed the man's heart blood and the Xianwu lotus to regain her true form. The two arrived at the Xianwu lotus's location, but they were a step too late. Shui Yunyao, exasperated, cursed, "Which damned bastard dared to steal the Xianwu lotus? I'll go crush them." As soon as she finished speaking, a voice came from behind her. "You'll have to put in some effort to crush me." A black-robed woman held the precious Xianwu lotus. "If you want it, obey me." She then looked at Bai Ming Yuan. "Kill this woman, and I'll give you the Xianwu lotus." A wicked smile curved Bai Ming Yuan's lips. "Dream on." Seeing her words didn't move him, the black-robed woman tried to sow discord. "Little girl, you can kill him. Then the Xianwu lotus will be yours." Bai Ming Yuan took Shui Yunyao's hand, his gaze fixed on her with unwavering determination. "Trust me." He then turned to the black-robed woman. "We choose to kill you." The black-robed woman showed no fear. "Then I look forward to your performance." With that, she vanished from their sight. Bai Ming Yuan pondered the Xianwu lotus's location. Without guidance, one would easily get lost in the formation. Shui Yunyao, with an "I understand" expression, said, "It seems there's a traitor within the royal family. I know who it is." Shui Yunyao shook Bai Ming Feng's shoulders. "Xiao Mo, heartbreak is normal. Don't let love turn into hate." Bai Ming Yuan, looking at his wife's suspect, rolled his eyes. "How could you possibly think it's him?" Shui Yunyao, thinking of the 1000 plus episodes of Detective Conan she'd watched, gave him a "you don't understand my brilliance" look. Someone like Xiao Mo, who looks so obedient and well-behaved, definitely has a big problem. She turned and pointed at the flirtatious Bai Ming Feng. Someone like him, who clearly looks like a bad guy, is actually a good guy. Bai Ming Feng, suddenly accused, was bewildered. Looking at the beautiful woman's accusation, he smiled back. "Miss, why do you say I don't look like a good person the moment we meet?" Shui Yunyao, creeped out by the man's smile, thought, "Oh no, he hasn't seen my true form yet." Seeing another woman beside his elder brother, Bai Ming Feng couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy. "I didn't expect that imperial brother, even with imperial sister-in-law, and Princess Shueji, still isn't satisfied. Even with a strong body, one must practice moderation." After teasing them, Bai Ming Feng said with a hint of urgency, "Imperial brother, the 9th imperial concubine suddenly went mad and bit several people. Even the imperial physicians can't cure her." Fearing it was a demonic trick, Bai Ming Yuan and Shui Yunyao quickly followed Bai Ming Feng to investigate. Suddenly, cracks appeared in the ground beneath their feet. Simultaneously, they both exclaimed, "We've been tricked." Bai Ming Yuan wrapped his arms around Shui Yunyao's waist and gripped a vine in the crevice of the cliff. The startled Shui Yunyao said softly, "Good thing I took my strength pills today, or we would have fallen to our deaths." As if on cue, the vine snapped. The two plummeted into the abyss, accompanied by Shui Yunyao's screams. Bai Ming Yuan shielded her with his body. After hitting the bottom, Shui Yunyao still had the energy to curse, her spirit seemingly undaunted. Meanwhile, Bai Ming Yuan looked extremely weak, staggering as he walked. Shui Yunyao watched the stumbling man with heartache, her voice laced with tears. "Don't get hurt. I'll feel guilty." The man, seeing her concerned expression, gave a faint smile. "Just guilty." Shui Yunyao, looking at his weakened state, her eyes filled with worry, replied, "This guy, I am worried. I don't want you to die." The corner of a book peeking out from the man's chest looked increasingly familiar. Shui Yunyao stared at it. The same dating guide as Princess Yoming's. "Did you two buy these in bulk?" Caught red-handed secretly reading the dating guide, Bai Ming Yuan was instantly embarrassed. His weakness vanished as he stood up and started chasing after Bai Ming Feng. "As I thought, this was all your scheme." The black-robed woman seemed to have anticipated his arrival. Shui Yunyao, though inwardly cursing the woman 800 times, maintained a cheerful facade. "The Xianwu lotus is useless to the demon clan. Sister, why go through all this trouble to steal it?" The woman raised a finger. "Of course, it's to get Bai Ming Yuan." Hearing this, Shui Yunyao couldn't help but inwardly curse the man for attracting so much attention. The woman continued, and the woman beside him. Shui Yunyao hadn't expected such elaborate scheming was just for her. The black-robed woman sighed. "You're strong. Getting you to willingly come with me wouldn't be easy. This woman is different. Her weakness is in my hands, and his weakness is her." Shui Yunyao was puzzled. "You want him, so why make us fight each other?" The black-robed woman couldn't help but smirk. "If you can't even pass this test, how can you rule the demon clan? Isn't that right, Demon Lord?" Both Bai Mingyuan and Shui Yunyao were shocked by her words. I won't become a demon, and I certainly won't become the demon lord. The black-robed woman continued, smiling. That's not up to you. In an instant, Bai Mingyuan transformed into a child. How about this? Now he looks even more compatible with you. Shui Yunyao inexplicably found herself in the depths of the palace. Before her, Bai Mingyuan had taken on the appearance of a child. The Zhonglang Kingdom's national teacher was addressing the emperor, Your Majesty. The Crown Prince's Z-Wei star indicates that if he marries the holy maiden of Yun Shui, Zhonglang Kingdom will prosper for 100 years. However, there's a faint demonic aura surrounding His Highness. He needs to be sent to the true immortal temple for purification. Shui Yunyao approached Bai Mingyuan curiously. Why did you suddenly become smaller? The boy ignored her. This made Shui Yunyao realize he couldn't see her. What did that woman do to us? She hadn't expected the young Bai Mingyuan to be subjected to such bullying. Not only were the palace maids gossiping about him, but a cheeky little eunuch even dared to trip the boy. The cheeky eunuch snickered. Your Highness, you're so clumsy. The young Bai Mingyuan, powerless to defend himself, could only endure the ridicule. Shui Yunyao felt a pang of sympathy for him. She had always thought Bai Mingyuan, the esteemed crown prince, had grown up pampered. She never imagined he'd face such treatment as a child. Looking at the boy, she couldn't help but want to approach him. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have called you a devil. Bai Mingyuan was sent to the true immortal temple. A large, luscious peach on a tree looked incredibly tempting. A masked man plucked one and offered it to the boy. Just call me master, and this peach is yours. Bai Mingyuan was unmoved. He coldly replied, no. The masked man, rejected, was furious. Do you know how many people are lining up to be my disciple? No matter how the masked man tried to coax or threaten him, Bai Mingyuan firmly refused. The masked man sensed someone watching him and quickly turned around. Shui Yunyao quickly hid behind a tree. Only after hiding did she realize something was amiss. This person can't see me, but he looks a lot like Princess Yuming. But his personality and age don't seem to match. Late at night, Shui Yunyao snuck into the masked man's room, wanting to investigate. But the man slowly opened his eyes. Startled, Shui Yunyao stammered, You can see me. The masked man struck a pose, acting cute. Of course. You're here because of me. I'm Bai Mingyuan's guardian spirit, his first teacher. I sensed demonic energy invading Bai Mingyuan's body and used the last of my spiritual power to pull you into his consciousness. Will you protect him in my place? The little demoness looked troubled. I'll give you this mask. Will you protect me for a price? The man then pulled a seed from his bosom. Plant this in water, and you'll get what you want. Shui Yunyao stared intently at the object in the man's hand. Could this be the Xianwu lotus? The man touched Shui Yunyao's forehead, and she vanished from the illusion. Only the man's sorrowful voice echoed in the air. I'm counting on you. A year later, at the true immortal temple, the master yelled, Bai Mingyuan. An assistant tried to stop the boy, but it was too late. The master looked heartbrokenly at the peach tree he had nurtured for decades, now uprooted. Bai Mingyuan hurriedly apologized. Master, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I just didn't control my strength. The master affectionately stroked the little boy's head. Yes, little Yuan is so strong now. There's nothing more I can teach you. The master pointed to Yi Han, standing by a large tree. After I'm gone, he will train with you, but you must hold back. Don't hurt him. The clever Bai Mingyuan understood his master's implication. He looked anxiously at the man. Are you leaving? The master feigned indifference. Yes, there are no feasts that don't end. He led Bai Mingyuan to a palace. This is my gift to you. From now on, this Yuming palace is yours to manage. The boy didn't want his master to leave. He coldly refused, I don't want it. The master became anxious. This palace had cost him centuries of savings. The man sighed deeply. He didn't want his disciple to be bullied. He knew Bai Mingyuan's predicament in the palace. If the palace can no longer tolerate you, I want you to have a place to go. The master placed a mask on the little boy's face. I've cast a spell. Wearing this, no one will recognize you. The master looked solemnly at Bai Mingyuan. I believe you'll be a good person. With that, he jumped off the cliff without looking back. Bai Mingyuan tried his best to follow, but felt an external force pulling him back. Bai Mingyuan, wake up. The man found a voice noisy yet familiar. Who is it? Bai Mingyuan, wake up. They're forcing me to cuckold you. Shui Yunyao looked at the unconscious man, worried. What did you do to him? The black-robed woman was intrigued that Shui Yunyao woke up so quickly. Take the both back. Shui Yunyao looked at the unconscious Bai Mingyuan. I won't let them succeed. Shui Yunyao used all her strength to lift the man, trying to escape, but in her haste, she stumbled and fell. Seeing the approaching pursuers, Shui Yunyao knew she couldn't carry the unconscious Bai Mingyuan and escape. She had to find a way to wake him up. She shouted, "Bai Mingyuan, I love you." She looked directly at the still, unconscious man. Could even a confession not rouse him? The black-robed woman tugged at Shui Yunyao's clothes. "Stop struggling. Quietly." Shui Yunyao refused to give up and roared with all her might. "If you don't wake up, I'll really cuckold you." Hearing these words, Bai Mingyuan's eyes snapped open. He instantly repelled all the black-clad figures around them. "What did you say?" Shui Yunyao quickly pointed at the black-robed woman. "She was trying to take advantage of me." Bai Mingyuan struck the woman with a single blow, sending her crashing to the ground. Though coughing up blood, the woman still felt confident. "Don't forget, the Shinwu lotus is still in my hands." Bai Mingyuan looked shocked. "Is that so?" Yihan stood behind Bai Mingyuan, holding the Shinwu lotus. "I anticipated this, and had Yihan swap it out earlier." The black-robed woman had a backup plan. She had Shui Yunyao's sect leader and elders brought forward. "If you want them to live, trade the Shinwu lotus." Shui Yunyao tugged at Bai Mingyuan's arm. "Give them the Shinwu lotus." Shui Yunyao whispered to Bai Mingyuan, "Your master already gave me the seed. I'll explain later." The woman, satisfied with the Shinwu lotus, looked at Bai Mingyuan. "Demon Lord, I await your arrival in Shuiyu." Under a beautiful full moon, Shui Yunyao and Bai Mingyuan finally recognized each other. They couldn't wait to kiss passionately in the wilderness. Bai Mingyuan tore at Shui Yunyao's outer garments. "Couldn't you wait even a moment?" The sect leader watched the two, clearly in love with each other. "Little Demonis, you and the crown prince haven't finished talking." Shui Yunyao shyly denied it. Bai Mingyuan, hearing this, was very displeased. Leaning into her ear, he complained, "You just said you liked me. How could you forget so quickly?" Shui Yunyao, her thoughts exposed, became angry from embarrassment. "The sect leader is still here. Stop touching me, or I'll have him beat you up." Bai Mingyuan put on an innocent look. The sect leader promised that as long as I win, he won't interfere between us anymore. Hearing this, the sect leader finally understood. Clearly, these words were meant for Princess Yuming. "Could you be Princess Yuming?" Shui Yunyao pointed at the crown prince. "What? You're Princess Yuming." Bai Mingyuan looked at his wife's adorable face and nodded. Shui Yunyao looked at the crown prince in disbelief. No wonder she always felt they were so alike. They even had the same dating guide. Shui Yunyao couldn't help but punch and kick Bai Mingyuan for deceiving her. "To think I fell for your tricks twice, you scoundrel." He couldn't help but laugh, pulling her into his arms. "Didn't you trick me too, my crown princess?" Shui Yunyao wanted to call for help from the sect leader, but they were nowhere to be seen, having already slipped away. Bai Mingyuan, seeing her pouting, gently coaxed her, "Don't be angry. Let me explain." Shui Yunyao continued to sulk. "You better give me a good explanation, or I'll never talk to you again." Bai Mingyuan suddenly became serious. "Since you know my master, did he tell you that the Yuming Palace is for me?" Shui Yunyao was puzzled. "Whether I know or not has nothing to do with you tricking me." Bai Mingyuan leaned on her shoulder, acting coquettishly. "I hope he returns. The position of Princess Yuming is still his. So I hope you love me, Bai Mingyuan, the person." Shui Yunyao became even more confused. "Then why did you keep using Princess Yoming's identity to interact with me?" Bai Mingyuan lowered his head, his voice somber. "Every time I found you, you would run away. But you would actively hug Princess Yuming, so I thought you liked him more." Shui Yunyao tugged at his face. "Aren't they both you? Why are you jealous of yourself?" Hearing this, his face instantly flushed red. "So no matter who I am, you like me, right?" Shui Yunyao blushed and replied, Hearing her affirmation, Bai Mingyuan couldn't control himself any longer. He hugged her tightly and kissed her passionately. Between kisses, Shui Yunyao struggled and exclaimed, "Stop taking my clothes off." Bai Mingyuan, blushing, his breathing growing heavier, said, "Well, we still have time. Why don't we just do it here?" Shui Yunyao whimpered, "This is the wilderness. This isn't right." Whispering, "I'm sorry," Bai Mingyuan kissed her neck. At this moment, both their hearts were set free. Shui Yunyao blushed at his sudden passion. Her small hand was tightly grasped in his large one. Just at the critical moment, bang. With the changing of day and night, Shui Yunyao transformed back into her smaller form. Only then did Shui Yunyao have a chance to speak. She first stared at Bai Mingyuan. Her face flushed, then burst into tears. "You bullied me again." He quickly comforted her. "I'm sorry, okay?" Shui Yunyao blinked playfully. Then tell me, what did you do wrong? Bai Ming Yuan thought for a moment. I didn't let you finish before you transformed. Shui Yunyao gritted her teeth, glaring at him in dissatisfaction. Seeing his wife's angry expression, Bai Ming Yuan frantically thought of 180 ways to appease her. The next morning, Bai Ming Yuan covered Shui Yunyao's eyes and led her to a side hall. Shui Yunyao, outwardly calm, was ecstatic inside. Could it be that his wooden head finally understood? Shui Yunyao excitedly opened her eyes, but was momentarily stunned by the enormous object before her. After a long while, she finally spoke. What is this thing you're giving me? Bai Ming Yuan, thinking she was interested, grinned widely and explained, this is a man-eating flower. I heard it's very effective against the demon clan. Just then, Yihan arrived to report. Third Prince Bai Ming Feng requests an audience. As soon as she heard this, Shui Yunyao became furious. I won't see him. Seeing his wife so protective of him, Bai Ming Yuan said with a smile, have him wait for me in my room. Hearing his words, Shui Yunyao became anxious. You're still going to see him. What if he hurts you again? Bai Ming Yuan, feeling her concern, felt a warmth spread through him. I know you're worried about me. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Bai Ming Feng, upon meeting Bai Ming Yuan, began to make excuses, claiming he was only bewitched by the demon clan. However, Bai Ming Yuan readily forgave him for his betrayal and treason. I've already requested troops from Father to go to Shuiyu Kingdom and eliminate the demonic clan. During this time, you must protect Songlang Kingdom's safety. Bai Ming Feng was taken aback. I clearly took such drastic measures. Why don't you hate me? Bai Ming Yuan looked at his younger brother. Because in this world, there are things more important than the throne. Little Shui Yunyao and little Bai Ming Yuan met unexpectedly like this. Both of their little faces were flushed like steamed apples. Their gazes met in the air, and they couldn't help but blush. The imperial advisor pleaded with Bai Ming Yuan not to go to Shuiyu Kingdom. They stole the Xianwu Lotus. This is clearly a trap. If you go, you risk demonic possession. Bai Ming Yuan gritted his teeth, unconcerned. The next second, he was choking the imperial advisor's neck, starting to lose control. Fortunately, the third prince arrived in time. He saved the imperial advisor. The doctor sealed a portion of Bai Ming Yuan's power and asked Bai Ming Feng to help stop him from going to Shuiyu Kingdom. Bai Ming Feng looked at his shrunken older brother. Did sealing his power also shrink his size? Shui Yunyao, holding Mao Qiu, came looking for Bai Ming Yuan, but only found Bai Ming Feng. Bai Ming Feng could only laugh awkwardly and try to change the subject. Shui Yunyao had no choice but to release Mao Qiu. Go find Bai Ming Yuan, find my silly crown prince. After a search, Mao Qiu quickly locked onto the wardrobe. Sure enough, little Bai Ming Yuan was inside, unconscious. Bai Ming Feng gave an embarrassed laugh. What if I said he's my illegitimate son? Would you believe me? Shui Yunyao, growing accustomed to deception, looked at the little face identical to Bai Ming Yuan's and glared at Bai Ming Feng. He's Bai Ming Yuan, isn't he? What did you do to him? Little Bai Ming Yuan slowly woke up amidst their argument. Both of them inquired about his condition with great concern. The little boy rubbed his head, looking at the two in front of him. Who wrote this crappy plot? Bai Ming Feng immediately went for the kill. I'm your dad. You're my son. Shui Yunyao pointed at herself, smiling wryly. Then you don't recognize who I am either. Bai Ming Yuan, seeing the adorable Shui Yunyao, blushed and avoided her gaze. I like you. Marry me. Hearing this, Bai Ming Feng protectively pulled Shui Yunyao to his side. That won't do. This young lady is already spoken for. Little Bai Ming Yuan, with a milky face, spoke words colder than ice. Who is it? I'll kill him. Little Bai Ming Yuan pulled Shui Yunyao into his arms, his gaze firm. Even if he's the crown prince, I won't give up. Bai Ming Feng looked at the little boy. He finally had a chance to bully his older brother and absolutely wouldn't miss this golden opportunity. Her husband is the current crown prince, Bai Ming Yuan. What makes you, a little pipsqueak, think you can compete with him? Little Bai Ming Yuan was almost fooled. Shui Yunyao offered Bai Ming Feng a friendly reminder. Aren't you afraid he'll get you back for this later? Not only was Bai Ming Feng unafraid, he grinned and pulled Shui Yunyao closer. Shouldn't we take advantage of my brother's misfortune and discipline him a bit? The word discipline caught Shui Yunyao's attention. She resisted the temptation and punched Bai Ming Feng. Hurry up and find a way to change him back. They went to the imperial advisor's residence, but found the bed empty. Meanwhile, Bai Mingyuan seemed to have suddenly figured something out. He embraced Shui Yunyao tightly. Let's start preparing to usurp the throne immediately. Shui Yunyao couldn't believe her ears. What did you say? You're Bai Mingyuan. Why would you usurp the throne? Little Bai Mingyuan clenched his fists seriously. I remember now. I'm Princess Yuming Yexiao. Shui Yunyao's mind conjured up images of chicken drumsticks and barbecue skewers for a late-night snack. Bai Mingfeng dropped the line, Yexiao is the name of my brother's master. Take care of him, and ran off. Shui Yunyao was skilled at handling children. She quietly avoided the patrolling guards and took Bai Mingyuan out onto the streets, her tone teasing. Are you scared to go sneak around with me? Little Bai Mingyuan looked at Shui Yunyao, his eyes darting around. Why bother? Right now. Bai Mingyuan didn't finish his sentence, but Shui Yunyao panicked. He wouldn't be thinking of doing that here, would he? And she thought, well, it's not impossible. She puckered her lips, wanting to kiss his cute little face. Bai Mingyuan suddenly gave her a bear hug. I'll help you with your sneaking around. Shui Yunyao looked at her silly husband. She had truly fallen for him. She tugged on his clothes. A soft, sweet kiss landed on Bai Mingyuan's cheek. Kissing was tiring work, so Shui Yunyao took him to the kitchen to replenish their energy. The woman ate heartily, but didn't forget to look at Bai Mingyuan. Why aren't you eating? Aren't you hungry? Bai Mingyuan stared intently at Shui Yunyao. The woman ate heartily, but still didn't forget to look at Bai Mingyuan. Why aren't you eating? Aren't you hungry? Bai Mingyuan gazed intently at Shui Yunyao. This made Shui Yunyao blush crimson, her words stumbling. What are you doing? Bai Mingyuan gently wiped the rice from the corner of her mouth, adding a haughty comment. You're such a messy eater. But it didn't matter. I still really like you. Shui Yunyao and Bai Mingyuan were sound asleep on the plush mattress, drooling. Bai Mingyuan felt suffocated. Who was it that said, no crossing the line before bed? Shui Yunyao snuggled closer to Bai Mingyuan's chest. So comfortable. Bai Mingyuan was feeling a little restless thanks to this little vixen. He got up and tucked Shui Yunyao in so she wouldn't catch a cold. Just then, footsteps came from outside the door. Xiangning was shocked to see a strange man sleeping next to the crown princess. Nini, what are you doing? Shui Yunyao snuggled closer, blinking innocently. We're having a secret affair, can't you tell? Xiangning shouted angrily. You, stay away from the crown princess. Shui Yunyao shielded Bai Mingyuan. Xiangning, calm down. Take a good look at who he is. Xiangning carefully studied the handsome, adorable face, those familiar white hair and blue eyes. He's His Highness's illegitimate son. Shui Yunyao was momentarily speechless. He is Bai Mingyuan. Bai Mingfeng then took the two of them to the Fengyue Pavilion. Looking at the most prestigious pleasure house in Jinsheng, Shui Yunyao asked, weren't we supposed to be looking for the imperial advisor? Bai Mingfeng grinned, drooling slightly. After much investigation, I've discovered that the imperial advisor frequented the Fengyue Pavilion before his disappearance. Shui Yunyao crossed her arms. Serious. So you're suggesting we go to the Fengyue Pavilion to inquire about the imperial advisor? She frowned deeper. Couldn't you have come yourself? What's your motive for bringing us along? Bai Mingfeng quickly defended himself. Do I look like that kind of person? The two lovebirds gave Bai Mingfeng a dubious look. They spoke almost simultaneously. Yes, you do. Hearing Bai Mingyuan agree, Shui Yunyao looked at him with surprise. Did you remember something? Bai Mingyuan looked down. No, I just think he doesn't seem like a good person. A shower of flower petals fell, and everyone noticed a strange fragrance. A graceful beauty wearing a red veil appeared behind them. Are you three here to inquire about the imperial advisor? Bai Mingfeng, never one to miss an opportunity to flirt, said, such beauty, I'm honored to meet you. Bai Mingyuan, too lazy to watch their mutual flattery, said coldly, tell us about the imperial advisor. The woman, captivated by Bai Mingyuan's voice, couldn't resist reaching out and caressing the boy's tender face. Shui Yunyao was about to explode. Doesn't this idiot know how to dodge when he's being taken advantage of? Bai Mingfeng brought the two children to the capital's famous pleasure house to broaden their horizons. He noticed that the tea here tasted exactly like the tribute tea served in the palace. Something was definitely amiss. He pressed further. What is your relationship with the imperial advisor, miss? Feng Shi put on a pitiful expression. To tell you the truth, I am the imperial advisor's lover. I've been looking for him these past few days. She even started to cry. That scoundrel not only owes me a large sum of money, but he also stole my treasure. If you know anything and don't tell me, don't blame me for being ruthless. This turning of the tables was completely unexpected. Bai Ming Yuan took Shui Yunyao's hand and started to leave. Since she doesn't know anything, there's no point in wasting our time here. Bai Ming Feng blew Fengxi a kiss as he left. Don't worry, Mississippi. I'll let you know if I find anything. As soon as they left, Fengxi's demeanor changed, and she followed them closely. With their cultivation levels, they quickly realized they were being followed. Little Bai Ming Yuan suggested, 3 people are too conspicuous. I'll go distract the assassin, Yao Yao, and I will investigate that woman. Bai Ming Feng looked at their small stature. You two can't even beat a dog, can you? The two followed the woman to the outer palace wall. Could Fengxi be someone from the palace? Bai Ming Yuan sat on the wall, looking at Shui Yunyao's small face with a mischievous grin. 1 kiss, and I'll bring you up. Before Shui Yunyao could respond, he had already brought her onto the wall. Bai Ming Yuan closed his eyes, pointing to his cheek. Payment. Shui Yunyao feigned disgust, but her lips still obediently pecked his cheek. Bai Ming Yuan smiled triumphantly. The reward for chasing someone is calculated separately. Shui Yunyao puffed out her cheeks, looking at the presumptuous fellow. Fine, fine. After this is all over, I'll compensate you however you want, all right? They followed for a while, only to find the woman was just going in circles. The woman smiled slyly. The time has come. The two watched the suddenly disappearing tracks. Could we have fallen into his trap? Shui Yunyao fearfully heard a scream in the distance. Zhang Yang, dressed as a woman, appeared before them. Shui Yunyao looked at Zhang Yang, dressed in women's clothing. Why are you dressed like this in the palace in the middle of the night? Zhang Yang gave her a you wouldn't understand look. Lately, many palace maids have mysteriously disappeared. Yesterday, they even dug up a dried corpse in the imperial garden. Everyone is terrified. Facing a powerful enemy, Shui Yunyao bravely stood in front of Bai Ming Yuan. You'll never hurt him. The two followed Zhang Yang to the scene of the incident. Zhang Yang, being timid, stayed outside to keep watch. The two looked at the corpse before them. Bai Ming Yuan sensed something was amiss. There's demonic energy on him. Shui Yunyao frowned. Could the incidents in the palace be caused by the demon clan? I thought they had retreated back to Shiuyu Kingdom. Suddenly, Bai Ming Feng's eyes turned crimson. He yelled and ran off. Zhang Yang supported Shui Yunyao, who almost stumbled from the demonic energy. The two quickly split up to search for Bai Ming Yuan. Elsewhere, the unconscious Bai Ming Yuan slowly opened his eyes. Xiao Mo looked at the little boy who looked remarkably like the crown prince, overjoyed. You look so much like the crown prince. You must be his illegitimate son. That makes me your imperial uncle. You can call me imperial uncle. Shui Yunyao rushed in and was relieved to see Bai Ming Yuan with Xiao Mo. But she still anxiously ran over to check on him. Idiot, don't run off like that again. Bai Ming Yuan sensed someone approaching and signaled them to be quiet. The two followed the footsteps of several people, tracking them to a side hall. But the people who were just in front of them suddenly vanished. We'll have to look for a mechanism. With a click, a wall slowly opened. At this point, the two realized it was a trap. Fengxi appeared behind them. Where does the crown princess intend to take her little lover? Shui Yunyao pretended to be a naive child. Pretty sister, how did you know I'm the crown princess? Who are you? Fengxi smiled sweetly. You're a famous person in the palace. How can I not know you? As for who I am, dead people don't need to know. Her beautiful face uttered words as venomous as a viper. Little crown princess, I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to disappear. Shui Yunyao, unafraid, stood in front of Bai Ming Yuan. Bai Ming Yuan, however, wanted to trade himself for Shui Yunyao's safety. I'll go with you, but you have to let her go. Fengxi chuckled dismissively. You two think you're in a position to negotiate with me. Hearing this, Bai Ming Yuan allowed the demonic energy within him to surge outwards. The two fainted. Sensing the powerful demonic energy, Fengxi decided to retreat. Back at the crown prince's residence, Bai Ming Yuan kept mumbling something, still unconscious. Seeing him in such distress, Shui Yunyao was heartbroken. She could only resort to the method she used to wake him up last time. If you don't stop this, I'll cheat on you. Bai Ming Feng, watching his restless older brother in his arms, couldn't help but retort to Shui Yunyao, maybe you should just shut up. In the end, it was the sleeping drug Bai Ming Feng had on him that calmed Bai Ming Yuan down. At that moment, a young eunuch reported to the third prince, there's a beautiful young lady insisting on seeing you. She claims to be carrying your child. Don't let your stomach rumble so loudly in public, Bai Ming Feng muttered. Otherwise, people will easily think you're pregnant. Shui Yunyao followed Bai Mingfeng to see which beauty was carrying his child. To their surprise, it was Yuling. Both of them stared at Yuling's stomach. "Tell us what happened." Yuling whimpered, "It was just my stomach rumbling because I'm hungry." She suddenly remembered why she came. "This man asked me to find you." Bai Mingfeng, carrying his brother on his back, followed Yuling, but they kept going in circles, unable to find the imperial advisor's hiding place. Yuling gave an awkward laugh. "It's because the roads and houses in Songlang Kingdom all look the same." Bai Mingyuan broke free from Bai Mingfeng's grasp. Shui Yunyao, worriedly watching the suddenly frantic Bai Mingyuan, anxiously chased after him. Unexpectedly, he collapsed right into the imperial advisor's arms. The imperial advisor, looking at the weakened Bai Mingyuan, explained, "I sealed His Highness's powers to slow the spread of the demonic energy. But His Highness forced his cultivation to save the crown princess, which caused the demonic energy to invade his mind. Now he's delirious." Shui Yunyao quickly asked the imperial advisor, "Is there any way to eliminate the demonic energy within him?" The imperial advisor hesitated. If the demon lord's physical body could be completely destroyed, the demonic energy within His Highness would dissipate on its own. The immortal mist lotus could also temporarily suppress it, but unfortunately, it was stolen by the demon clan. At this moment, Shui Yunyao realized she was being used as a pretext. The immortal mist lotus had other important uses. Without hesitation, she took out the immortal mist lotus seed given by Yexiao. "Imperial advisor, look, is this real?" The imperial advisor examined it carefully. "It's real. But Crown Princess, you also need it very much, don't you?" Although Shui Yunyao felt reluctant, she thought of using it to save Bai Mingyuan. Even though she would only have 3 years left to live without the immortal mist lotus, Shui Yunyao still smiled sweetly. "I'm Yufine. Use it to treat Bai Mingyuan first." The imperial advisor looked incredulous. Such a precious item, she gave it away so easily. Shui Yunyao caressed Bai Mingyuan's soft and delicate face. "If it were me lying here now, he would definitely do the same." She placed the entire lotus seed on Bai Mingyuan's forehead, carefully examining him. "To help you regain your memory, I can only do this." Shui Yunyao looked at the imperial advisor, puzzled. "How did you know I needed the immortal mist lotus?" The imperial advisor smiled, lowering his head. "Because I was the one who proposed your marriage to the late emperor. Naturally, I know this isn't your true form." Shui Yunyao looked at the imperial advisor's youthful face, completely bewildered. "Then how old are you really?" "In human terms, I'm 1,000 years old." This shocked Shui Yunyao even more. 1,000 years old. Why would you willingly be a mere imperial advisor? The imperial advisor reminisced. "Yexiao and I were originally celestial beings. He excelled in combat, while I specialized in divination. We were ordered to descend to the mortal realm together to eliminate the demon lord. 1,000 years ago, Yexiao narrowly won, but only managed to seal the demon lord's physical body in the Shiyu kingdom. To pursue the demon lord's soul, Yexiao used half of his primordial spirit to relentlessly search. Unexpectedly, the demon lord's soul and half of Yexiao's primordial spirit merged and fell into the cycle of reincarnation together, becoming crown prince Bai Mingyuan. Shui Yunyao was stunned. Bai Mingyuan was actually a combination of the demon lord and a celestial being. She anxiously asked, "Where did Yexiao go? Isn't he worried about Bai Mingyuan in this state?" The imperial advisor's gaze turned cold. Yexiao was worried. He feared forcibly separating the primordial spirits would harm Bai Mingyuan, so he hesitated to act. More than 10 years ago, he traveled to the Dunku caves, and his life or death remains unknown. The imperial advisor stroked Bai Mingyuan's forehead. "Now we just need to wait 3 days for the immortal mist lotus to mature. During these 3 days, we must avoid any further stimulation." Seeing the imperial advisor about to leave, Shui Yunyao hurriedly chased after him. "I have no objection to you sealing his powers, but why did you seal his memories as well?" The imperial advisor looked bewildered. "I did not seal His Highness's memories." Shui Yunyao was puzzled. "Then why did he lose his memory?" The imperial advisor glanced at Bai Mingfeng, who was trying to slip away. Perhaps it's because the third prince hit him on the head. Bai Mingyuan finally awoke. His first reaction was to look for Shui Yunyao. She approached with concern. "You're finally awake." Her worry was evident. Bai Mingyuan also looked at her anxiously. "Did that fengshi hurt you?" Being cared for, Shui Yunyao blushed. "Dummy, you should be more concerned about yourself. Do you remember who you are now?" Bai Mingyuan realized there seemed to be no harm in feigning amnesia. He could ask for kisses whenever he wanted. Bai Mingyuan, feigning innocence, said, "I'm the princess of the Yuming Palace, Yexiao." Shui Yunyao leaned closer to Bai Mingyuan's nose. Although the imperial advisor said, "We shouldn't stimulate you. There's nothing a good session of loving can't solve. So, remember anything yet? You hit me this hard before, too." Bai Mingyuan, refusing to admit he had regained his memory, sweetly kissed Shui Yunyao's cheek. "I think this method is more effective." Shui Yunyao cupped his small face and examined it carefully. "You really are quite handsome." In that case, Shui Yunyao opened her mouth and nibbled on Bai Mingyuan's cheek. She looked at the teeth marks on his face, unable to suppress a giggle. Hearing him still claim amnesia, Shui Yunyao began to wonder, did I bite the wrong spot? I bit him with this much force before. Thinking about how she had once inhabited his perfect body, Shui Yunyao couldn't help but drool. Seeing her lecherous expression, Bai Mingyuan came up behind her. "What mischief are you plotting now?" Shui Yunyao covered his eyes and pushed him forward. "Go sit down nicely for me." Although Bai Mingyuan didn't know what she was planning, he obediently sat down. Shui Yunyao mustered all her strength, picked up a vase, and was about to smash it on his head. Fortunately, Yuling arrived just then to deliver medicine to the crown prince. "What are you doing?" Yuling pulled Shui Yunyao aside. "The crown prince has turned into a little puppy, and you're being so cruel." Shui Yunyao quickly defended herself. I didn't. This is all to help him regain his memory. It's my brilliant plan." She wanted to pat Bai Mingyuan's little head. "Although he's adorable now, I still hope he can recover his memory and return to his original form." Yuling perked up. "Leave it to me. We have a special ancient insect in southern Jiang. Just eat it, and I guarantee he'll remember everything from this life and his past lives." Bai Mingyuan, pretending to be innocent, frowned with puffed cheeks. "I don't need it." Shui Yunyao's temper flared. "Let's talk, eat it." Suddenly, a loud crash came from outside the window. The imperial advisor was fighting against several people. Watching the intense scene, Shui Yunyao couldn't help but worry. How did they catch up again? The imperial advisor took out a celestial lotus and handed it to Bai Mingyuan. "Your Highness, after the flower blooms, consume it and your powers will be restored. Time is running out. You must leave quickly." Shui Yunyao peeked over little Bai Mingyuan's shoulder, watching the pursuers. Looking at Shui Yunyao's adorable appearance, Bai Mingyuan felt reluctant to part. "Wait for me at the crown prince's residence. Have Yihan strengthen the guard around the perimeter." Shui Yunyao keenly caught the implication. "You've recovered your memory." Bai Mingyuan couldn't suppress the grin spreading across his face. "Actually, after the imperial advisor resealed me last night, I recovered." 2 days later, at the crown prince's residence, Shui Yunyao waited and waited, but Bai Mingyuan didn't appear. Her spirits were low. Even her favorite delicacies, which she usually loved, held no appeal. Yuling, who hadn't had a full meal in half a month, ate nonstop. "Don't worry. The crown prince and the imperial advisor are not ordinary people. They'll be fine." Yihan reported that there was still no news of the crown prince. Shui Yunyao was too worried to sit still. "No, I have to go find him." He positioned himself in front of Shui Yunyao. "Several people have gone missing recently. Young crown princess, you cannot go out." Hearing about the missing persons, Shui Yunyao became deeply concerned. Could it be the demon clan again? Yihan hadn't yet investigated the matter fully, but because the disappearances began after the crown prince went missing, he was actively looking into it. He tried to reassure Shui Yunyao. "I believe we'll have answers soon." Shui Yunyao gave a sly smile, mischief twinkling in her eyes. "Want me to be obedient? Maybe in the next life." Taking advantage of the dark and windy night, Shui Yunyao snuck out of the crown prince's residence, bringing Yuling along. Yuling, who had been enjoying the comfortable accommodations and food at the residence, was very unhappy. "I don't mind you sneaking out, but why did you have to drag me along?" Shui Yunyao chuckled. "Well then, please settle the bill for all the free food and lodging you've enjoyed at the crown prince's residence these past few days." They both smelled a strange odor in the air. Following the scent, they discovered it was Bai Mingyuan. Seeing Bai Mingyuan covered in wounds, Shui Yunyao was extremely worried. "Are you all right?" Bai Mingyuan's eyes were blood red. Hearing Shui Yunyao's voice, he regained a moment of clarity. "Run." Fengxi looked at Shui Yunyao with an expression that suggested she had expected this. "Young crown princess, you really came. Seize them both. Bai Ming Yuan gritted his teeth and, despite his exhaustion, shielded Shui Yunyao with his body. Feng Shi looked at him, as if admiring a satisfactory piece of work. It seems the demonification isn't complete. He actually dares to disobey orders. In that case, kill them both. Shui Yunyao clung tightly to Bai Ming Yuan, refusing to let go, and declared her ownership to everyone present. Another woman, unable to stand it, pulled Bai Ming Yuan away and to the side. She leaned down, drooling as she looked at him. If anyone's going to hug him, it should be me. They were completely surrounded. Bai Ming Yuan was still somewhat disoriented due to the demonic energy. Shui Yunyao's mind raced. She couldn't let Bai Ming Yuan rely on the demonic energy to fight these people off any longer. She pointed at Yu Ling and began to fabricate a story. This is the chosen holy maiden of southern Jiang, a once-in-a-century phenomenon. Then she turned to Bai Ming Yuan. And this one is even more impressive. He's the legendary, merciless netherworld prince, Yexiao. Hearing Yexiao's name, Feng Shi's expression turned to panic. She leaned down, carefully examining every detail of Bai Ming Yuan's appearance. He does bear a striking resemblance. Where's your mask? Shui Yunyao hadn't expected her to actually know Yexiao. If their deception was exposed, they'd be in trouble. Bai Ming Yuan shook off Feng Shi's grasping hand. Don't touch me. Seeing the disgust in his eyes, Feng Shi began to cry. Don't you remember me? Shui Yunyao, ever the quick-thinking diplomat, quickly stepped forward. He's been cursed. Not only has he lost his memory, but he's also been transformed into a child. Hearing Shui Yunyao knew so much, Feng Shi seemed displeased. What's your relationship with him that you know everything? Shui Yunyao forced a smile. I'm his disciple. By the way, she urged Bai Ming Yuan, hurry up and put your mask on. And really, with the mask on, the resemblance was even stronger. Shui Yunyao couldn't help but nuzzle closer. He looks so charming with a mask on. Feng Shi watched, brimming with jealousy. A disciple and master should act like it. All this hugging and cuddling is inappropriate. She then looked at Bai Ming Yuan longingly. If anyone's going to hug him, it should be me. Bai Ming Yuan, furious, roared, sending the flirtatious Feng Shi flying. Shui Yunyao quickly shielded him, explaining, right now, he only remembers me, his disciple. Feng Shi ground her teeth. Even if he remembers everything, you're still just a disciple. Shui Yunyao chuckled. Well, how about master-disciple dual cultivation? They both looked at Bai Ming Yuan. Who are you choosing? Bai Ming Yuan calmly replied, I choose Yunyao's mother. Feng Shi stared at Shui Yunyao incredulously. What's so great about this brat's mother compared to me? The smooth-talking, charming Bai Ming Yuan radiated charisma. I love her. That's why she's better than you in every way. Faced with Bai Ming Yuan's sudden confession, Shui Yunyao blushed crimson. How can this idiot be so cute? Saying such things with such an adorable face. Feng Shi also noticed something was off. He likes your mother. Why are you blushing? Shui Yunyao gave her a you wouldn't understand look. You wouldn't understand the joys of a little blessing's tricks. Feng Shi leered at Bai Ming Yuan. You can only be mine. She led them into the underground palace, fawning over Bai Ming Yuan excessively. Bai Ming Yuan pushed away the plate of fruit Feng Shi offered, accidentally hitting her in the face with a bang. It looked as though her face had cracked. Shui Yunyao quickly covered her face with her sleeve. Don't look. Ignoring the bewildered children, Feng Shi fled in a panic. The group stared, dumbfounded. What happened to her? Did she crack? Bai Ming Yuan detected a trace of demonic energy in the air. Perhaps she has some connection to the demon clan. Shui Yunyao anxiously looked at her almost stolen husband. Never mind that. Let's escape first. Bai Ming Yuan suddenly exclaimed, wait. He then said, somewhat shyly, here, take this. The celestial lotus I've been cultivating has bloomed. Although Shui Yunyao desperately needed it for him to return to his normal form, she refused. You need it more than I do. As they argued, Yu Ling snatched the lotus. If neither of you wants it, I'll take it. The two stared at the suddenly mischievous Yu Ling, dumbfounded. Hey, come back. Upon leaving the room, Yu Ling froze, confronted by a dense and menacing presence. Looking at the countless pairs of crimson eyes, she stammered, where is this? Unfamiliar with such a scene, Yu Ling's mind went blank. When Shui Yunyao caught up, she found Yu Ling unconscious on the ground. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. They're so scary. As Shui Yunyao wondered who they were, a familiar voice called out from behind her. Young Crown Princess. Shui Yunyao saw the haggard servant girl. It was Mei Xiang. Mei Xiang and a group of servant girls knelt. "Please, young crown princess, save us." Mei Xiang's voice was weak. "We were all captured by the empress. Every other day, they take our blood." Shui Yunyao was shocked. Someone was this audacious within the palace walls. Which empress was so brazen? Bai Mingyuan pulled Shui Yunyao into his arms, gently kissing her lips. After a sweet thank you, he consumed the celestial lotus and returned to his normal, well-built form, looking even more handsome. Yu Ling, who had also witnessed this alluring scene, gaped. Mei Xiang struggled to recall what happened before she was brought there. She vaguely remembered going to the Seven Phoenix Palace to deliver a meal to the West Palace Empress Dowager. Shui Yunyao thought about the Empress Dowager she had met. Now, there's another one. As it turned out, when the previous emperor was critically ill, he disregarded all objections and instated a young and beautiful commoner as empress. After the new emperor ascended the throne, he honored his birth mother as the East Palace Empress Dowager. The other woman was then relegated to the remote Seven Phoenix Palace. Her last appearance was when she delivered a bowl of tonic to the then-pregnant empress. After that, no one ever saw her leave the Seven Phoenix Palace. Shui Yunyao carefully pieced together the strange events. She must have secretly colluded with the demonic clan, using her identity as the Empress Dowager of the West Palace. She secretly built this underground palace within the Imperial Palace. Then, because the Imperial advisor stole her treasure, she started capturing people to maintain her beauty. Bai Mingyuan strongly agreed with Shui Yunyao's reasoning. He patted Shui Yunyao's shoulder. "You and Yuling take them and leave first. I'll have my father send troops to take care of this entire place." Shui Yunyao instantly panicked when she heard Bai Mingyuan wasn't leaving with her. She yelled, urging him to leave this dangerous place with her. Fortunately, Mei Xiang spoke up, saying she knew the way and could lead everyone out. They hadn't dared to escape before because they didn't realize they were still within the palace. Shui Yunyao had assumed Yuling would leave with Mei Xiang, but she noticed her sneaking around, intending to stay. Hands on her hips, Shui Yunyao glared at the unwanted third wheel. "Why aren't you leaving with Mei Xiang and the others?" Yuling frowned, racking her brain. "I'm worried about your safety." "How can you say that to me?" Just as they let their guard down, someone found them. "Catch them." With no other options, Bai Mingyuan looked at the celestial lotus in his hand. "Are you sure you want to give this to me?" Shui Yunyao smiled sweetly. "Didn't we agree that after you recover, we'll go back to the snow region and steal that one back?" Bai Mingyuan was so touched by Shui Yunyao, he didn't know what to say. He pulled her into a deep embrace. Moments later, after consuming the celestial lotus, Bai Mingyuan's body began to transform. Shui Yunyao and Yuling stared, dumbfounded, at the exquisite abs and pecs before them. Yuling couldn't help but give Shui Yunyao a thumbs up. "Your crown prince has a great physique." Hearing this, Shui Yunyao suddenly remembered Yuling was there. "Forget everything you just saw. Restored to his true form." Bai Mingyuan looked dashing in a dark blue robe. Shui Yunyao couldn't resist running towards him and crashing sweetly into his arms. "I want a hug." Bai Mingyuan affectionately ruffled her hair. Yuling watched them enviously. "Seriously, you two have been showing off your affection ever since you left the underground palace. Fengxi has escaped. Shouldn't you go after her?" Fengxi was in a private residence somewhere. The imperial advisor was brought there, kneeling before her. "Where did you hide my treasure?" Yuling arrived first. Seeing the imperial advisor being bullied, she immediately bristled like a ruffled rooster. "Don't you hurt him." Shui Yunyao quickly followed, trying to calm things down. "Don't be impulsive." Looking at Fengxi, Bai Mingyuan dropped all pretense. "Empress Dowager, please release the imperial advisor." Hearing Bai Mingyuan address her this way, Fengxi was momentarily stunned. "Xiaolang, what did you just call me?" Shui Yunyao peeked out from behind him, tilting her head. "Your imperial majesty, stop pretending to be innocent. We already know your true identity." Fengxi was deeply stung by Shui Yunyao's words. She quickly explained to Bai Mingyuan, "Xiaolang, it's not what you think. Nothing happened between me and that old emperor." Bai Mingyuan didn't care about any of that. His gaze fell on the imperial advisor. "I'll say it again. Release the imperial advisor." Fengxi held a dagger to the imperial advisor's face. "As long as you return my treasure, I'll naturally let him go." With a bang, the imperial advisor vanished from Fengxi's grasp. It turned out to be just an illusion created by the imperial advisor. The real imperial advisor slowly emerged from behind the door. "Surrender, Empress Dowager." Seeing the imperial advisor safe and sound, Yuling was overjoyed. She practically clung to him, whimpering and acting coquettishly. The imperial advisor took out the treasure and looked at Fengxi. This is the demonic sacred artifact. Their goal is to place it within the imperial palace. If the demon lord returns and activates the artifact, all the defenseless citizens in the city will be doomed. Fengxi struggled and yelled, "So what? Why should I care about their lives?" Fengxi ordered her puppets to surround them. During the chaos, she grabbed Shui Yunyao and held her hostage. Seeing Shui Yunyao in danger, Bai Ming Yuan's voice lost its composure. "What did the demonic clan offer you to make you so devoted to them?" Fengxi glared fiercely at Bai Ming Yuan. "This is all your fault. You are the root of all evil." Bai Ming Yuan looked at Fengxi with a cold expression. "We don't even know each other. Why are you blaming me?" Fengxi's eyes welled up with tears, her emotions overflowing. "Xiaolang, you truly are heartless." Fengxi pulled Shui Yunyao closer, her expression vicious. "Since I can't have you, why should I show you any mercy?" She pressed the dagger against Shui Yunyao's throat. Such a blatant threat made Bai Ming Yuan completely lose the ability to think. He roared at the imperial advisor to give him the item. At this moment, Shui Yunyao was unusually calm. "Master, please calm down. These are all his people. Once we return the sacred artifact, we'll have no leverage. He'll kill us all immediately." Fengxi hadn't expected her intentions to be seen through so clearly by a child. Shui Yunyao further exploited the woman's desire for beauty. "Without the demonic sacred energy, how will you maintain your current peerless beauty?" Shui Yunyao took control of the situation. 3 days from now, at the small woods outside the city, we exchange the artifact for the hostage. Otherwise, I'll bite my tongue and kill myself, and they can destroy the sacred energy. Both Fengxi and the imperial advisor were dumbfounded by Shui Yunyao's actions. Who was threatening whom? Shui Yunyao, holding a book titled Badao Shenjin Ai Shenghua, began to cry dramatically, attracting the woman's attention. Sure enough, Fengxi couldn't help but approach. "I've treated you too with good food and drink. Why are you crying?" Shui Yunyao sobbed, holding up the romance novel. The immortal lord in the novel sacrificed himself for his beloved and ended up with his soul scattered. It's so tragic. Fengxi gave her a "you've seen nothing of the world" look. "Books are all lies. Only a foolish child like you would believe them." A faint smile played on Shui Yunyao's lips. "Just watch how I uncover all the little secrets between you and Yexiao." Shui Yunyao blinked her innocent, clear eyes. "Why do you say that? Did something happen between you and Yexiao?" Fengxi paused slightly. She clearly still harbored some resentment. "That was a long, long time ago. 30 years ago. Fengxi was still a girl with a scar on her face. She went up the mountain as usual, but was suddenly grabbed by Yexiao, who startled her. The man weakly pleaded for help. Fengxi panicked, saying she didn't know any medicine. But Yexiao, blushing, said he was just hungry and needed a bite to eat. That's how they met. Shui Yunyao listened carefully to Fengxi's love story with Yexiao. "This encounter doesn't sound romantic at all." Shui Yunyao asked, puzzled. "Did you fall in love with him after that?" Fengxi's face flushed with a girlish blush. "He was a very gentle person. During the sacrificial ceremony, they were going to sacrifice me to the river god to pray for rain. Fortunately, he arrived in time and exchanged himself for me. He said casually that if tying him up and throwing him into the river didn't make it rain, they could always try someone else later." Fengxi looked at Yexiao with tears in her eyes. "How could there be such a wonderful person? He was willing to die in my place." Shortly after Yexiao was sacrificed, it began to rain. Everyone was ecstatic. Only Fengxi sat by the river, weeping and missing Yexiao. Just then, a familiar voice rang out beside her. "Miss Fengxi." Yexiao stood sweetly behind her. "I'm hungry. Do you have any roast chicken?" Fengxi kept trying to express her love, but Yexiao kept changing the subject. Until one day, Fengxi went to the riverbank. Before she could speak, Yexiao said to her with disgust, "You're so skinny and ugly, and you don't look sweet at all. Why do you keep pestering me?" Hearing the words skinny and ugly and thinking of her own face, Fengxi was extremely hurt. Humiliated and angry, she yelled, "Yexiao, you jerk." Suddenly being cursed, Yexiao turned around, dumbfounded. The stinky tofu he was holding struggled in his grip. After that day, Fengxi stumbled into the demonic clan's territory and began this long exchange. As long as she worked for them, she could maintain her eternally youthful appearance. After listening carefully, Shui Yunyao felt that Yexiao had been terribly wronged. If he were truly someone who judged by appearances, why would he have saved you? Was there really no one else present at the time? Questioned by Shui Yunyao, Fengxi felt something was amiss. Shui Yunyao watched Feng Shi on the verge of a breakdown, feeling that her escape plan was halfway to success. Shui Yunyao successfully made her escape. Feng Shi decided not to pursue her. Just let her go. That won't do, a familiar voice said quietly. Feng Shi turned around and found it was the woman in black. She pinched Feng Shi's chin threateningly. Get the sacred artifact back. You'll soon be old and ugly again. Feng Shi's eyes filled with tears. Perhaps I misunderstood him. I don't want to oppose him anymore. The woman in black looked at Feng Shi intently. Don't be foolish. Do you really think the one you met was Yexiao? The one you saw before was actually the crown prince, Bai Mingyuan. The real Yexiao was killed by them long ago. Feng Shi was in disbelief. The Yexiao she longed for was actually dead. The woman in black continued her manipulation. If you obey me, there's naturally a way to resurrect him. Leave the young crown princess to me. You go and take care of other matters. Feng Shi sobbed pathetically. As long as my beloved Xiao Lang can be resurrected, I'll listen to anything you say. Shui Yunyao, while escaping, was caught in a net. The woman in black laughed triumphantly. Young crown princess, we meet again. Why aren't you with the demon lord this time? She saw Feng Shi glaring at Shui Yunyao with gritted teeth. Could it be that you've been abandoned? How pitiful. A nice arrow, accompanied by the shout, released that girl, shot towards them at high speed. The sharp blade pierced straight through the woman's body. A young man sat on a tree branch, observing the scene. Release her now. The woman in black, enduring the intense pain, looked back. Knowing she was at a disadvantage, she handed over Shui Yunyao and fled. The young man, swift as the wind, caught Shui Yunyao in his arms before she could fall. Be careful. I am Jun Tianjing. May I ask who you are? Shui Yunyao, flushed from the sudden embrace, and remembering she was in her true form, hurriedly introduced herself. My name is Shui Ling. Thank you for saving me just now. Jun Tianjing, gazing at Shui Yunyao's exquisite beauty, couldn't help but say, since I've saved you, why don't you pledge yourself to me? Shui Yunyao was utterly bewildered. What was with these people? Thinking only of escaping the situation, she said, I will definitely repay you if I have the chance. Jun Tianjing watched Shui Yunyao walk away and quickly ordered his guards to follow her. The next morning, the guards brought a shrunken Shui Yunyao before the man. Jun Tianjing pinched Shui Yunyao's cute, chubby cheeks. My, overnight, the young lady has become a little girl. Shui Yunyao, with 800 tricks up her sleeve, feigned a clueless smile. Big brother, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Jun Tianjing wasn't so easily fooled. He narrowed his eyes at Shui Yunyao. Is that so, Miss Shui Ling? Jun Tianjing deliberately brought his face within a foot of Shui Yunyao's. The atmosphere suddenly became somewhat intimate. The man lowered his voice, speaking to the now stammering Shui Yunyao. I'll hang you up for 3 days and 3 nights. Let's see if your mother comes to save you. Shui Yunyao, bound and gagged, had no chance to escape. Suddenly, Bai Mingyuan's voice called out from not far away, Yao Yao. Shui Yunyao, pouting, turned to look at Bai Mingyuan. I'm here. Bai Mingyuan, dressed in blue robes, no longer as composed as usual, the fine beads of sweat on his forehead betraying his anxiety. Yun Tianying Smiegel. Finally, we meet, my dear brother-in-law. Shui Yunyao's mind raced. I've never heard I had a brother. Bai Mingyuan frowned. I don't know you. Get lost. Jun Tianjing, not only unfazed but also smug, replied, Don't be so hasty. I'm Xueji's brother. After you marry her, you'll naturally be my brother-in-law. Bai Mingyuan looked at Shui Yunyao hanging in midair. I will not marry Princess Xueji. Release my crown princess. Bai Mingyuan tightly embraced the falling Shui Yunyao, gently comforting her. It's all right now. Jun Tianjing, watching their intimate embrace, frowned. How irritating. Bai Mingyuan, while cuddling Shui Yunyao, addressed the king of Shuiyu Kingdom, Your Majesty, what brings you to our Songlang Kingdom? Jun Tianjing, hands on his hips, spoke with an air of self-importance. My sister, in her letter, said you agreed to the marriage alliance between our 2 kingdoms and that you would lead troops to eradicate the demons. I've waited and waited, but you haven't come. Bai Mingyuan explained earnestly, I was delayed by some matters previously. I will depart for Shuiyu Kingdom shortly. Please rest assured. Jun Tianjing spread his hands, a hint of schadenfreude in his voice. I heard that a large number of demons have migrated to your Songlang Kingdom. That's why I brought my men here to investigate. Yesterday, I even fought against them with your crown princess. Isn't that right? He asked Shui Yunyao. Shui Yunyao, awkwardly nestled in Baiming Yuan's arms, stammered, "Is that that so?" The air around Baiming Yuan grew frigid. "Yihan, escort the king of Shuiyu kingdom back immediately." Before leaving, Jun Tianjing couldn't resist a parting shot at Shui Yunyao. "Next time you see your mother, tell her I wouldn't mind being her child's stepfather." Seeing Baiming Yuan on the verge of exploding with jealousy, Shui Yunyao quickly kissed his cheek to appease him. No one could escape this public display of affection. Baiming Yuan, successfully placated, scooped Shui Yunyao up in his arms and left. Shui Yunyao, nestled against his broad chest, called out, "My mother and father love each other very much. You don't stand a chance." Jun Tianjing watched Shui Yunyao depart, his brow furrowed. After everyone had left, a faint, almost imperceptible smile played on his lips. Things that can't be easily obtained are truly tempting. Back home, Baiming Yuan was still sulking. Shui Yunyao tentatively called out to him with an affectionate term, "My beautiful husband." Baiming Yuan still refused to turn and face her. Shui Yunyao resorted to her ultimate weapon, glistening, teardrop-filled eyes. "Don't be angry, okay?" The man, whose heart melted at her words, finally spoke, "Honestly, what's going on between you and him?" Hearing the words, "pledge myself to him," Baiming Yuan bristled. "How dare he?" Shui Yunyao looked at him reproachfully, "As if you haven't done the same." Seeing his fierce expression, Shui Yunyao quickly tried to appease him. "Pledge myself. At worst, I'll give him my treasured 1,000-year-old ginseng." Baiming Yuan observed her playful antics. "Were you planning to use this trick on me before?" Shui Yunyao, her thoughts exposed, lowered her head. Her words became stammering. "Of course not. You and him are different." Baiming Yuan pressed on, "Different how?" Hearing Shui Yunyao's incoherent mumbling, Baiming Yuan's eyes dimmed. He pulled her into his arms. "If you find him better than me, will you leave me?" Indeed, love can make one insecure, even someone as powerful as Baiming Yuan. Shui Yunyao nestled in his warm embrace, offering comfort. "Although you always have a cold expression, when I need you, you're always there to protect me. I see all of that. And most importantly, you're much more well-built than him." Though pleased by the compliment, Baiming Yuan caught the slip-up. "How do you know his physique isn't as good as mine?" Shui Yunyao's mind went blank. "Because I touched him when he hugged me, of course." Baiming Yuan, just moments ago appeased, was once again ignited. Shui Yunyao was in trouble. "Why did you touch him? Am I not enough for you?" The usually aloof Baiming Yuan's words were surprisingly suggestive. Shui Yunyao stammered, her face flushed like a ripe peach. "I touched him to search for something that could prove his identity. That's all." Blushing, she held up a token towards him. "See, this is what I snatched from him during the chaos." Baiming Yuan examined the characters on the token, sensing a faint aura. With a loud crack from behind them, someone declared, "There's demonic energy on the jade token." The token shattered. They both turned to the Imperial Advisor, who had appeared suddenly. Shui Yunyao tilted her head curiously. "When did you get here?" The Imperial Advisor blushed slightly. "I've been here for a while, but I didn't want to interrupt." Shui Yunyao felt like she was on hot coals. "You didn't hear what we were just saying, did you?" The Imperial Advisor chuckled. "Your Highness, if you have the time, could you teach me your techniques for coaxing someone?" Baiming Yuan watched their banter with a helpless expression. "Enough playing around. Let's talk business." The Imperial Advisor asked Baiming Yuan, "Is the sacred artifact still with him?" Receiving an affirmative answer, the Imperial Advisor knew they wouldn't give up and would likely have another plan soon. Shui Yunyao, unaware of the sacred artifact's power, looked at them with bright eyes. "Why don't we just destroy it? Then the demons won't be able to get it." Hearing his wife's idea, Baiming Yuan spread his hands. "You try." Shui Yunyao bit through and stabbed the artifact with all her might. Seeing the unscathed artifact, Shui Yunyao was discouraged. Unwilling to give up, she gritted her teeth and exerted even more force, only to be stopped by Baiming Yuan. "If there were a way, I wouldn't still be keeping it with me." Shui Yunyao finally understood why the demons had so readily entrusted it to Fengshi. It was completely resistant to both physical and magical attacks. A sudden shout made everyone turn around. The Emperor, led by Fengshi, had come to catch them red-handed. Seeing her scheme succeed, Fengshi fanned the flames. "Your Majesty, look, they're hiding the sacred artifact and plotting treason. They even try to blame me for the murder of the palace maid. You must uphold justice for me." Shui Yunyao looked at Fengshi with unwavering eyes. "You're lying. You're the one who did all this. Mei Xiang can testify for us." Fengshi responded as if she had expected this. "The guards just dug up Mei Xiang's body at your residence. You can't deny it anymore." Fengshi, controlling the emperor, demanded that Bai Ming Yuan uncover the truth about the demons within 3 days or be imprisoned. Hearing that they only had 3 days, Shui Yunyao felt anxious for Bai Ming Yuan. He placed his large hand in front of her. Shui Yunyao, hurt by his seemingly uncaring attitude, sulked off to the side. Seeing this, Bai Ming Yuan gently stroked her head. Shui Yunyao grabbed his face in retaliation. 3 days. How can we eliminate the demons in 3 days? Why did you agree? Seeing Bai Ming Yuan being wrongly accused, the imperial advisor quickly offered an explanation. The emperor's mind has been controlled. If we resist forcefully, the outcome might not be any better than it is now. Shui Yunyao, momentarily a loss, frowned at Bai Ming Yuan. Are we just supposed to let them manipulate us? Bai Ming Yuan picked up his mask and put it on. Don't forget, I'm also the Netherworld princess. A mischievous grin played on Shui Yunyao's lips. So, are we preparing to launch a coup now? Bai Ming Yuan's thoughts were interrupted by someone hiding nearby. Come out of hiding. Jun Tianjing sat cheerfully on the windowsill. Fancy meeting you again, he said cheekily. Shui Yunyao glared at Jun Tianjing, who kept calling Bai Ming Yuan brother-in-law. Please stop claiming false kinship. Jun Tianjing, the once childish royal, had transformed into a composed king. Believe it or not, I'm here to help you. The demon clan has plagued us for so many years. I've long wanted to eradicate them. Bai Ming Yuan recalled the demonic energy clinging to the jade token. Then how do you explain this? Jun Tianjing reminisced. A while ago, a demon did approach me. They promised that if I lured you into a specific formation, the demons would cease their attacks on the Shuiyu kingdom. They also cast a spell on my jade token to track my movements. He then grinned at Shui Yunyao. Thanks to the young crown princess, I was able to stroll in here so easily. Bai Ming Yuan knew Jun Tianjing wanted something in return. Shui Yunyao watched the two of them, bewildered. Bai Ming Yuan pulled Shui Yunyao aside. Leaving them, Jun Tianjing confessed, I just want to invite her to dinner alone. That's not too much to ask, is it? While Jun Tianjing wanted to dine alone with Shui Yunyao, Fengxi wanted to share a bed with Bai Ming Yuan. Spend a passionate night together. It seems like causing trouble is their specialty. Jun Tianjing, despite having his powers sealed by the imperial advisor, still dared to speak boldly. Invite her to dinner. Of course, it's to steal the crown prince's woman. Whoosh. Jun Tianjing felt his head ring. Damn it, I didn't know the crown prince had a penchant for eavesdropping. Bai Ming Yuan walked in, his tone laced with warning. That's better than your penchant for stealing other men's wives. Shui Yunyao, watching the two handsome men fighting over her, couldn't control her emotions. Large tears rolled down her cheeks. The two men, now nervous, stopped arguing. They both looked at Shui Yunyao. Her face grew redder and redder. I finally get to witness the legendary scene of two men fighting over love. Her words left them speechless. Bai Ming Yuan and Shui Yunyao, both dressed in white, waited for nightfall. A familiar air of intimacy filled the space between them. Bai Ming Yuan, seeing his wife blush, couldn't resist teasing her. Are you shy? Shui Yunyao naturally denied it. I just remembered that it wasn't you I married under the wedding canopy. It was that fluffy little dumpling who was my husband. Bai Ming Yuan gently pinched Shui Yunyao's cheek. I'm sorry, it was my fault. Shui Yunyao wasn't so easily appeased. She widened her eyes. You think a simple apology will make me forgive you? You have to give me a proper wedding, and you have to bark like a dog again. Shui Yunyao's eyes twinkled. Only after you do that will I acknowledge you as my husband. Bai Ming Yuan pulled Shui Yunyao into his arms. It seems I've been too lenient with you lately. Shui Yunyao blushed. She knew what awaited her. Fortunately, a guard arrived just in time. Otherwise, a battle of stamina would have ensued, and Shui Yunyao definitely wouldn't have been able to handle it. Fengxi took out the Xianwu lotus and asked Bai Ming Yuan to pretend to be Yexiao for a day. Shui Yunyao was speechless. She had just gotten rid of one rival in love for Bai Ming Yuan, and now hers had appeared. Fortunately, the quick-witted Shui Yunyao realized that if they both entered a dream together, they could see Yexiao. As soon as Yexiao saw Fengxi, he quickly chased his good girl out of the dream. Fengxi, unable to contain her longing any longer, threw her arms around Yexiao. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Yexiao remained gentle. Now that you know you were wrong, try your best to make amends. The shrunken Shui Yunyao finally obtained the Xianwu lotus. Shui Yunyao held the ice-blue lotus in her hands, hardly able to believe she had obtained it so easily. But it wasn't time to return to her normal size yet. If we tell the emperor the truth, the investigation will surely reveal that she wasn't a virgin before marriage. If Baiming Yuan reveals his netherworld princess identity to protect her, it will only arouse suspicion. Now, we can only wait until the demons are eliminated. Then, we can silence Fengxi and convince the emperor that she was cursed by the demons long ago. Shui Yunyao has been waiting for this moment for a long time. Her eyes are filled with anticipation. What are we waiting for? Let's set off to eliminate the demons now. Everyone followed Jun Tianjing to the demon's hideout. The cave was pitch black, filled with flocks of crows. Shui Yunyao heard a jingling sound and sensed an imperceptible change in the air. She felt Baiming Yuan's coldness and looked at him anxiously. Watching Baiming Yuan become increasingly abnormal, his pupils changing color, Shui Yunyao cried out, "Baiming Yuan, what's wrong with you?" A woman in black appeared before them. "Don't bother, he can't hear you." The woman looked at Shui Yunyao, who had the weakest power. "Well then, I'll have to trouble you." Shui Yunyao felt like she was isolated in a separate space. Everyone else just assumed she was exhausted and had fallen asleep. Baiming Yuan carried the unconscious Shui Yunyao and continued forward. "There's only one cave left to check. Let's look and then leave." Entering the cave, the woman in black waited by the demon lord's true body. "It's been a long time, demon lord. Don't you feel anything seeing your true body?" Baiming Yuan's already bloodshot eyes grew even more fervent. "I am not." The woman in black continued to chant, "Great demon lord, stop resisting. Merge with your physical body and wreak havoc upon the world again." Baiming Yuan used all his strength to blast the woman several meters away. The woman in black looked at Baiming Yuan, who refused to return to the demons. "Fine, if that's how it is, then don't blame me." A black energy beam instantly pierced through Baiming Yuan's body. Shui Yunyao's lovely face flashed through his mind. "I'm sorry, Shui Yunyao. I can't stay with you any longer." Shui Yunyao, in a blue dress, her eyes gentle as water, said, "My beautiful husband, let's go home." Seeing him injured, she burst into tears. "No, Baiming Yuan, let me out." Suddenly, cracks appeared in the sacred artifact. The unconscious Shui Yunyao finally awoke. She caressed his injured body. "Please don't leave me alone." The woman in black looked at Shui Yunyao, who had broken through the sacred artifact seal. "How is this possible? You have no decree." The imperial advisor, who had foreseen everything, shielded Shui Yunyao. "Her soul doesn't belong to this era. That's why the sacred artifact failed." The woman in black, seeing everything spiraling out of control, shrieked, "Then die." The imperial advisor took out the soul-returning pill and had Shui Yunyao give it to Baiming Yuan. With tears in her eyes, she looked at him, praying for a miracle. Baiming Yuan's consciousness slowly returned. Two familiar faces appeared before him. "Choose. Who will you become?" The unconscious man hesitated. Suddenly, Shui Yunyao's voice came from afar. "Baiming Yuan, please wake up." His head throbbed as if it would explode. Memories gradually flooded back into his mind. The woman he longed for, with their lovely daughter, was waiting for him to return. Seeing that he hadn't woken up, Shui Yunyao tearfully confessed, "Baiming Yuan, you still owe me a wedding. I won't let you die. Do you hear me?" Seeing Shui Yunyao's grief, the woman in black was overjoyed, thinking the demon lord's return was imminent. "Great demon lord, please lead us to ravage the world once more." But in the next second, cracks appeared in the demon lord's stone statue. The woman in black watched in disbelief as her obsession crumbled to nothing. How? How can this be? Baiming Yuan raised his hand and gently wiped away Shui Yunyao's tears. Shui Yunyao straightened slightly, her face flushing crimson. Looking at her blushing cheeks, Baiming Yuan's voice was low and husky. "Shui Yunyao, I'm back." Finally, the demons were defeated. Baiming Yuan ordered them all captured. He looked at Jun Tianjing. "Now that the demons are eliminated, you should return to Shui Kingdom." Then, turning to Shui Yunyao with a gentle gaze, he said, "Let's go. Let's go home." Shui Yunyao finally returned to her original size. It feels so good to be back in my own body. Bai Mingyuan quietly embraced Shui Yunyao from behind. This body certainly felt more comfortable to hold. Shui Yunyao blushed. The wedding sedan would soon arrive for the formal meeting with the emperor. The man turned and pulled Shui Yunyao into his arms, his warm breath brushing against her lips. There's no rush. We still have time. He finished speaking and kissed her without hesitation. The man's warm, moist lips gave Shui Yunyao an inexplicable sense of security. Shui Yunyao felt her whole body burning. Their figures quickly merged into one. Bai Mingyuan's kisses grew more passionate until Shui Yunyao could hardly breathe. Yet the man still wouldn't let her go. Covered in love bites, Shui Yunyao whimpered in protest. Why are you biting me? Looking at the flushed cheeks of the woman in his arms, the man couldn't help but lower his head and press even closer. My little enchantress, you can bite me, but I can't bite you. Bai Mingyuan took the opportunity to tease her. Will you still call your husband a dog in the future? Shui Yunyao blushed. I never. How annoying. The man pressed his advantage, continuing to tease Shui Yunyao. If you don't take it back, you're not leaving this room today. Bai Mingyuan's touch sent shivers down Shui Yunyao's spine, her body going limp against his. Carrying her towards the palace, the man asked, does your waist still hurt? Hearing this, Shui Yunyao couldn't help but lightly pound his chest. Of course it does. It's all your fault. Bai Mingyuan lowered his head, resting his forehead against hers. Yao Yao, if you don't want to stay in the palace, then leave. But if you stay with me, you will be my only empress. If you tire of palace life, we can find a secluded paradise and live as immortals. If you want to return to your time, I'll accompany you. But you'll have to tell me the customs of your era first. Bai Mingyuan looked at her tenderly. Yao Yao, we have a long time. Don't rush to make a decision. After Bai Mingyuan's persuasion, the emperor finally agreed to choose a date for their second wedding. Shuiji also got her wish and broke off her engagement with Bai Mingyuan, ending up with Mo Li. However, Jun Tianjing, as her older brother, seemed dissatisfied with the marriage. Yulin also planned to return to southern Xinjiang with the imperial advisor. To avenge the humiliation of her previous wedding ceremony with the dog, Shui Yunyao sought out Bai Mingfeng to plot. Although reluctant, Bai Mingfeng found what his sister-in-law wanted. Of course, he only dared to do this with his older brother's approval. Xiang Ning, coerced and bribed by Shui Yunyao, also joined the scheme. The wedding soon began. Bai Mingfeng's handsome features and snow-white hair looked particularly striking against the red wedding robes. Xiang Ning, with a look of resignation, held up a small black cat. It's terrible. The crown princess has turned into a cat. Shui Yunyao, holding Pang Xiu, watched from outside. Serves you right for making me marry a dog last time. Bai Mingfeng, knowing full well what was going on, stifled a laugh. The auspicious hour has arrived. Brother, it's time for you to bow to your bride. Bai Mingyuan calmly looked at the cat. Yao Yao, no matter what you turn into, I will recognize you. Shui Yunyao, listening outside, was fuming. That idiot, he actually thinks the cat is me. Hearing the wedding ceremony continue inside, Shui Yunyao couldn't stand it any longer and pushed the door open. Her small fists landed on the man's firm chest. Are you stupid? Can't you even tell whether I'm a human or a cat? Bai Mingyuan grinned triumphantly. If I hadn't said that, would you have shown yourself? He pulled Shui Yunyao tightly into his arms. Marry me. Shui Yunyao blushed, cherishing this moment. They had both waited a long time for this. 5 years later, Liang Xiaoji clamored for a kiss from her mother. Bai Mingyuan joined in the fun, familiarly wrapping his arm around Shui Yunyao's slender waist. What about me? The empress can't play favorites. Watching her parents' loving display, Liang Xiaoji could only be the third wheel. Shui Yunyao, unable to refuse, lightly kissed the man's ear. Are you satisfied now? Bai Mingyuan embraced his 3 precious ones. We will always be together.